Chapter 721 Walking Meat Tree. The corpse of the ancient desolate beast, astral wind flying heavenly boar, was right in front of them. Although He Lu Lan and Fang Yuan were moved, they did not close in on it. The two looked up towards the sky at the same time. They saw that high in the air, the 8th star hall was shaking slightly. Loud explosions and the growls of fierce beasts could be heard from within the hall. With a loud bang, the star hall shook intensely. A pillar of fire burst up from the roof of the star hall, creating a huge hole on it. The star hall was not made of ordinary material, it was formed from the phenomenon in the grotto heaven. At the area of the roof that was broken, starlight was emitting from it, as the hole continued to spread outwards. A pillar of smoke flew up outwards into the sky. What an intense battle, He Lu Lan sighed. Fight, fight, the more intense the better it is. Fang Yuan muttered. In the 8th star hall, it was a mess, the two sides were fiercely engaged in combat. A heavily injured desolate beast flame tiger growled loudly, shooting out a fireball from its mouth. The fireball shot a huge tree. While it was in the air, the flame tiger moved its claws and followed behind the fireball, attacking towards the huge tree. The huge tree moved its huge branches. Its branches were very peculiar, they were like soft and thick octopus tentacles. With a loud thud, a tentacle-like branch destroyed a fireball. With another whipping noise, a branch swung over, causing the flame tiger who was behind the fireball to be sent flying. The flame tiger cried out in pain, it flew for up to 100 steps and crashed onto the ground. With a burst of bright light, it returned to a human form. It was Immortal Monkey King Shilei. Shilei spat out 3 teeth, his expression was excited and crazed. What a great walking meat tree, as expected of something of legend, this ancient desolate plant is truly incredible. Star Lord Wanshang who was beside him continued to unleash starlight attacks while transmitting helplessly when he heard Shilei's words. Lord Immortal Monkey King, the enemy is very powerful, stop playing with it and use your Earth Path main battle strength. Shilei was not an ignorant person, he did not hesitate as he said, alright, I have already used my transformation path battle strength to kill an astral wind flying heavenly boar, I am satisfied. Next, I will use my true Earth Path cultivation and destroy this energetic walking meat tree. Star Lord Wanshang was overjoyed when he heard this. Immortal Monkey King Shilei was finally going to use his true strength. But at the next moment, Shilei sat down on a rock in the hall, healing himself. Star Lord Wanshang, hold on for now, when I remove the fire path Dao marks on my body, I will use my earth path methods. Star Lord Wanshang heard this and almost scolded him in anger. But he did not do so. Shilei's request was reasonable. With fire path Dao marks on him, it would interfere with and weaken the effects of his earth path GU worms. Star Lord Wanshang could only hold in his anger and agree, flying forward and facing off against the walking meat tree. Although Star Lord Wanshang was heavily injured by Song Zixing and his foundation was damaged, he still had ingenious methods left. Beams of starlight shot out like grand pillars, towards the walking meat tree. The walking meat tree moved 3 branches to retaliate. Star Lord Wanzhang's body suddenly shuddered, as 5 starlight clones split from his main body and together, they took up 6 positions, unleashing different star path killer moves and attacking the walking meat tree. The walking meat tree was hit several times, it flew into a rage and moved more than 10 branches to fight back. Crack crack crack, Star Lord Wanzhang's starlight clones were all smashed. Star Lord Wanshang evaded the branches coming from left and right, he quickly got into a disadvantage. Facing off against the walking meat tree directly, he finally felt immense pressure. Bang! With a loud noise, Star Lord Wanshang could not defend himself and was sent flying. Along the way, he crashed through a thick pillar, but his momentum was not lost, as he directly flew out of the star hall. Seeing that Star Lord Wanshang was gone, the walking meat tree moved its branches and assaulted Shilei who was sitting down. Useless. Shilei opened his eyes, the battle intent in his golden pupils were surging, he shouted in anger as he stood up, attacking the walking meat tree. Star Lord Wanshang flew a long way out of the star hall before stabilizing his body. He wiped the blood on his lips, looking at the 8th star hall, he showed a cold smile as his scheme worked. He sent himself flying on purpose, this way, he could force Shilei to fight. I expose the secret of this starry sky grotto heaven to you, regardless of the consequences, yet you do not even want to fight. Goo! Suddenly, Star Lord Wanshang spit out a mouthful of blood. An intense pain assaulted him. He sucked in a breath of cold air, shock shining in his eyes. When this walking meat tree hits me, it directly etches the Dao marks of strength path into my body, causing my internal organs to suffer a huge blow. After realizing this, Star Lord Wanshang did not want to rush up foolishly to fight the walking meat tree. I'll let Shilei fight, he is a battle maniac anyway. Under the pressure of the walking meat tree, he would need to use his full strength. I have already paid such a huge price, I should heal the injuries on my body first. Immediately after, Star Lord Wanshang summoned his Gu worms, which formed a star cloud bed. He sat on the bed as he floated in the air, healing his injuries. After a while, he opened his eyes, the injuries on him had healed. He first took a look at the 8th star hall, before looking down at the huge corpse of the ancient desolate beast, astral wind flying heavenly boar. He then looked at the other areas of the battlefield, seeing the other desolate beast corpses. He hesitated, although he wanted to take all of the corpses first, considering Shilei's feelings, he had to dispel this thought. Forget it, I do not need to give Shilei an excuse later to make things difficult. In any case, there is no one else in this grotto heaven, I should battle now and deal with the current situation. Thinking of this, Star Lord Wanshang retrieved the star cloud bed Gu and flew away, entering the 8th star hall after traveling a short distance. In the thick lush forest, Lu Lan and Fang Yuan, who had concealed their auras, sighed in relief. Fang Yuan, the Gu worms that you left behind successfully deceived the enemy. Lu Lan said excitedly. My method can only create a hologram, it cannot deceive a proper investigation. Quick, let's not talk about this anymore, we should make this part of our earnings first. Fang Yuan did not want to indulge in self-praise, he moved ahead and sneaked towards the corpse of the astral wind flying heavenly boar. The two quickly got to the side of the astral wind flying heavenly boar corpse. The astral wind flying heavenly boar corpse was tall like a small hill, it cast a huge shadow on the ground. Fang Yuan and Lu Lan purposely detoured, hiding under the shadow, waiting for the appropriate moment to strike. They first inspected the wild Gu on the astral wind flying heavenly boar's body. There were many wild Gu originally, but after the battle with Shilei, more than half were destroyed. After the flying boar died, much of the remaining half escaped, very few were left. After Fang Yuan completed his search, he started to collect the astral wind flying heavenly boar's soul. The desolate beast corpses they encountered earlier had no souls. Maybe because they had died for a long time, their souls had flown away from their bodies, but the more likely reason was that Shilei or Star Lord Wanshang had taken them. This astral wind flying heavenly boar had not been looted yet because the battle had just ended, thus Fang Yuan had a chance. But the result was very disappointing. This astral wind flying heavenly boar's soul was heavily injured, only a little bit was left. Evidently, during the earlier battle, it was attacked by methods directed at the soul. No wonder the star path Gu Immortal earlier did not fly here to collect the soul of this boar. Fang Yuan sighed, he willed and mobilized several hundred Gu worms. These Gu were from light path and dark path, while a small number were from strength path, blood path, bone path, and chi path. Under Fang Yuan's control, these Gu worms flew around the surface of the astral wind flying heavenly boar's body, going round and round as Fang Yuan nodded to Lu Lan. Lu Lan was prepared since long ago, once Fang Yuan gave the signal, she used the tens of Gu worms prepared earlier. Using these Gu worms, the astral wind flying heavenly boar corpse was quickly pushed into Lu Lan's immortal aperture in a short time. Meanwhile, Fang Yuan activated the several hundred Gu worms, remaining at the same spot as they continued to fly in the same manner as earlier. They gave out bursts of light and shadow, forming into one figure. It was the image of the astral wind flying heavenly boar, it was very realistic. Simply looking at it, one would think this was really the astral wind flying heavenly boar in front of them. Your method is really good. Lu Lan praised again. Earlier, Star Lord Wanshang felt nothing wrong, he was deceived by this method. Fang Yuan shook his head. This simple method cannot deceive proper investigation. If I can elevate it to a killer move, the effect would be better. Oh no, Lu Lan suddenly froze, she pointed at one area and noted to Fang Yuan, you have a flaw here. Fang Yuan looked over and indeed, on the image of the astral wind flying heavenly boar, the anus was missing. How could the flying heavenly boar not have an anus? This was indeed a huge flaw. Fang Yuan quickly manipulated his Gu worms, adjusting the image and forming the anus. But Lu Lan said, not good, now that the anus is here, the penis is gone. Fang Yuan looked and was embarrassed. The astral wind flying heavenly boar is too high level of an existence and has a gigantic body, my methods cannot replicate it fully, this is the limit. To create something, it will have to lose something. Lu Lan nodded, her tone was grand and fearless. Then stop changing it, keep the penis and discard the anus, that is more realistic. Fang Yuan followed what she said and changed the image back. Hey, Fang Yuan, aren't you proficient in researching killer moves? When we go back, you should raise this to the level of a killer move, that would make it easier to use. He Lu Lan said in amusement. Do you think we will still encounter such good things later? This method is sufficient, we do not need to make it a killer move. Fang Yuan shook his head, before raising it and looking at the sky. The roof of the Star Hall only had a small hole earlier, but now holes were all around the Star Hall. All of the explosion sounds were even louder than before. As he was looking, a broken tree flew out of the Star Hall. With a loud bang, the giant tree's branches crashed onto the ground, causing the ground below Fang Yuan and He Lu Lan's feet to tremble violently. Next, the other half of the giant tree, the crown, also collapsed. This is a walking meat tree. Fang Yuan and He Lu Lan opened their eyes, which were shining brightly. Chapter 722 Zombie Dragon. Chapter 722, Zombie Dragon. Walking meat tree was a legendary plant that was recorded in less than the legends of Ren Zhu greater than. Less than the legends of Ren Zhu greater than Chapter 3, Section 16 states. Ren Zhu's third son, Northern Dark Eye's soul was revived by unexpected Ji-Yu and was wandering outside. After encountering his sister, Desolate Ancient Moon, he gave her a new meaning in life. Next, under the guidance of Wisdom Ji-Yu, the brother and sister came to the Blue Sea to search for the life gem that could revive their father, Ren Zhu. In the end, Desolate Ancient Moon sensed the mysteries behind life and sacrificed herself, being turned into a damaged life gem. Northern Dark Eye's soul carried the life gem as he attempted to return to his father, to revive Ren Zhu. But it was extremely difficult for him to enter the door of life and death. The door of life and death had two routes, one was the road of life, the other was the road of death. No matter which path it was, there would be a lot of suffering Ji-Yu. To overcome the interference of the suffering Ji-Yu, to enter deep into the door of life and death, he would need the help of Courage Ji-Yu. But because Courage Ji-Yu had already been taken by Ren Zhu and was currently with him, Northern Dark Eye's soul did not have courage and could not enter the door of life and death. He had no methods left and could only wander around and search for a method to resolve this. He walked past tall mountains, traveled through streams, ran for his life under the assault of wild beasts, and had gone hungry during the intense cold. He had suffered a lot. Northern Dark Eye's soul was filled with guilt and anxiety. He was guilty because he was the one who gave Desolate Ancient Moon her meaning in life, but that caused her to sacrifice herself and become the life gem. Northern Dark Eye's soul was the murderer who indirectly caused his sister's death. He was anxious because even though he had the life gem, he was unable to return to his father's side. He was afraid that if a long time passed, his father's soul might collapse in Luopo Valley, causing Desolate Ancient Moon's sacrifice to be in vain. He walked and walked, until the purple sky above him faded and became black. Originally, the immemorial 9 heavens, white, red, orange, yellow, green, azure, blue, purple, black, would take turns to loom over the 5 regions at set intervals. The sky of the immemorial antiquity era was connected to the ground. Heaven and earth were connected and whole. People could walk towards the sky from the ground, or walk towards the ground from the sky. Northern Dark Eye's soul was walking aimlessly, unknowingly, he left the ground and walked towards an area deep within Black Heaven. It was complete darkness inside Black Heaven, but it was not desolate, there were large numbers of life forms there. Northern Dark Eye's soul was inside the darkness and could not find a way back. He was flustered, scared, and lost. He could not tell what direction to walk, he tripped many times and fell. Suddenly, he saw a lump of fire ahead of him. This was the only source of light in the entirety of Black Heaven. Northern Dark Eye's soul was overjoyed, he quickly walked towards the fire. When he got close to the lump of fire, he realized it was a Ji-Yu. Northern Dark Eye's soul was very curious, he asked, "What Ji-Yu are you? You can actually give out light in Black Heaven. Help me, I want to leave Black Heaven, heading back to the ground, I have very important things to do." The Gu's voice was very weak, it said to Northern Dark Eye's soul, "My name is Fire, who are you?" Northern Dark Eye's soul said, "I am a human, my name is Northern Dark Eye's soul. Can you help me? With your light, I will be able to see the way, and return to the ground." The Ji-Yu sighed, "So you are a human. I've heard of a famous human before, he is called Verdant Great Sun." Because Verdant Great Sun had reputation Ji-Yu, his name was spread in the entire world, there was almost nobody that did not know him. Northern Dark Eye's soul was overjoyed. "That's right, Verdant Great Sun is my big brother." Fire Ji-Yu said, "I can help you. But before I help you, you have to help me. I am too hungry, I am going to die of starvation. Go find me some food first." Northern Dark Ice Soul asked. Oh, Fire Gu, what do you eat? This place is completely dark, how can I find what you need to eat? Fire Gu said. I am the least picky Gu worm in the entire world, I can eat almost anything. I will eat whatever you feed me. Northern Dark Ice Soul searched around, finding some tree branches and throwing them towards Fire Gu. After Fire Gu ate, it started to shine more brightly, it was giving off a warmer light and it also grew from the size of a fist to around the size of a basin. It was very happy. Can you bring me more food? Northern Dark Ice Soul nodded and looked around, finding a pile of rocks and throwing them at Fire Gu. After eating for some time, Fire Gu sighed. Sigh, I was way too hungry, my teeth are not working well now. The things I could chew before, I can't chew them now. Bring me some stuff that are easy to digest. Northern Dark Ice Soul thought about it. How about this, Fire Gu, follow me and light the way. Along the way, whatever you feel like eating, I will feed to you, is that alright? Fire Gu agreed and condensed into a small lump, letting Northern Dark Ice Soul hold it. Like this, Northern Dark Ice Soul left on his return journey. Along the way, he fed many things to Fire Gu. After a while, Fire Gu grew larger. On this day, Northern Dark Ice Soul was resting. Fire Gu was eating branches in front of him while swaying with the wind. Suddenly, countless footsteps could be heard. Northern Dark Ice Soul looked and saw a huge group of trees shining under the light of the fire. They were running towards him in huge numbers. Not just trees, there were also countless wild beasts and insect groups. Northern Dark Ice Soul was extremely scared. He quickly picked up Fire Gu and ran. Behind him, the trees, wild beasts, and insect groups were chasing. Wherever Northern Dark Ice Soul went, they followed. The pursuers shouted, "Whoever is in front, stop running. We do not want to harm you, we just want to escape into the light. Dream realms are about to reach us, please help us and let us live under the light of the fire." Northern Dark Ice Soul was breathing roughly, he could not run any further, seeing that he was about to be caught. Fire Gu said, "Oh human, don't be afraid, these pursuers are my food, let me help you. Just toss me there." Northern Dark Ice Soul was forced by the circumstances, he could only listen to Fire Gu and toss it towards them. What Fire Gu first encountered were a huge group of trees. These trees were walking meat trees. The branches were made of meat, they resembled the tentacles of octopuses. Fire Gu burned all of these trees, turning the trunks into ashes, and branches into cooked meat. The smell of fragrant meat attracted Northern Dark Ice Soul and he picked up one to eat, exclaiming that it was delicious. He Lu Lan stared with eyes wide open, looking at the broken tree trunk as well the tentacle-like branches, speaking in disbelief, this is a walking meat tree. Absolutely. Fang Yuan nodded, his gaze was heated as well. Right now, only Black Heaven and White Heaven are left from the immemorial 9 heavens. Walking meat tree is a life form from Black Heaven, it is much easier to obtain than other immemorial life forms in the other heavens, after all, Black Heaven is still around. 7-star child is a rank 8 Gu Immortal, he has the ability to explore Black Heaven, this walking meat tree was most likely something he obtained from his explorations. This walking meat tree has an amazing aura, it has rank 7 battle strength at least. Even more amazingly, it is a rare strength path plant. He Lu Lan licked her lips, saying excitedly. Fang Yuan was also overjoyed. Walking meat tree was a strength path plant, the branches, trunks and leaves were all excellent materials to refine strength path Gu worms. Fang Yuan and He Lu Lan were strength path Gu immortals, they had great use for it. But when the two were going to sneak over and take the walking meat tree, there was a huge, thunderous explosion in the sky. This was an unprecedentedly large explosion, it shook the sky as a formless sound wave spread out intensely. The 8-star hall shook harshly, it also broke apart as large amounts of starlight dispersed, it was in a half-ruined state. Roar. The roar of a dragon could be heard, not any softer than the explosion earlier. Next, Fang Yuan and He Lu Lan saw Shi Lei and Star Lord Wan Shang fly out of the Star Hall. A huge dragon flew out of the Star Hall. This dragon was hundreds of meters long, it was eerie and ominous, the dragon horn on its head was like silver, the dragon's eyes were half open, and the scales were like gray rocks. There were 8 dragon claws that were fearsome and powerful, pale white zombie energy was coiling around its body like a mist. Is this a zombie dragon? He Lu Lan exposed the identity of this dragon. Zombie dragon was not an immemorial life form. After Fate Gu was broken by Red Lotus Demon Venerable, souls in the world were no longer sucked directly into the door of life and death, thus zombies were born. A zombie dragon was formed after a giant dragon died, if its soul did not leave the body, it would undergo a transformation and become a zombie dragon. This zombie dragon has 8 claws. It should have been an immemorial desolate beast when it was alive, having rank 8 battle strength. Now that it is dead, becoming a zombie dragon, it has battle strength at the peak of rank 7, no wonder Shilei was forced out of the Star Hall. Fang Yuan analyzed. In the air, the zombie dragon was growling as its body twisted, flying towards Shilei. The dragon opened its mouth and shot out a stream of pale white zombie fire. Dragon fire was a primary form of attack of the giant dragon, that was a natural ability for them, like the horns of a bull, the paws of a bear, or the stinger of a bee. Wariness shone in Shilei's eyes, he did not dare to receive the attack head-on. He continued to fly to the left. After dodging the zombie fire, a huge dragon tail entered his vision. Shilei opened his eyes wide as he placed both arms in front of him, defending his chest. He could not dodge it. In Fang Yuan, Star Lord Wanshang and He Lulan's vision, they saw that the zombie dragon had elegantly moved in the air, turning its huge body and swinging its tail, directly crashing it into Shilei who had dodged the zombie fire. With a loud bang, Shilei was sent fly harshly like a cannonball. He crashed onto a point partway up a mountain, entering deep into the mountain rocks. The entire mountain was shaking as rocks fell from above, they quickly covered him up completely. Star Lord Wanshang sucked in a breath of cold air, he retreated hurriedly. The zombie dragon was so powerful, this was the first time he had seen Immortal Monkey King Shilei in such a pathetic state. But soon, he heard Shilei shouting under the pile of rocks, "Worm, you have truly angered me, have a taste of my immortal killer move." Shocking rock break. The sky burst open as a small hill was aimed towards the zombie dragon. He Lulan's eyelids were twitching. This immortal killer move's activation is so fast. Normally, the stronger the immortal killer move, the more time is needed to activate it. But Shilei's shocking rock break defied common logic, not only was it strong, it could be used very quickly. Even the zombie dragon could not dodge it. But the zombie dragon did not want to dodge it. Seeing the small hill that was approaching it, a hint of disdain flashed across the dragon's eyes. With a loud bang, the zombie dragon raised its head and rammed into the small hill. Shilei's immortal killer move had no effect. Good, such an opponent is what I like. Shilei was shocked and excited, he shot up into the sky and crashed into the zombie dragon. The human and dragon engaged in the sky, winds were blowing and clouds were in turbulence, heaven and earth were changing colors. Fang Yuan's pupils shrunk. This zombie dragon is not simple, it seems that defensive immortal GU worms had been used on its body before. Then what do we do now? He Lulan was very troubled. Under their watchful eyes, there is no way we can get the walking meat tree. Chapter 723. Chapter 723. Shocking appearance of star constellation Immortal Venerable. In the sky, the human and dragon were engaging in battle. With loud explosions, the battle was entering its climax. Star Lord Wanshang was at the side, he could not interfere at all. Fang Yuan and He Lulan were hiding in the forest on the ground, they were observing the fighting and awaiting their chance. The huge dragon roared, zombie energy was bursting from it as the famous expert of Central Continent, Shilei, was in a disadvantage. This zombie dragon is incredible. When it was alive, it was a wind path azure dragon. After becoming a zombie dragon, not only does it have wind path and dark path Dao marks, its speed is even amplified by immortal GU. After observing the battle, He Lulan gradually understood the situation. Starry Sky Grotto Heaven's owner, 7-star child, originally had a wind path immortal GU, called Wind Sprint Immortal GU. But using this GU required immortal essence. According to rumors, 7-star child had once developed a killer move that could apply the effects of the immortal GU on another target for a long period of time. Looking at this now, it seems the rumors were right. Fang Yuan added. The zombie dragon's defense and movement were boosted by immortal GU, it was experienced in battle and its giant dragon body could strike with huge force. Manipulating its tail while flying, it gave off an unrestrained aura. Most importantly, the zombie energy dragon flames were very powerful, they were on par with the highest tier of mortal killer moves. Shilei continued to shout as he used near 10 different battle tactics, but he could not change the situation. Often, when he took back some of the initiative, the zombie dragon would suppress him again. The zombie dragon had no weakness in attack, defense, or movement, it had an all-around advantage. He Lulan's expression turned heavy as she watched, she said solemnly, Shilei's battle strength far surpasses my estimation. If it had been me, facing the attacks of the zombie dragon, I would only last for a moment before getting killed by it. If it was you, Fang Yuan, unless you could use Myriad Self, you would only hold on for a while longer than me, there is no way of winning. Fang Yuan did not rebuke her, He Lulan's assessment was very reasonable. Although she was a strength path extreme immortal, because of her life experiences, she was not arrogant at all, she was humble and vigilant, she understood her own strength clearly. The reason why Fang Yuan could last longer than her was because of his flying attainment, as well the movement killer move true solid bat wings. But even if Fang Yuan's speed surpassed He Lulan, without the killer move myriad self, he could not pose a threat to the zombie dragon. He could only run away, as icy drill stardust could not cause damage to the zombie dragon, he had no way to win. Although He Lulan had strength path immortal GU, and half an offensive immortal killer move, her offense surpassed Fang Yuan but her movement speed and defense were her weaknesses. Although she could cause damage to the zombie dragon, it would not take a beating without fighting back. Once they fought, He Lulan would not last as long as Fang Yuan. Those who were called experts not only had battle strength, they also needed great insight. Looking at information and knowing if they could do it or not, whether they could win or not. That was the ability to assess a situation and know one's own limits. Without these abilities, even if one had great strength, they would not go far. Knowing whom they could offend, know whom they could not afford to offend, knowing when to battle or retreat. Retreating was not cowardly, it was treasuring one's own life, awaiting the time where they could soar towards success. In this situation, we have no way of succeeding. We should leave the walking meat tree there, I suggest we retreat. Fang Yuan said. He Lulan nodded. That was my intention as well, nobody can predict any accidents in battle. Even if we stay here and take a risk of getting discovered, we cannot do anything anyway, we should withdraw towards a safer location. The two came to an agreement and retreated stealthily. Their advantage was that they were in the dark while their enemies were out in the open, they could afford to watch on the sidelines. Right now, the enemies were stronger than them, they had to hold on to this advantage. After they retreated to a safe distance, He Lulan suddenly said, "Actually, I have a question, how did they get in?" Fang Yuan's gaze shone. I was thinking about this question too. The area near the Star Hall that we came in from did not have any investigative GU worms around, that is not the usual behavior of GU immortals. In this case, we can deduce that they did not come from a Star Hall. This area is the place where they first arrived in. To enter someone else's blessed land or grotto heaven, the most usual method is to follow cracks and loopholes, or GU worms like connecting heaven GU and whole earth GU. He Lulan continued. It is unlikely for them to use whole earth GU or connecting heaven GU, after all, both sides need to agree for that to work. This starry sky grotto heaven is quite strange, the heavenly spirit has not shown up yet, after being here for so long, we have not faced any obstacles as well. And if Shi Lei's group was able to gain access normally, they would not be fighting so intensely. Fang Yuan said. Thus, it is most likely that they used a loophole or crack. He Lulan laughed. A dark light shined in Fang Yuan's eyes, he spoke what He Lulan was thinking but did not say out loud. They are not like us who have fixed immortal travel, so be it if they have other space path GU worms. But if they really came in from a loophole, we can use this to ambush them or plot against them, we might have a huge profit from it. If Star Lord Wansheng and Shi Lei heard this, they would definitely be breaking out in cold sweat. Fang Yuan and He Lulan were demons full of evil ideas, most importantly, they could keenly analyze and would not give up on any minute clues, they even managed to guess Shi Lei's and Star Lord Wansheng's method of entering the grotto heaven. But just as Fang Yuan and He Lulan were about to search for the loophole, the battle in the sky changed. Shi Lei had been fighting for a long time, suppressed by the zombie dragon the whole time, he was growling in anger. He quickly moved back as he pulled some distance, his body started shaking. Immortal battlefield killer move, rolling rock battlefield. The sky was changing, turning into a gray rock battlefield. The battlefield rapidly expanded, covering the zombie dragon and Shi Lei. From outside, it looked like a huge gray rock cloud was hanging in the sky, it completely blocked any vision from outside. He Lulan's and Fang Yuan's hearts shuddered. He Lulan thought. An amazing method, it actually is an immortal level battlefield killer move. To form such a killer move, he needs to use at least 3 immortal GU, and these immortal GU need to be connected in some way. Fang Yuan was thinking, rolling rock battlefield. In my previous life, vicious lightning fiend lost to this move. To think that Shi Lei has already obtained this method at this time. At the same time, Star Lord Wansheng was thinking, Shi Lei is going to fight the zombie dragon to the end. What should I do? There are no longer any ancient desolate beast guards inside the 8th Star Hall, the battlefield killer move also isolates the inside and outside of the domain should I explore the 8th Star Hall first? The more Star Lord Wansheng thought about it, the more he was moved. After a dozen breaths of time, he could not control it anymore, he turned into a shooting star and flew into the 8th star hall. Seeing Star Lord Wansheng move so swiftly, He Lulan and Fang Yuan stopped their current plans. The two were familiar with people's thought processes, they had keen perception, they immediately guessed the possibility that the Star Hall's defenses were no longer a threat. Let's bet on it. Do you dare to bet on it and charge in? Fang Yuan and He Lulan transmitted at the same time, they flew up and towards the 8th star hall. The two came to the 8th star hall and found the ravaged battlefield. There were 3 defenses in the 8th star hall, the first was the astral wind flying heavenly boar, the second was the walking meat tree, and the third was the zombie dragon. After the 3 defenses were gone, one could enter the deepest area of the star hall. The two used their defensive killer moves at the same time, moving together deep into the star hall. Soon, they found the inner hall. The inner hall's doors were opened, as Star Lord Wansheng was already inside. Fang Yuan and He Lulan did not dare to waste their precious time, they hid their figures and stepped into the inner hall. At the next moment, they saw Star Lord Wansheng. Star Lord Wansheng was in a strange condition, his back was facing Fang Yuan and He Lulan as he stood on the spot, shivering as if he was filled with extreme fright. Immortal Venerable, please spare me. Suddenly, he shouted with a tone filled with fear, he directly knelt on the ground, he was begging for mercy. Before him was deep darkness. The lights in the inner hall were not lit, there was no light source, Fang Yuan and He Lulan could only see the figure of a huge throne. Immortal Venerable, He Lulan and Fang Yuan looked at each other. HMPH, acting mysterious. Soon after, Fang Yuan snorted coldly as he walked forward. He Lulan followed behind. At the next moment, their pupils shrunk to pin size as their bodies froze like a rock. A woman's figure appeared before them. She was wearing a dark blue robe, her hair was dazzling like the Milky Way, drooping down. She looked down from above as she pointed at Fang Yuan and He Lulan. You two juniors are simply too daring, you dare to offend Star Constellation Immortal Venerable, quickly kneel down. The aura of rank 9 was overwhelming, she was the real deal. Central Continent, Spirit Affinity House, Bai Qing Blessed Land. The sunlight pierced the window as it shone on a small building on a mountain. In the small building, there was a warm and comfortable bed, on it was a woman sitting in a meditating position. This woman had inborn beauty like that of a flower, she had white skin and a straightly pointed nose with red lips, she wore a phoenix coronet as she appeared elegant and grand, incapable of being profaned. She was Feng Jinhuang. Because of Dream Wing's immortal GU, she had gotten into a strange state where she had not woken up for a very long time, all of the GU immortals in Spirit Affinity House could do nothing to help her. A small sparrow was chirping as it flew onto the window from a tree branch outside. As if she had heard this, Feng Jinhuang's eyelashes suddenly moved. Soon after, she opened her eyes, she had woken up. Huang my Huang you have finally woken up. Almost at the same time, Feng Jinhuang's mother, Fairy Bai Qing, appeared in the building. Looking at Feng Jinhuang who had woken up, she was overjoyed and in tears, she hugged Feng Jinhuang tightly. Mother, Huang was unfilial, I have worried you. Feng Jinhuang hugged Bai Qing as she consoled her maturely. All is fine as long as you are all right, Huang are you injured, do you feel anything wrong? Fairy Bai Qing was worried, she touched Feng Jinhuang's face and shoulders, checking everywhere. It is not a problem mother. This time, I have found the true use of Dream Wing's immortal GU. It can bring me into dream realms. Feng Jinhuang said. Dream realms. Fairy Bai Qing was shocked. At the next moment, she reacted, her pupils expanded as she showed some uncertain joy, she grabbed Feng Jinhuang's shoulders. Daughter, are you sure? It really is about dream realms. Chapter 724 Pitiful Dreamer, Precarious Situation in Dream. Chapter 724. Pitiful Dreamer, Precarious Situation in Dream. That's right, Feng Jinhuang nodded with certainty. Using Dream Wing's immortal GU, I traveled in a dream realm, I encountered many life forms. I met many people, there were GU masters and ordinary people. I saw many wild beasts, tigers, wolves, rabbits, rats, I even found a desolate beast iron crown eagle, I watched it grow up from birth. In the end, I came across an old man, he had a strange temperament, constantly muttering to himself, saying that he is called Kongju, he often killed people and dissected their corpses, it was terrifying. He even tried to block my way, I could only dodge left and right and had to escape for a long time. Otherwise, I would have woken up long ago. When Feng Jinhuang first spoke, she had an excited and agitated tone, but when she mentioned Kongju, her tone became grim and she felt some lingering fear. Fairy Bai Ching heard this and stared straight at her daughter. Mother, what's wrong? Only when Feng Jinhuang was starting to get worried and asked did Fairy Bai Ching breathe in deeply, her eyes showing extreme happiness. Huang your opportunity has come. It seems you truly entered a dream realm. The Kongju that you mentioned is likely to be old Immortal Kongju. In history, he was one of the three olds, along with old eccentric Tian Nan and long-hair ancestor. The so-called three olds were the three refinement path supreme grand masters over the long course of history. No wonder I felt that Kongju was so familiar when I heard the name. Feng Jinhuang realized at once, but then her beautiful face showed some confusion. But why did I encounter old Immortal Kongju? Why did he want to capture me? Why is it that after I woke up, I felt that there are a lot of refinement path methods in my mind, my recognition of certain GU worms became clearer, and when I see a GU worm, I would think of its refinement recipe, the materials needed, the funds necessary for the refinement and so on. Great fortune. This is your great fortune. Fairy Bai Ching raised her head and sighed, tears were almost about to fall from her eyes. Mother, what is this dream realm, why is it so magical? Feng Jinhuang asked again. Fairy Bai Ching let out a breath of cloudy air. She calmed her emotions and said gently, regarding dream realms, Mother does not know much either, but the earliest record of a dream realm is written in less than the legends of Ren Zhu greater than. Less than the legends of Ren Zhu greater than, Chapter 3, Section 16 states, Ren Zhu's third son, Northern Dark Ice Soul had entered a deep part of Black Heaven, obtaining Fire GU. He was chased by many life forms inside Black Heaven, left without a choice, he tossed Fire GU towards them to protect himself. Fire GU lit up many of the walking meat trees, and the fire spread out to ignite many of the wild beasts' bodies. At once, life forms were crying out as the light of the flames burst out brightly. So many delicious things, so many delicious things. Fire GU shouted in excitement, it was no longer weak like before, it was tall and imposing, there was even a hint of ruthlessness and madness in its tone. Northern Dark Ice Soul was shocked. Fire, oh fire, how did you become so huge? I said, I am the least picky when it comes to food, I can eat almost anything. Fire can draw out more fire, a spark can create a forest fire. Fire GU shouted proudly as it answered. Suddenly, the flame rose up like a wall, moving towards Northern Dark Ice Soul. Northern Dark Ice Soul quickly took a step back. Fire GU laughed loudly. Oh human, do not be scared. You saved me, you are my benefactor, you are my friend. They are afraid of me, but they need me to deal with those dream realms, thus they imprisoned me and starved me. Only you helped me, thus you are my true friend, from now on, if you have any difficulties, you can count on me. Northern Dark Ice Soul's heart was eased, he said happily, that would be great, my friend. Friend. Fire GU laughed loudly, it turned into a form of a human as it opened its arms, wanting to give Northern Dark Ice Soul a hug. Northern Dark Ice Soul jumped back in fear. Oh fire, excessive fervor is the fire of self-immolation, let's keep a distance between us. Fire GU had no choice but to stop its actions, it spun around Northern Dark Ice Soul as he said, oh human, you are so weak, you are not fun. Northern Dark Ice Soul was surrounded in flames, he quickly waved his hand, don't get too close, don't get too close. It is so hot, way too hot, leave a path open for me to walk out. Fire GU had to open a path for Northern Dark Ice Soul to walk out of. After he walked for several hundred steps, he looked back at the blazing sea of fire with a sigh of relief. But at this time, a wild beast came out from the shadows behind him, swallowing Northern Dark Ice Soul in one mouthful. That is a dream realm. There are so many dream realms, they are catching up. Many life forms shouted as they escaped. Quickly release my friend. Fire GU shouted in anger, pouncing towards the beast group of dream realms. The Dream Realm Beast group shrunk when shown by the light of the fire, they rapidly melted like a candle. They growled and scattered all over the place. Fire GU continued to eat along the way, it spread towards the Dream Realm that consumed Northern Dark Ice Soul. The Dream Realms were escaping, but Fire GU was chasing behind them. Among the escaping Dream Realms, the larger their bodies, the stronger they were, and the faster they ran away. Soon, they pulled some distance from Fire GU. As it turned out, the Dream Realms used the emotions and desires of their prey to strengthen themselves. Northern Dark Ice Soul, who was swallowed by a Dream Realm, had a huge desire to survive, at the same time, his greatest goal was to revive his father. In addition, he was filled with anxiety and was afraid he would not make it. He was also filled with guilt and regret, because Desolate Ancient Moon died due to him giving her a meaning in life. One could say that Northern Dark Ice Soul was the best prey for the Dream Realms. The dream realm who swallowed him grew rapidly. Fire Gu growled loudly in anger, but it was getting closer to the dream realm. Northern Dark Ice Soul was deep inside the dream realm. He had fallen asleep. In his dream, he saw desolate ancient moon reviving and smiling to him, calling him a good brother and saying she forgave him, and that she knew he did not do it intentionally. He saw that he was at the door of life and death, successfully saving his father, Renzu. Renzu praised him. You are indeed my good son, if not for you, father would not have revived. Northern Dark Ice Soul's face was filled with a blissful smile. And like that, many days passed. The sea of fire was still burning intensely. It spread all over black heaven as it finally blocked all of the dream realms which were escaping. Under the burning of the flames, the dream realm quickly melted as Northern Dark Ice Soul fell onto the ground, waking up from his dream. He suddenly understood that everything in his dream was fake. His happiness was not real. What he faced was a burning hot fire Gu. But his face was filled with tears. He felt an extreme cold that was piercing into his bones. He cried out loud, questioning Fire Gu. Why did you wake me up? I still want to dream. I want to be eaten by the dream realm. Fire Gu reminded him helplessly. Oh human, you must know, dreams are often the opposite of reality, they are fake. I don't want to listen, I don't care. Northern Dark Ice Soul cried out as he covered his ears and shook his head. Fire Gu was anxious. I am your friend, I do not want. Northern Dark Ice Soul interrupted it before it finished. Since you are my friend, you should not restrict me or obstruct me. Sigh. Fire Gu let out a long sigh. It fell into silence, giving Northern Dark Ice Soul a path leading out without a better choice. Northern Dark Ice Soul quickly ran out, wanting to find another dream realm within the darkness to have him eaten once again. Central Continent, Starry Sky Grotto Heaven. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. Facing this person, Fang Yuan and He Lu Lan were tongue-tied, they were shocked and dazed. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable, one of the 10 venerables in the history of Gu Masters. Legends regarding her had been passed down even until this day. She was a rarely seen female rank 9 Gu Immortal, the founder of Wisdom Path, and the creator of Star Path. She was the second-generation reigning Immortal of Heavenly Court. Even after death she plotted against 3 demon venerables, protecting Heavenly Court from danger. Now that she was standing in front of Fang Yuan and He Lu Lan, she looked down arrogantly as her grand aura of rank 9 burst out towards them. What is going on? Star Constellation Immortal Venerable, she is still alive. He Lu Lan gritted her teeth, feeling an immense pressure. Even if she had great confidence, and was a formidable person plotting to kill her own father, at this moment her body was shaking as she faced an intense trial of her will. After all, the other party was at the peak of Gu Masters, a rank 9 Gu Immortal, the legendary Star Constellation Immortal Venerable that she had heard about since a young age. He Lu Lan could not help but feel her legs go soft, while Star Lord Wansheng in front of her was already kneeling on the ground, kowtowing as he begged for mercy. The aura of rank 9 was undeniable. But Fang Yuan gritted his teeth, his eyes shining with ruthlessness. This feeling, this is actually a piece of a dream realm. He could only growl in his mind, he could not produce any sound. He could not move at all. Under the pressure of the rank 9 aura, he felt like an ant that was sealed inside amber. Under the intense threat of life and death, Fang Yuan felt a strong sense of danger in his heart. I have to get out of this dream realm, otherwise, all of my plans after rebirth would come to a halt. My plan for eternal life would end here. True solid bat wings, detonate now. Fang Yuan gritted his teeth. At the crucial moment, he decided to make a sacrifice. The bat wings that he had transplanted after much effort detonated under Fang Yuan's resolute decision. An intense sense of pain assaulted him, turning into a formless energy that protected Fang Yuan's entire body. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable gasped lightly, looking at Fang Yuan deeply, an immortal zombie, yet so fascinating. Just as she said that, under Fang Yuan's perception, the entire scene changed. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable vanished, and the 8th star hall disappeared. What he could see was a blue-robed Gu Immortal with his face facing Fang Yuan, looking up at the clear moon in the sky above the clouds. He muttered, "Heaven has taken pity on me. I, 7-star child, have finally combined the 7-star spaces into one, forming the unified starry sky grotto heaven. I have passed another huge obstacle in my cultivation journey. I am one step closer to rank 9 realm, one step closer." Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. 7-star child seemed to be unable to sense Fang Yuan's existence. He continued to face Fang Yuan as he had no inclination to turn around. He continued to laugh loudly. His laughter was filled with joy. Even Fang Yuan was affected by it and started to feel happy. Fang Yuan started to feel some joy in him, but his body was turning cold, like he was in an icy domain. Oh no, this is a dream within a dream. I had just left the dream of star constellation Immortal Venerable, but now I am inside 7-star child's dream. But this time, Fang Yuan had no bat wings left to detonate. Chapter 725 7-Star Child Awakens. Chapter 725. 7-Star Child Awakens. Not good. A person's dream realm is filled with their desires and emotions. I am currently experiencing joy after hearing 7-Star Child's laughter. It is a signal that I am starting to be infected by the dream's emotions. Being inside 7-Star Child's dream realm, Fang Yuan knew the situation was terrible. He had his previous life's experiences, he knew about the dangers of a dream realm. If one was careless, a Grand Gu Immortal could lose himself inside a dream realm, dying in the end. At this moment, Fang Yuan had not fallen too deeply into it. To leave the dream realm, the most effective way was to stimulate himself with severe pain. But as an immortal zombie, he had no sense of pain. If not for the fact that he had retained the sense of pain in his true solid bat wings earlier, he would have been stuck in star constellation Immortal Venerable's dream realm. The encounter earlier was extremely precarious. Thankfully, Fang Yuan had his previous life's memories and recognized that it was a dream realm, thus he could leave before he sunk further into it. Fortunately, he had true solid bat wings, and the pain produced from the self-detonation exceeded the power of star constellation Immortal Venerable's dream, thus Fang Yuan was pushed out of the rank 9 Venerable's dream. But just when Fang Yuan escaped from the tiger's den, he entered the wolf's cave. 7-Star Child was a rank 8 GU Immortal. He did not have a prominent reputation, but his battle strength would have been exemplary. Be it Fang Yuan during his previous life or Fang Yuan currently, he was not 7-Star Child's match. Fang Yuan had no more pain that he could inflict. He felt helpless at this moment, like he was quietly awaiting death. No, there has to be a way, there is another way. Fang Yuan's lips were dry, he was nervously clenching his fists. Sensing his clenched fists, a brilliant light shined in Fang Yuan's red eyes. He was overjoyed. There is a chance. Although 7-Star Child is rank 8, he is far inferior to Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. In Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's dream, I could not move at all. But in 7-Star Child's dream, I have not lost all of my movement ability yet. Thinking of this, Fang Yuan raised one arm with much difficulty. It felt like a huge mountain was pressing on his hand. Such a simple act of raising his arm became extremely difficult. Rise up. Fang Yuan's veins were popping. He stared at this arm as he exerted all of his strength. After 15 minutes, he finally raised his hand to an appropriate degree. With much difficulty, he slowly opened his 5 fingers, conjuring a lump of starlight in his palm. There were countless icy shards in the starlight. A continuously soft explosion could be heard from them. The blue starlight shined the entire area blue. Seeing this starlight lump, Fang Yuan had an intense feeling of joy and satisfaction. Oh no, I'm starting to feel the same joyful emotions as him. The deeper I am in this dream realm, the more mobility I lose. Fang Yuan reacted, suppressing his emotions. As he expected, his mobility had fallen greatly. He could raise his arm earlier, but now he could only move his fingers. His hands spent a lot of effort to create a lump of starlight. This was his final hope. Hidden dream realms cannot be attacked using normal methods. But this piece of dream realm is different. It has already surfaced. Since it can interfere with outside forces now, it can also be disrupted and destroyed by those outside forces. Although this piece of dream realm had Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and 7-Star Child's dreams, it had immense value. It was a huge waste to destroy it, but if Fang Yuan did not do this, he would lose his life. He had no choice but to do this. Fang Yuan exerted all of his strength. His 5 fingers trembled as the icy drill stardust flew out of his palm slowly. Carrying Fang Yuan's hope, the icy drill stardust slowly hit 7-Star Child's back. Ha, I succeeded. I fused the 7 stars into one. Ha, goo. 7-Star Child's laughter came to a stop. He turned around but his body was shattering rapidly like a mirror. Fang Yuan could only see his face clearly. His entire body had collapsed. A good chance. Fang Yuan's entire body relaxed, like the formless mountain pressing on his body had been lifted. Fang Yuan regained his mobility and immediately retreated. If he did not move, when the dream realm recovers, he would not be able to any longer. But 7-Star Child's dream was much more fragile than what Fang Yuan had expected. Not only did 7-Star Child's body shatter, the surrounding clouds and the moon in the sky shattered. In the blink of an eye, this dream realm of 7-Star Child vanished completely. How could that be? My icy drill stardust is not strong, all it could do was shatter 7-star child's image, he should recover very quickly. Wait, this situation could it be? A flash of inspiration appeared in Fang Yuan's mind, he thought of a possibility. As if responding to his thoughts, a sharp growl could be heard from within the 8th-star hall, the voice creating strong sound waves. Who disrupted my sleep? At the deep, dark spot of the 8th-star area, high up on the throne, there were 2 blue eyes shining brightly. Soon after, a body of an immortal zombie resembling a mortal person stood up and stepped out, furiously looking around, fixing his gaze on Star Lord Wansheng, He Lulan and Fang Yuan. At once, Fang Yuan felt extremely alert. He moved his entire body and retreated quickly, he did not even have time to turn around, he directly charged out of the Star Hall. It turns out that 7-star child had not died, but transformed into an immortal zombie. No wonder the heavenly spirit did not appear. He Lulan, I can only help you to this extent. Fang Yuan gritted his teeth. Before leaving, he fired icy drill stardust towards He Lulan. Worms, you court death. 7-star child first went to Star Lord Wansheng. He raised his leg and harshly stepped on Star Lord Wanzhang's back. Bam! With a loud boom, he created a hole in the 8th-star hall. Star Lord Wanzhang's chest was almost entirely smashed. His injured body was like a shooting star, flying down and crashing into the forest. 7-star child immortal zombie took large strides towards He Lulan. But He Lulan was attacked by the icy drill stardust. Under the intense feeling of pain and cold, she narrowly woke up from star constellation Immortal Venerable's dream realm. 7-star child immortal zombie snickered sinisterly. When he got to around 50 to 60 steps from He Lulan, he pushed with his left arm. He Lulan had yet to react before her entire body moved back subconsciously, at the same time she raised her arms to block. At the next moment, a huge starlight pillar shot out of 7-star child immortal zombie's hand silently. Immortal killer move, Star Billow Pillar. The defense He Lulan created was thoroughly destroyed in the blink of an eye by the starlight pillar. Luckily, He Lulan had obtained a crucial moment to rest, she quickly changed her direction. Star Billow Pillar was a straight-line attack, He Lulan narrowly escaped death and avoided the range of the pillar, retreating quickly. 7-star child immortal zombie halted for a moment, before twisting his left arm and adjusting the direction of the pillar. He Lulan dodged left and right, she narrowly avoided Star Billow Pillar many times. Even if she was hit by the light pillar, it was not for more than 3 breaths of time. After dozens of breaths, the huge starlight pillar in 7-star child's hand vanished, and He Lulan successfully escaped from the 8th-star hall, rapidly descending towards the forest. When He Lulan got to Fang Yuan's side, she could not believe that she actually escaped successfully, keeping her life. She did not have strong defensive methods, even with the recovery speed of being a strength path extreme immortal, she could not stay in the light pillar for 4 breaths of time. During the process of her retreat, she was dancing on the edge of death. If there was an accident and she stayed in it for 4 breaths, she would have died. Fang Yuan grabbed her arm and ran towards the deeper parts of the forest. Quickly go. 7-star child immortal zombie had been trapped in that dream realm for too long. His condition is abnormal and there are few thoughts in his mind, his cognition is slow and he cannot think normally now. He Lulan was dragged by Fang Yuan, they concealed their figures and stealthily moved past trees after trees, running frantically in the forest. She was still confused even now, she asked rapidly, Dream Realm. The star constellation Immortal Venerable that I saw earlier was also part of a dream realm. What is a dream realm? Suddenly, He Lulan's voice came to a stop, seeing the icy drill stardust marks on her body, she shouted in anger, Fang Yuan. You actually attacked me. Shut up, I was saving you. Without this icy drill stardust, would you be able to escape from star constellation Immortal Venerable's dream realm? If you could not react in time, you would have been killed by 7-star child immortal zombie's immortal killer move already. Fang Yuan did not turn around, he replied in a displeased tone. He Lulan was stunned, but she accepted his explanation. Fierce and ambitious people were usually easily suspicious. He Lulan did not believe Fang Yuan, what she believed was the Snowy Mountain alliance that they had. The alliance stated that allies were not to harm or attack each other. When one side was in danger, the other party must attempt to save them to the best of their ability. If Fang Yuan's icy drill stardust was an attack trying to harm He Lulan, he would have died from the oath already. Seeing that he was rapidly running, and causing pain to her arm, He Lulan understood and broke free from Fang Yuan's grasp, I can move myself. Pausing for a while, He Lulan followed behind Fang Yuan as she asked, I will remember this favor of saving my life. The compensation that I give you should certainly satisfy you. However, what is that dream realm? As a strength path extreme immortal, I actually sunk into that dream realm with no way of resisting. Dream realm is it that dream realm in less than the legends of Ren Zhu greater than? Is it connected to great dream immortal Venerable? Also, why are you running so rapidly? We have fixed immortal travel. Shut up, Fang Yuan shouted, running at his full speed. His true solid bat wings were already gone, his speed was much slower now. Worms that invade my territory deserve death. At this point, 7-star child immortal zombie's furious voice could be heard. Fang Yuan and He Lu Lan ran as they looked up, seeing that 7-star child immortal zombie had already flown out of the 8-star hall. His attention was on the rolling rock battlefield that was in the air. This was unavoidable. After all, the rolling rock battlefield was high in the air, it was massive and was like a huge poisonous tumor attached to the starry sky grotto heaven. It attracted too much hostility. 7-star child immortal zombie thought about it for a while. He stretched out his left arm and burst out with another star billow pillar. An immortal level star path killer move. It crashed onto the rolling rock battlefield. The rolling rock battlefield shook intensely, but it did not break. The star billow pillar was certainly an immortal killer move, but rolling rock battlefield was also an immortal killer move. In fact, it was a killer move formed by using 3 immortal GU that were related to each other. Chapter 726 Retreat. Chapter 726, Retreat. Seeing that his attack did not destroy this despicable poisonous tumor, 7-star child immortal zombie was stunned. He opened his mouth and roared with even more anger, as his right arm pressed towards the rolling rock battlefield. Following his action, a huge hand made of grand starlight formed and slapped the rolling rock battlefield with great force. It was another immortal killer move. After the attack of 2 immortal killer moves, the rolling rock battlefield cracked open as a huge opening revealed the scene inside the battlefield. It had not broken apart yet. Fang Yuan saw this and retracted his gaze, running without rest. He Lu Lan let out a breath of foggy air, her worry was mostly lifted. Alright, 7-star child immortal zombie is fighting Shi Lei now, this is the best situation. Fang Yuan, why are you running? Saving a person. Fang Yuan's reply was extremely brief and to the point. He Lu Lan was curious, save who? At this time, Fang Yuan turned around a mountain wall and stepped onto a cliff. He pointed, him. He Lu Lan looked and saw that there was a GU immortal lying on a cracked rock after a trail of broken trees. It is that star path GU immortal. The two came to Star Lord Wan Shang, and saw that there was a huge hole on his chest. Not only was it completely pierced through, he had lost almost all of his chest, only some flesh by the 2 sides were holding him together. Such heavy injuries made even He Lu Lan breathe in sharply. This is the power of 7-star child immortal zombie's stomp. Fang Yuan lowered his body and his 8 arms searched Star Lord Wan Zhang's body in turns. After a while, Fang Yuan sighed in disappointment, thinking, although his body's injuries are severe, it can be healed by paying a huge cost. But his soul was sucked into the dream realm. Unless star constellation immortal Venerable's dream was broken, this GU immortal soul can only wander inside that dream realm, or transform himself into another dream realm. He Lu Lan was standing at the side, using her investigative GU to check. She said with some lingering fear, there is no way to save him, even his soul is entirely missing now. Don't tell me it was because of that dream realm. If you did not save me, would I end up in that state as well? What a pity, Fang Yuan muttered. His movements did not stop. If he was still alive, we could still gain important information from him. In fact, we could use your slavery immortal GU to make him become one of us, doing our bidding. We could even plot against Shi Lei, and might have a chance of killing Shi Lei without taking any risks, while also leaving us free from suspicion, obtaining the greatest benefits. Hey, are you listening to my words? He Lu Lan was stomping her feet in anger. If you have the time for that, why don't you come and help me seal the immortal aperture in his body? Fang Yuan's words attracted all of He Lu Lan's attention. This was a complete rank 6 blessed land. He Lu Lan quickly moved ahead and sent out her divine sense, but it could only move around the area outside the immortal aperture, unable to enter. He is dead, but he left behind his obsession. The blessed land now has a land spirit. Fang Yuan's 8 arms were continuing to move, planting all sorts of GU worms on Star Lord Wan Zhang's corpse. Star Lord Wan Zhang's injuries continued to heal. What can I do to help? He Lu Lan was stunned by the incredible techniques that Fang Yuan was using endlessly right now. Fang Yuan's brows were tightly locked, he was concentrating. Sealing the blessed land is a troublesome matter, thankfully the land spirit has just been formed. I did not expect such a situation, I am lacking GU worms now. You have to observe the battle situation up there, while communicating with Treasure Yellow Heaven to buy these GU worms. Remember, we cannot have a single one missing. Saying so, Fang Yuan transmitted his divine sense. I know. He Lu Lan obtained a list and her face was serious. She stood beside Fang Yuan, acting as a guard while using her own immortal aperture to communicate with Treasure Yellow Heaven. Not just that, she even used the moving perspective cup GU that Fang Yuan lent her to ask for help from Fairy Li Shan. Boom boom boom. High in the sky, 7-star child immortal zombie continued to attack endlessly. His immortal killer moves were unleashed as if they did not cost any immortal essence at all. He used them one after another. The rolling rock battlefield could not take the pressure and was finally broken. The battlefield broke apart, and the zombie dragon fell from the sky helplessly, like a dead snake with lots of injuries. Shi Lei, who caused its injuries, was not in a good state either. He was covered in wounds, especially the one on his chest. It extended from his shoulder to his waist. The wound was so deep his bones could be seen. Shi Lei was panting heavily, his face was pale. There was still a trace of gray-white zombie fire burning on his body. In order to defeat the zombie dragon, he had paid a huge price and suffered heavy injuries. But the more injured he was, the greater his fighting intent. Seeing 7-star child immortal zombie, who was stronger than the zombie dragon, this GU immortal from Combat Immortal sect laughed loudly. He did not have any fear, instead, his fighting intent was blazing like a forest fire. Intruder, die! 7-star child immortal zombie shouted, expressionlessly pointing a finger at Shi Lei. Immortal killer move, 1-star finger. At the same time, Shi Lei snickered, flipping his palm. Immortal killer move, shocking rock break. The two killer moves were attacking methods that had short activation time but great offensive power. 7-star child immortal zombie's fingertip burst out with starlight. In the blink of an eye, it tore through space and pierced Shi Lei's chest. Meanwhile, a huge mountain rock pressed down on 7-star child immortal zombie. With a loud bang, 7-star child immortal zombie was sent crashing to the ground, buried under a small hill. Shi Lei's blood was spewing out in a line, from the front and back of his chest. His body shook in the air for a while. He almost fell but he managed to continue floating. Shi Lei was stunned. The attack earlier was too fast. If he did not move his body in time, his heart would have been destroyed. At the area of his wound, there were countless star path Dao marks. As they were near his heart, blood was flowing out unceasingly. Ordinary mortal GU could not help. Even mortal healing killer moves could not do anything, but Shi Lei had his own healing immortal GU. After the treatment of the immortal GU, Shi Lei's injuries healed rapidly. The blood stopped spewing out. It flowed down his chest like a stream. Right after he finished treating his injuries, the rock that was suppressing 7-star child immortal zombie broke apart. A huge starlight hand pressed hard and broke the rock into pieces, sending the shards flying. Roar! 7-star child immortal zombie shouted loudly. His body was covered in a multicolored star cloak. With a loud bang, he flew up, only leaving behind an illusory figure on the spot. The intense force caused the ground below the immortal zombie to crack, caving in to form a crater. Shi Lei's pupils shrunk. He was shocked by 7-star child's burst of speed. Shi Lei had just summoned his defensive immortal GU when 7-star child immortal zombie crashed towards him with a loud bang. The immortal Gu's defense was nearly broken. Shi Lei spat out a mouthful of blood with his vision spinning. He was sent flying into the sky from the impact. Oh no, this is a movement immortal killer move. Shi Lei could feel the wind brushing against his ears. He tried hard to open his eyes. Whoosh! Hearing something with his ears, Shi Lei turned around with much difficulty, only to see 7-star child immortal zombie covered in a robe of starlight, piercing the clouds and appearing before him. 7-star child immortal zombie flew alongside Shi Lei, towards the sky. At that moment, the immortal zombie opened his left palm, aiming it at Shi Lei's head. Immortal killer move, star billow pillar. Boom! The huge light pillar pierced the cloud layer from a high altitude, penetrating a mountain peak and causing a large area to collapse and fall apart, resulting in much dust and smoke. A body descended from the sky like a broken sack. It was Shi Lei. He had endured the attack of the star billow pillar for 15 breaths, but he was still alive and had some battle strength left. His entire head was charred black. His facial features were all blurry, like the melted wax of a candle. Roar! Shi Lei opened his eyes, his golden pupils bursting out with an unprecedented ruthless light. His heart was filled with rage. He finally used his greatest trump card. Earth Path, Transformation Path, Dual Immortal Killer Move, Rock Mountain Immortal Monkey King Transformation. 7-star child immortal zombie charged over, but was repelled by a burst of golden light. When the giant pillar of golden light vanished, a 16-meter-tall giant monkey appeared. The monkey had golden fur, like it was clad in golden armor. The muscles on its body were bulging like huge rocks. Its golden pupils were emitting an emotionless dominance, as the reflection of 7-star child immortal zombie could be seen in its eyes. There were a pair of huge hands with red fingernails that were sharp as swords. When his fingers were extended, his hands looked like 2 fearsome claws. Opening its mouth, fangs grew. In a moment, fangs were protruding out of its mouth. It was as if a demonic god had descended into the mortal world. On one end, it was the huge immortal monkey king. On the other end there was the awakened immortal zombie clad in a starry cloak. The two were at a standstill, neither of them attacked yet. Lu Lan watched with her heart shaking. She knew that the moment the two of them attacked, it would be an overwhelming battle. She could not help but urge Fang Yuan, "Quick, the situation is becoming more troublesome." Okay, but without immortal GU, we can only last for 7 minutes. Once the time is up, the immortal aperture will have to land on the ground and take root. Fang Yuan was extremely busy. He felt dizzy as his 8 arms stopped moving in that complex manner. He heaved a deep sigh, looking at the sky, seeing the fearsome immortal monkey king, as well as the 7-star child immortal zombie who was surrounded by shiny starlight. Immortal monkey king moved his golden pupils, using his peripheral vision to look at Fang Yuan and Lu Lan. Fang Yuan's concealment method could not deceive Shilei in his current state. Fang Yuan's pupils shrunk. He found us. Quick, hide the corpse. Lu Lan's expression was solemn. She quickly dragged Star Lord Wan Zhang's leg and tossed him into her immortal aperture. At this time, 7-star child immortal zombie howled towards the sky. His voice pierced heaven and earth. Beams of starlight pillars shot down from the sky. From the pillars, desolate beasts came out: diamond bear, flying sword rat, star desolate hound, golden pangolin. After 7-star child immortal zombie started thinking again, he finally used the advantage of the grotto heaven. He released the desolate beasts inside the 7 spaces and displayed an overpowering position. Seeing this, Fang Yuan said nothing more, activating fixed immortal travel. Immortal monkey king's expression changed. Lu Lan entered Fang Yuan's immortal aperture. In just a few breaths of time, the two of them vanished. Fixed immortal travel, immortal zombie Fang Yuan. 3 phrases appeared in immortal monkey king's mind, but 7-star child immortal zombie charged over again. Shilei was bold, but he was not stupid enough to continue fighting. He flew down, towards the walking meat tree, and placed the 2 segments of the tree into his immortal aperture. Boom! A trace of starlight tore through the sky, piercing immortal monkey king's huge body. It was 7-star child's immortal killer move, 1-star finger. After Shilei was hit, his body merely shook slightly. He continued to fly towards the flying heavenly boar corpse. He had the intention to retreat already. He wanted to get his loot before leaving. He endured 7-star child immortal zombie's attacks as he flew towards the astral wind flying heavenly boar corpse, stretching out his arm to grab it, but he got nothing instead. What? Shilei was shocked, seeing the broken mortal GU on his arm. He understood at once and flew into a rage. It had to be that Fang Yuan. Bam! At the next moment, a star billow pillar hit immortal monkey king directly on the back, causing him to fall onto the ground. Chapter 727 Escape. Chapter 727, Escape. Immortal monkey king was hit directly by the star billow pillar. With a loud thud, he crashed on the ground, with his head facing the floor. He growled angrily, spitting out the soil in his mouth, getting up quickly. Shilei did not care about the 7-star child immortal zombie. He only wanted to get to the star demon bat corpse, towards the location in his memories. He took huge steps as he ran, uprooting all of the trees in his way. He looked at the star demon bat corpse from afar, joyful to see that it was still intact. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Right at this moment, 3 golden lights flew over from the sky. The golden lights were extremely fast and agile. They were 3 flying sword rat desolate beasts. Shilei snorted coldly. He did not want to engage with them. He raised his arms and covered his face. Clank clank clank. The flying sword rat's nails were as sharp as swords. They scratched immortal monkey king's huge body, but no blood was seen as the soft golden monkey fur blocked the nails, emitting a loud metallic noise. Shilei's current form had outstanding defense. The 3 flying sword rats did not let go of Shilei yet. They were small and agile. They followed him and continued to scratch and hack away at his body. Bunches of monkey fur fell from Shilei's body. Wherever Shilei went, monkey fur would scatter on the ground. Damn rats! Shilei shouted, whipping his tail and using it like a golden whip. The flying sword rats were hit by the tail, but after they were sent flying, they returned and continued to disturb him. Just as he was about to reach the star demon bat corpse, a diamond bear appeared. Scram! Shilei was furious, he clenched his fists and swept with his arms, his fists were slamming horizontally as his brute force pushed the heavy diamond bear away. The diamond bear flew in the air for a short distance, before crashing partway up the mountain. With a loud thud, its body which resembled diamonds had cracks on it, but it stood up like it was uninjured. Desolate beasts generally had strong vitality, they were durable and sturdy existences. Shilei did not want to tangle with the diamond bear, he only wanted to get back his loot. He ignored the disturbance of the flying sword rats as he reached the star demon bat corpse and grabbed it with his hand. The star demon bat corpse shattered, he had been deceived once again. Shilei reacted quickly, shouting in anger, "Damn, what method is this? How can it look so real? Flying bear, right, there is still a flying bear here." Still having some hope in his heart, the golden fur giant monkey changed directions and continued to run. Along the way, he was met with obstruction from desolate beasts, but with his brute strength, he forcefully carved out a path. During this period, 7-star child Immortal zombie who was in the air attacked non-stop, sending blows towards the golden fur giant monkey. Even with the great defense of the immortal monkey king form, his skin was torn and flesh was exposed. Shilei finally got close to the flying bear corpse, but he saw that there were 5 flying bears surrounding the corpse, some made mournful cries while others were licking the blood on the ground. There was one which used its head to nudge the flying bear corpse, but the image flickered. Shilei saw this and lost all hope, it was completely dashed as rage overwhelmed him. It seems that all of the desolate beasts that I killed were stolen by that despicable thief Fang Yuan. All of these are my loot, the fruits of my victory. He dared to steal my possessions, the immortal monkey kings. How long has it been since such a thing has happened? Shilei's huge body attracted the attention of the flying bears. Grr! The 5 flying bears had bloodshot eyes as they charged towards the golden fur giant monkey. Shilei did not have the mood to fight with them. At this point, he knew there was nothing to gain here, he wanted to escape. Even though Star Lord Wan Shang was killed and Shilei lost the method to leave Starry Sky Grotto Heaven, he knew the location of that Grotto Heaven loophole. As long as he can find that place, he could exert force and create a bigger hole, connecting to the outside world of Central Continent. Shilei immediately changed directions, but he realized that while the 5 flying bears were still charging towards him from the front, on the left, there were 3 blazing divine stallions getting closer. On the right, there was a huge ghost-faced tortoise, and behind him were 7-star desolate hounds. In just a short while, he was surrounded by desolate beasts on all sides. Shilei wanted to fly into the sky, but he looked up to see an iron crown eagle, a 9-palace crane, and a chi grand lion, these 3 desolate beasts above him. Other than that, 7-star child immortal zombie was also ready to attack. 3 desolate beasts are nothing much, but this immortal zombie, the golden fur giant monkey's golden pupils shined with wariness. He lowered his head, looking around and deciding to break through from the right side. On his right, there was a ghost-faced tortoise. It was like the size of 3 mountains, floating in the sky silently. It was the largest in build and had the most difficulty in turning around. If 7-star child immortal zombie continued to attack, he could use the ghost-faced tortoise's huge body to act as a shield. Shilei made up his mind and took a huge step forward, charging towards the ghost-faced tortoise. He had transformed into the golden fur giant monkey. He was more than twice as large as Fang Yuan's 8-armed immortal zombie form. But in front of the ghost-faced tortoise, he was like a pearl in front of a wolf. The ghost-faced tortoise growled, as countless soul beasts emerged from the holes on its shell. The dark blue-colored soul beasts formed into an army, huge in numbers, filling the sky and charging towards the golden monkey like a torrential wave. Shilei fought against the flow and moved up, his fists sending all of the soul beasts in his way flying. His golden fur had great defense. Although the soul beasts were huge in numbers, they were slaughtered mercilessly. Shilei managed to use this soul beast army to avoid the entrapment of the desolate beasts. Only those 3 flying sword rats were still near him, causing small wounds from time to time. This immortal zombie seems to be unable to think. Even though he has strength, his beasts are hindering each other, and cannot display their true power. If it was me, I would have attacked long ago. Who cares about the lives of the soul beasts? Shilei had rich battle experience. After evading the ghost-faced tortoise, he had an idea and purposely slowed down. Under the encirclement of the soul beast army, he continued to move forward. The other beasts could only stand far away. Even 7-star child immortal zombie was staring blankly, as if he did not want to harm the soul beast army. Finally, Shilei came to the opening of the loophole of the Grotto Heaven. He let out a breath of turbid air. He was just about to relax before he winced, as blood poured out from his back. These 3 accursed rats! Shilei growled in anger. He turned around and raised his fist, sending the flying sword rats flying. The flying sword rats earlier could not cause much damage, but when damage accumulated, a small injury would grow into a large one. His back's injury was already filled with metal path Dao marks. The flying sword rats crashed onto the ground, but they quickly flew towards Shilei again. Shilei's eyes shone with a ruthless light. He activated an immortal killer move, Filthy Mud Robe. The 3 flying sword rats landed on the filthy mud robe and could not free themselves, like they were stuck in a swamp. Shilei used another move, Earth's Root. From the thick filthy mud robe, countless spikes shot out, stabbing and piercing the flying sword rats. The flying sword rats held on for over a dozen breaths of time before their tiny bodies were pierced through by hundreds of spikes. They died at the scene. At this time, 7-star child Immortal Zombie finally reacted. He mobilized the Soul Beast army and ordered the desolate beasts to charge forward fearlessly. It is too late, fool. Shilei breathed in deeply. The sticky filthy mud robe on his body moved rapidly, detaching from his body and covering the grotto heaven opening. Shilei placed both his palms on the filthy mud robe, pouring a large amount of immortal essence into it. Immortal killer move, Earth Disintegration. The filthy mud robe scattered and flowed out. The grotto heaven crack became a huge hole after this attack. Shilei could see another sky out of this huge hole. He laughed heartily, taking a huge step and forcing his way out. Because it was a forceful breakthrough and was not as meticulous as Star-Lord Wan Zhang's methods, during the process of leaving, a huge invisible force squeezed at Shilei's body from all directions. Thankfully, Shilei had become the golden fur giant monkey. His defenses rose by more than 10 times. He resisted the pressure and went through the hole. His body was covered in blood, especially the wound caused by the flying sword rats. His flesh was mushy and large amounts of blood was oozing out. Shilei sucked in a breath of cold air from the pain. He shouted in his heart, "Who dares to block my way? I am out of here. That accursed immortal zombie, I will definitely take you down. And for that Fang Yuan, the thief that stole my loot. A mere tiny rank 6 immortal zombie that doesn't know what is good for him, he dared to offend me. When I return, I will deal with you properly, and let you know the terrible fate for offending me." Thoughts flashed in Shilei's mind, but at this time, he heard the growls of flying bears near him. Shilei quickly looked around, seeing that 5 flying bears had gotten extremely close to him from 5 different directions. What is going on? He raised his head and looked, only to see 6 huge star shadows in the sky. Why am I still here? I had undoubtedly. Shilei was extremely shocked, his mouth was wide open. 7-star child immortal zombie looked at him as he laughed coldly. "Little monkey, did you think that my 7-star space is so simple? I do have to thank you. If you did not awaken me, I might still be stuck in that dream realm. As thanks, I will bury your corpse below my most beloved mountain peak." By now, 7-star child had actually regained his senses. He could think normally again. This is bad. Shilei's heart sank. 5 flying bears raised their paws, attacking the golden fur giant monkey. Scram! Shilei was just about to erupt, when starlight flickered around him. His body became heavier and his movement became slower. 7-star child immortal zombie had attacked. This was only a mortal killer move, but its effect was amazing. It was even more effective than the offensive immortal killer move earlier. At once, bear paws slammed down from all directions. Shilei shielded himself on his left and right, but he was unable to protect himself thoroughly. When he finally got rid of his restraint, he rolled and escaped from the 5 bears. But at this time, he was already dizzy from the beating. His muscles were swollen, becoming green and purple. Although he had no bone fractures, his body was aching intensely. After 7-star child regained his senses, his danger level escalated intensely. I have no choice, I will have to seek help from the sect. HMPH, to think that I, the Grand Immortal Monkey King, was forced to use seek help GU at this moment. Where will my reputation go after this? Fang Yuan, this is all your fault. After I am saved, I will make sure you pay. Shilei shouted in his heart. He was going to puke blood from anger. Fang Yuan not only stole his loot, causing his trip to be an overall loss, he even took away Star-Lord Wanshang and trapped Shilei in this starry sky grotto heaven. Woof woof woof. 2-star desolate hounds traveled over, and the ghost-faced tortoise also floated ahead of him soundlessly. Immortal Monkey King raised his head, shouting at 7-star child immortal zombie, "Fight me for 300 more rounds if you have the guts." 7-star child immortal zombie laughed arrogantly, "Sure, come here." The golden fur giant monkey growled as sharp golden light burst out, forcing 7-star child Immortal Zombie to squint in response. After the golden light faded, Shilei regained his human form, he charged into the forest and sped away rapidly. The result was, he ran away. He ran away. The immortal Monkey King Shilei, famous for his bravery and ruthlessness in Central Continent, had chosen to escape. If this was known to the outside world, who knows how many of Central Continent's GU immortals would gasp in shock. 7-star child Immortal Zombie was shocked for a while before reacting, responding angrily, "You dare to trick me? I thought you were a heroic champion who would rather battle to the death and would never give up. Escape, go ahead and run, I want to see where you can escape to in this grotto heaven of mine." Shilei did not say a word, he ran even faster. Chapter 728 Starform Blessed Land. Chapter 728, Starform Blessed Land. "We are here." Fang Yuan looked around him and gave a satisfied nod. "Where is this?" He Lu Lan came out of Fang Yuan's immortal aperture. The two had used fixed immortal travel to escape Starry Sky Grotto Heaven and arrive at this place. He Lu Lan looked around her and guessed this was either an underground cavern or inside a hollow mountain. The light was sparse, causing the place to be dark and gloomy, there were jagged rocks and the moisture in the air was very high, however it was quite spacious. "This place is Earth Abyss," Fang Yuan lightly replied. "Earth Abyss?" He Lu Lan looked at Fang Yuan with an astonished gaze. She was not unfamiliar with Central Continent, and knew that this Earth Abyss was located in the far west of Central Continent, and was an incomparably large underground world. Earth Abyss was divided into tens of layers, with every layer being at least hundreds of thousands of square kilometers in size. The space was extremely large and the underground world was deep and secluded. There were all sorts of caves and tunnels, some were like labyrinths, some had giant underground lakes while some had flat ground. Earth Abyss was home to untold number of living organisms, it was full of vitality, the unique ecology was clearly different from the surface. Truly a great place, the earth chi is dense in Earth Abyss and will greatly reduce the time for the blessed land to fall. He Lu Lan nodded, then changed the subject, but the main headquarters of Ancient Soul Sect is in Earth Abyss. Ancient Soul Sect is one of the 10 great ancient sects, it is like a colossal beast that has held dominance over the far west for thousands of years. They have occupied Earth Abyss and treat it as their own exclusive domain. If you want the blessed land to fall here, it is like planting flowers in another person's backyard, aren't you afraid of being found? Fang Yuan laughed. Don't worry, the depths of Earth Abyss are extremely secluded, Ancient Soul Sect has spent thousands of years but has only explored no more than 18 layers fully, with some brief explorations up to the 27th layer. From the 28th to 36th layers, only Ancient Soul Sect's GU immortals roam about occasionally. As long as we plant the blessed land below the 40th layer, we do not need to be concerned about being discovered even if we make a large commotion. 40th layer. I remember the exploration of Earth Abyss done by Ancient Soul Sect only found 36 layers. He Lu Lan was astonished. Fang Yuan snickered. That is because they are incompetent, the depth of Earth Abyss surpasses people's imaginations. How could it stop at 36 layers? As he said this, he recalled his previous life. In his previous life, when Fang Yuan was rank 5, endless beast tides emerged from Earth Abyss, attacking the surface and bringing disaster to Central Continent. Ancient Soul Sect suffered the brunt of their attack, suffering such disastrous losses that their foundation was damaged. After the beast tides charged out of Earth Abyss, they constantly drove out beast groups on Central Continent's surface and gradually formed into an unprecedented, terrifying beast tide that spread over the whole of Central Continent. In those years, there was great misery and suffering in Central Continent, countless small sects were destroyed like stones in the path of a flood. The 10 great ancient sects organized groups of experts and rushed everywhere to destroy the beast tide. They spent several years before they were finally able to eradicate the beast tide from the surface. Afterwards, both righteous and demonic path GU masters moved together inside Earth Abyss. Fang Yuan also entered Earth Abyss together with others and killed wild beasts, obtaining resources for his cultivation. They purged layers after layers, and entered deeper and deeper. After entering the 36th layer, GU masters discovered a new passage. Further down was an even larger underground world with territories of countless beast groups, desolate beasts and ancient desolate beasts. It was a land filled with dangers everywhere. Even when Fang Yuan had self-detonated, the exploration of the Earth Abyss had not finished. They had only discovered there were 107 layers. Ancient Soul Sect currently occupied 36 layers, which was just the portion that was closest to the surface. Fang Yuan naturally would not speak of these details to He Lu Lan, he only said, "Just follow me." He Lu Lan saw Fang Yuan's confident appearance and followed him deeper into Earth Abyss. The place they had appeared was the 8th layer. And as they moved down, they saw many of ancient soul sect's GU masters. These GU masters mostly were in groups, some were hunting wild beasts while some were gathering underground moss. The deeper they went, the fewer the number of GU masters they saw while the cultivations of the GU masters increased correspondingly. From rank 2 GU masters at the start to rank 3 to rank 4. How could these mortals have the ability to detect Fang Yuan and He Lulan's traces? Even if they brushed past some GU masters in a narrow path, these mortals would not have been able to sense anything. When they reached the 30th layer, they no longer saw mortal GU masters. It was a scene of darkness which greatly restricted vision, but fortunately, Fang Yuan and He Lulan were GU immortals, they had all sorts of investigative GU. At the 35th layer, one of ancient soul sect's rank 6 GU immortals was being chased miserably by an ancient desolate beast and 4 desolate beasts. This GU immortal had helped Fang Yuan. He and He Lulan were able to smoothly pass through the desolate beasts' camps and enter the 36th layer. Here, Fang Yuan walked to the key area according to his previous life's memory. After setting up 6 GU formations, Fang Yuan pointed below his feet and said to He Lulan, "My attack power is not enough, it is better if you activate your immortal GU and attack this muddy ground." He Lulan followed Fang Yuan's instruction. She transformed into a strength path phantom giant and punched heavily at the muddy ground 3 times. Mud and stones spattered, but could not splash out of the GU formations. Thunderous sounds echoed, but outside the GU formations, it was a scene of tranquil silence. The muddy ground was not completely smashed and only formed a crater that reached 70 to 80 feet. "Continue, quickly," Fang Yuan urged before jumping inside. He Lulan took a deep breath and jumped inside, punching rapidly. Under these continuous bombardments, the giant crater deepened further and after thousands of feet, it finally broke open completely, forming a hole. Fang Yuan and He Lulan entered this hole to the 37th layer. He Lulan was covered with sweat. She raised her head and saw that the hole was rapidly being restored under the effect of the GU formations. That was the thinnest area in the 36th layer. Even so, it was nearly 10,000 feet thick. Fang Yuan explained. "How did you discover this place?" He Lulan was filled with doubts. Fang Yuan snickered. Due to the snowy mountain alliance, he could not lie but could choose to not speak. He Lulan saw Fang Yuan's silence and snorted, but did not pursue it. The 37th layer was filled with much more danger. After all, this place was completely in its raw state. Fang Yuan and He Lulan could be said to be among the first outsiders to explore it. When the two finally reached the 40th layer, the seal on Star Lord Wansheng finally reached its time limit. "Your estimate was really accurate." He Lulan placed Star Lord Wansheng's corpse on the ground and gazed at Fang Yuan deeply. At Fang Yuan's will, hundreds of mortal GU flew out from Star Lord Wansheng's body like a swarm of locusts. They buzzed as they flew into Fang Yuan's immortal aperture. Without the layer of suppression, Star Lord Wansheng's body gradually let out bright starlight. The starlight became brighter and brighter. At the same time, the ground started to tremor. Several breaths later, vast amounts of earth chi emerged like layers of dust accumulating on the ground. The starlight stabilized. The piercing radiance was comparable to the sun during a summer afternoon. A formless suction force suddenly erupted which started to absorb the surrounding earth chi. Fang Yuan and He Lulan had already retreated far away from the starlight. "What is going on?" "It is an earthquake, another earthquake." "Leave, the earthquake this time is quite strong. If we don't leave now we might be buried alive." The GU masters in Earth Abyss scurried off like rats, shouting in panic as they ran as fast as they could out of Earth Abyss. They did not feel this was strange. The structure of Earth Abyss was not stable and there would occasionally be earthquakes or collapse of places within. It was because of this as well that Ancient Soul Sect did not spend a lot of energy to carry out explorations, even though they were in control of this place. Large amounts of stones fell down from above. Even more dangerous were those sharp stalactites that could pierce through rank 3 defensive GU if they struck. In fact, not only the GU masters, the numerous living beings in Earth Abyss were also in misery. Many were crushed to death by the falling stones, while others were buried alive. To place the blessed land, Fang Yuan had brought about the death of at least 100,000 or more lives. After 5 minutes of time, the starlight slowly stopped absorbing earth chi, and formed a large square door. The large door was completely constructed from starlight and was hovering in the air. There was a plaque on top of the door where 4 words were written, "Starform Blessed Land." He Lulan let out a breath of cloudy air. "We've finally succeeded, it seems our luck is not bad." The commotion was huge, but it did not lead to an attack from the wild beasts in this place. Let's go. Fang Yuan took the lead and opened the starry entrance. He Lulan followed closely behind. The two entered star-form blessed land. It was as if it was late at night in here, the sky was pitch black and filled with stars. The dazzling starlight shone on the ground of the blessed land, the visibility was high and it was not dark. The whole of star-form blessed land's terrain was like a giant basin. In the center were upward sloping grounds while at the edge of the blessed land were continuous mountain ranges, as if forming a circular wall. So much star fragment grass. Fang Yuan looked at the ground, the grass underneath him here actually entirely consisted of star fragment grass. Star fragment grass clearly required to be planted on cloud soil, but this star fragment grass was directly planted on the black muddy ground, yet their growth was in a much better state than the ones Fang Yuan planted in Immortal blessed land. Fang Yuan sighed with praise. This is the benefit of having a star path blessed land, growing the related plants is not only easier but also guarantees harvest. He Lulan's gaze was, however, attracted to the spine-fin star dragonfish that were leisurely flying in the night sky. She could only see 3 spine-fin star dragonfish. These giant dragonfish were about the size of a whale, but had the shape of a carp. There were bones protruding out of their backs that extended outwards. Their scales were blue in color, their eyes were as large as carts, with some starry radiance in them. However, under the keen observation of Fang Yuan and He Lulan, they quickly discovered some traces of battle. Not far away, large patches of plotted grass were in flames with black smoke rising up. The 3 spine-fin star dragonfish had injuries on their body. At the far end of their sight, those continuous mountain ranges also showed unnatural holes, like cheese that was nibbled at by rats. It seems that this Gu Immortal had been in a fierce battle. Fang Yuan said. Right, if not for my main body being heavily injured by Song Zixing, suffering hidden injuries to both the physical body and soul, how could my grand main body, Star Lord Wanshang, perish inside the 8th star hall? A boy suddenly appeared before Fang Yuan and He Lulan. His appearance was as if he was carved from jade. He was wearing pinkish blue clothes wrapped around his chest and stomach, his small arms and legs were tender white like lotus roots. He was hovering in the air, his small cheeks puffing in anger. Chapter 729 Splitting Loot. Chapter 729, Splitting Loot. Star Lord Wanshang, it's him. Hearing the land spirit introduce himself, Fang Yuan revealed a flash of comprehension on his face. Land spirit, do you still remember me? Fang Yuan smiled lightly. I had bought star fragment grass and the killer move, spring star rain, from your main body previously. Star form child's gaze flickered, he reassessed Fang Yuan as his expression became more gentle. So it is you, I have some impression. Just the land spirit alone cannot take care of the entire blessed land, I wonder if you would like to seek refuge with one of us. Fang Yuan asked directly. He Lulan stood at the side, showing some nervousness on her face, she stared intently at Star-form Child. Star-form Child nodded his small head, showing some sadness, saying, to protect this foundation, I will need the help of others. But I have my conditions. Although Star-form Child was formed from Star-Lord Wan Zhang's lingering obsession, it had assimilated with the Blessed Land and was the representative of the Blessed Land's will. If he did not have the help of other Gu Immortals, the Blessed Land would experience heavenly tribulations and earthly calamities again and again, until it perishes. Any life form had an instinct for survival, even land spirits were no exception. Please speak, Fang Yuan quickly asked. Star-form Child frowned, pouting as he said angrily, the reason my main body died in the 8th star hall was because of Song Zixing. He caused a huge injury to my main body, forcing me to expose my secret and explore the grotto heaven with Immortal Monkey King Shilei. If you want to become this blessed land's owner, you will need to bring me Song Zixing's head. Song Zixing's head, He Lulan heard this condition and laughed bitterly. Even though she was not a person from Central Continent, she had heard of Song Zixing's reputation. Song Zixing was a former disciple of Myriad Dragon Doc. After getting the Blood Sea inheritance, he refused to hand it over and chose to betray them. In order to exterminate him, Myriad Dragon Doc sent 8 Gu Immortals in succession. 5 ranked 6 and 3 ranked 7, in the end, 4 were killed by Song Zixing, 3 were crippled and 1 was forced to retreat. Myriad Dragon Doc suffered a huge loss and from then on, they did not dare to attack Song Zixing without preparation again. Song Zixing was now roaming around scot-free. He was one of the strongest experts among the demonic path in Central Continent, he had rank 7 cultivation and used the blood path which was extremely powerful at fighting. People in Central Continent publicly recognized that Song Zixing's battle strength was about the same as Shi Lei, while being weaker than Feng Juzhe. That was because many years ago, Song Zixing had encountered Feng Juzhe and was forced to retreat after Feng Juzhe used 3 moves to utterly defeat him. Alright, I will give it a try. Fang Yuan's expression was unchanged, he agreed. You have to hurry, try your best. Star form blessed land's earthly calamity is coming soon. If I cannot get through it, the blessed land will be destroyed. It will be useless even if you meet the condition then. Star form child urged. Fang Yuan's gaze shined. If that is the case, I can help you resist the earthly calamity first. Star form child shook his head like it was a rattle. I will not allow any external GU immortal to stay in star form blessed land for more than 7 minutes. People's hearts are hard to read, only my master can help me to pass tribulation. Not long after, I will use treasure yellow heaven to spread this information, and get more people to deal with that accursed Song Zixing. He Lu Lan's heart sank, but she had a deeply scheming heart, her expression was still very calm. She thought about her words as she said, then you have to be careful, land spirit. People's hearts are hard to read, you might attract greedy wolves that would come and attack your blessed land directly. Star form child laughed. Don't worry, I am not stupid, I will not expose this location to them. Only those who meet my condition can enter star form blessed land. Leave, and remember not to tell others the location of this blessed land. The land spirit was sending the guests out. Fang Yuan did not stay forcefully, he bid his farewell and left with He Lu Lan using the blessed land's entrance, back to Earth Abyss. The moment the two of them stepped into Earth Abyss, the door behind them vanished, completely disappearing. The blessed land was a small world, even though it was placed on the ground and took in earth chi, as long as the entrance was not open, it was very well hidden. Fang Yuan and He Lu Lan were silent. After getting rid of all their traces, they used fixed immortal travel and returned to Hu Immortal blessed land. They were in a safe environment now. The first thing they did was to split the loot. This journey into Starry Sky Grotto Heaven was terrifying but harmless. We made a huge profit. I am regretting it slightly now. If I knew this, I would not have agreed to the 40% and 60% split. He Lu Lan sighed as she took the loot out of her immortal aperture. Why are there so many desolate beast corpses? This boar looks like an ancient desolate beast. There is a lion here, it is not dead yet. At once, little Hu Immortal's attention was attracted to the desolate beasts on the ground. Blazing divine stallion, flying bear, star demon bat, chestnut yak, a total of 7 desolate beast corpses and a yellow jade lion which was barely on the verge of death. Other than these, there was the astral wind flying heavenly boar, the corpse of an ancient desolate beast. There were also several hundred kilograms of diamond soil dug out from the diamond bear's cave. Finally, there were around 10 mysterious trees. These trees were part of a forest. When they had first entered Starry Sky Grotto Heaven, they trapped Fang Yuan and He Lu Lan. The two could not tell the origin of these trees and decided to take a few into her immortal aperture. Afterwards, a star desolate hound charged over and interrupted their collection process. The corpse of a desolate beast was worth approximately 40 immortal essence stones. Ancient desolate beast corpses were much more expensive. They were 10 times the price of desolate beasts' corpses, that was 400 immortal essence stones. Looking at this, it seemed that the price of an ancient desolate beast was unreasonably high. But the truth was, ancient desolate beasts were hard to kill. Not only was their battle strength equivalent to rank 7 GU immortals, their bodies were covered in Dao marks. Mortal killer moves were ineffective on them. Even immortal killer moves were not very effective. Ordinary immortal killer moves used rank 6 immortal GU as the core. When dealing with ancient desolate beasts, it was like using a dagger to stab an elephant. Although it had effect, the injuries had to be accumulated over a long period of time. Only immortal killer moves formed with rank 7 immortal GU were an effective method to forcefully deal with ancient desolate beasts. Therefore, when immortal killer moves were involved, immortal essence would be expended. The cost of killing an ancient desolate beast would be much higher as a result. One often needed to expend several hundred green grape immortal essence beads or tens of red date immortal essence beads. As a result, the profit that they gained was usually only about 100 immortal essence stones. Although the profit of killing ancient desolate beasts was still much higher in terms of efficiency, 2 factors needed to be considered. First, there was great risk in fighting with ancient desolate beasts. Second, not any GU immortal could deal with ancient desolate beasts. Ordinary rank 6 GU immortals would choose to retreat or run away when faced with an ancient desolate beast. Only rank 7 GU immortals like Shi Lei, an expert even among rank 7 GU immortals, had the confidence to kill ancient desolate beasts. 7 desolate beast corpses are worth around 280 immortal essence stones. The nearly dead yellow jade lion, for now we can count that as around 80 immortal essence stones. The corpse of the astral wind flying heavenly boar is 400 immortal essence stones. Hundreds of kilograms of diamond soil is around 30 immortal essence stones. These mysterious trees are of an unknown origin, we will exclude them for now. All in all, the profit is 790 immortal essence stones. He Lulan calculated, the result made her a little tongue-tied. Almost 800 immortal essence stones. Undoubtedly, this was a huge fortune. He Lulan's breathing became faster. Ever since she became an immortal, she had been calculating her immortal essence stone expenditure piece by piece. Right now, there were almost 800 immortal essence stones right in front of her. Fang Yuan was in better shape than He Lulan. Using the unlimited inspiration of wisdom Gu, he made many transactions with Langya land spirit and had tens of immortal essence stones on him as liquid currency. But even so, with 800 immortal essence stones in front of him, Fang Yuan sighed in his heart. Even in his previous life, he had no such experience. In the 500 years of his previous life, the highest amount of immortal essence stones he had on hand at a point in time was merely 60 or so. According to the 4-to-6 ratio, Fang Yuan could get 474 immortal essence stones. This huge profit was because we looted all of this without any battle, thus we expended no immortal essence. We merely picked them up for free. Fang Yuan calmed his mind and said, "Hee, that barbarian monkey is probably fuming now. Will he attack Hu Immortal Blessed Land?" He Lulan asked with a bit of worry, after all, this was a huge sum. No, Fang Yuan shook his head. To us, this is a huge sum, but for a rank 7 GU immortal like Shilei, he has at least several thousand immortal essence stones in his possession. Normally speaking, rank 6 GU immortals could have several hundred immortal essence stones on them, while ordinary rank 7 GU immortals would have thousands. Strength and wealth were in a reasonable ratio. Fang Yuan and He Lulan were newly advanced GU immortals, they had just stepped into the world of GU immortals, they were working with a whole new identity, starting from scratch, thus they were extremely poor. As for Fang Yuan lacking money in his previous life, one reason was because blood path was not good for the development of assets, it excelled in fighting. Secondly, because of the 5 regions chaotic war, there were many fights and he had high expenditure during that period. Fang Yuan continued to analyze. Furthermore, Central Continent's 10 great ancient sects are righteous sects, and even compared to super forces in the other regions, they have a long history. These great sects have to abide by order and stability, they care about their face and reputation. Shilei will definitely want revenge on us, but he would not do it forcefully. He will use righteous methods to suppress us, after all, we are now a part of Immortal Crane sect. He Lulan nodded, she agreed with Fang Yuan's perspective, she showed some pity on her face. It is unfortunate that we did not obtain that walking meat tree. It is an ancient desolate plant, a thing of legend, it can be sold for a higher price than the astral wind flying heavenly boar. Fang Yuan said, I do not believe so. At that time, compared to the walking meat tree, star form blessed land was much more important. How will we split star form blessed land? He Lulan looked at Fang Yuan, her expression turning serious. In front of a huge profit, she was not going to give up on it easily. These desolate beast and ancient desolate beast corpses were easy to split because their price could be evaluated. But star form blessed land could not be easily assessed, immortal essence stones could not express the true value of a blessed land. A blessed land was like a gold mine, it could produce resources endlessly. After swallowing it, it could even improve a GU immortal's cultivation. It could be said that one's blessed land or grotto heaven was the GU immortal's greatest achievement in their cultivation journey. Fang Yuan thought about it, before saying, star form blessed land is not easy to split, how about this, we will compete for it fairly. Whoever fulfills the land spirit's condition first will obtain star form blessed land. The other party has to accept the result without any compensation. Star form blessed land is the result of our hard work, only the two of us can compete in this contest, we cannot interfere with each other maliciously. Other than us, even if it was Fairy Li Shan or Tai Bai Yun Sheng who want to fight for star form blessed land, we will work together and stop them. What do you think? He Lulan's gaze flickered as she nodded, that will be the best. Chapter 730 Giving you Qingpu Tea. Chapter 730, Giving you Qingpu Tea. Central Continent, Bai Qing Blessed Land. Bright sunlight shined down on this small world. The mountain stream flowed slowly, the tall ancient trees spread out their huge green leaves. Sunlight penetrated between the holes amongst the leaves. Because of the breeze, beams of light would sway gently when shining down on the ground. Feng Jinhuang was reclining on the grassy ground, her back against a tall tree. Feeling the wind, she breathed in deeply. The clear air was mixed in with the fragrance of the grass. The book of less than the legends of Ren Zhu greater than was exquisite and beautiful. In the hands of Feng Jinhuang, she had already flipped it to the last few pages. Feng Jinhuang's eyes were clear as water. She stared at a page of the book without blinking. Although she had heard about the story of Ren Zhu since her youth, due to her mystical experience in the dream realm, when she read less than the legends of Ren Zhu greater than again with deeper insight, Feng Jinhuang felt many new emotions emerging in her. At the end of less than the legends of Ren Zhu greater than, it said, Ren Zhu's 10 children died one after another. Even Ren Zhu himself was going to die of old age. He was at the end of his life. Before dying, Ren Zhu retrieved the corpses of his 10 children, and sacrificed himself, sending them all into Derivation Gu's stomach, eaten by it. Large amounts of dream realms also followed the smell of the delicious food, going into Derivation Gu's mouth along with them. Derivation Gu's stomach was burst open, as countless light of life shone on the lands, creating the first batch of mortals. Because the dream realm was involved in the derivation, the first batch of mortals would experience dreams when they slept at night. Humans often sink deep into dreams, like Northern Dark Eye's soul, and are unable to free themselves from it. Feng Jinhuang thought as she stretched out her hand, closing the less than the legends of Ren Zhu greater than book as she stood up. Mother, send me back to the building. I am tired, she said softly. Okay. At the next moment, Feng Jinhuang heard Fairy Bai Qing's gentle voice echoing near her. Feng Jinhuang vanished on the spot. She reappeared in her own room inside the small building. In the room, Fairy Bai Qing was already waiting. Feng Jinhuang's eyes shone with joy. Oh, mother, why are you free today? Don't you need to blend in the earth chi? When a GU master reaches rank 6 and becomes a GU immortal, their aperture would take in the 3 chi of heaven, earth, and human, elevating it into an immortal aperture, forming a small world. GU immortals manage their immortal apertures and increase their cultivation level. But the more objects that enter the immortal aperture, gradually, the heaven and earth chi inside the immortal aperture would become insufficient. Like a carefully nurtured bonsai, as the tree inside grows larger, the pot becomes too small, and the soil will seem very shallow. At this time, GU immortals will place their blessed lands on the ground, taking in earth chi, or place their grotto heavens in the sky, taking in heaven chi. After taking in heaven and earth chi, they would stabilize their blessed land or grotto heaven, increasing the foundation of the immortal aperture. After their cultivation level stabilizes, they would be able to continue cultivating with a more stable foundation. Fairy Bai Qing's current condition was that she had managed the blessed land for quite some time. It was becoming unstable. She placed the blessed land on the ground, and she herself was inside, taking in the earth chi of the large region, central continent, and assimilating it into her blessed land. Fairy Bai Qing looked at her cute daughter with a doting gaze, praising, Huang it seems that after this dream realm encounter, your mental state had been greatly trained. In the past, you would have complained to me and would request for me to accompany you. But this time, I blended in the earth chi for 3 days and 3 nights without spending any time with you. Yet you actually read books and refined GU quietly. Your mental state is much more mature than before. Mother is very happy. Of course. Feng Jinhuang smiled happily, showing her white teeth. She raised her head as the bells rang on her phoenix coronet. She said proudly, Who am I? I am father and mother's flesh and blood. How can I ruin both of your reputations? Her smile infected Fairy Bai Qing as she smiled as well. Ever since the first batch of mortals were born, they could dream. Almost nobody can avoid dreaming. After all these years, countless geniuses and talented individuals, even immortal venerables and demon venerables, they have their own dream realms. These dream realms gather together, forming a huge hidden realm of an unprecedented size. Huang your dream wings immortal GU can allow you to enter dream realms at will. It is a movement immortal GU that prevents you from being influenced by dream realms. This is a huge opportunity for you. You need to make good use of it. I understand, Mother. These recent days, I have been trying to refine GU. I found out that my refinement path realm had reached quasi-master level. The advantages of the dream realm are simply too much. I had always lacked interest in refinement path. I had never practiced it normally. But after this dream realm journey, my attainment rose so sharply, I have exceeded many people in the sect. Feng Jinhuang sighed and said. You moved about in old immortal Kong Ju's dream. You unknowingly obtained some of his refinement path true meaning. But that was because old Immortal Kongju himself was a refinement path supreme Grand Master, thus you had much to gain. Dream realms are extremely complex, you might not be so lucky next time, to encounter the dream of someone as qualified as old Immortal Kongju. Fairy Bai Qing analyzed. Feng Jinhuang was nonchalant, she laughed, if I can't encounter it, then so be it. I do not have interest in refinement path anyway, next time, all I need to do is enter the dream of an immortal venerable or demon venerable. Sigh, it is a pity, I walk on the metal path, yet none of the 10 venerables cultivate this path. Fairy Bai Qing heart jumped when she heard this, she became serious, Huang do not let your guard down. You were safe and sound this time because you were lucky, the dream realm you were in was not dangerous or harmful. If you really enter the dream of a venerable, you have to retreat immediately, the power of a venerable is not something you can imagine. Feng Jinhuang's first stuck out her tongue, before she replied obediently, yes mother, I understand. Fairy Bai Qing's expression became more gentle, she took out a letter Gu. This is a letter from your father, he has already broken through the regional wall, and has found a place to rest after entering Northern Plains. He has not learned of your awakening yet, but since he has already sent us a letter, we can use this letter Gu to reply to him, say a few words to him and relieve his worry, so that he can deal with the missions in this Northern Plains journey. Father's letter. Feng Jinhuang's eyes shined, she jumped over and took the letter Gu from Fairy Bai Qing, her consciousness entering it. But in the end, she could not read it. Feng Jinhuang pouted. Oh, it is that information path immortal Gu, letter sending green bird, I am still immortal, I cannot read it. Fairy Bai Qing patted her head. Your father is currently in Northern Plains, how can he cross the regional wall without using an information path immortal Gu? What are you anxious for? I had just praised you for becoming more mature. Saying this, Fairy Bai Qing injected a will into Feng Jinhuang's mind. Feng Jinhuang was familiar with this, countless thoughts generated in her mind as she conversed with the will, instantly, she could see the information in Feng Juji's letter. Father, Feng Jinhuang read Feng Juji's letter, and saw the concern and worry he had towards her, she was so moved her eyes turned red. I want to see father immediately and show him my current refinement path attainment. He had always been worrying about my refinement path realm. Feng Jinhuang muttered. Don't worry, I will tell your father in the letter. Don't tell him, I want to give father a surprise. Alright. Fairy Bai Qing took out a letter Gu next, it was also a letter sending green bird Gu, but this was a rank 5 mortal Gu. This is another letter for you, it is from Fang Yuan. He had sent it long ago, take a look at it. Fairy Bai Qing said. Fang Yuan. Feng Jinhuang heard this name and gritted her teeth, her brows were sharp like swords, and her beautiful face turned red from embarrassment. She snatched the letter Gu and checked it. Fang Yuan had put in a lot of information in the letter. He first praised Spirit Affinity House extensively, his tone was like he wanted to join them, and he afterwards agreed with Feng Jinhuang's challenge, and he even apologized for replying so late. At the end of the letter, there was a line, I am currently in Hu Immortal Blessed Land, my doors are open to await for Fairy Feng Jinhuang's visit. I have heard that Spirit Affinity House's Qingpu tea is extremely famous. If you intend to spar with me, I would get to experience the taste of this famous tea, that would be extremely enjoyable. HMPH. He truly has the leisure time and mood, he wants to drink Qingpu tea. He wants to enjoy the taste of tea. Evil thief. Lecherous thief. I want to tear you into pieces and break up your bones to feed dogs. Feng Jinhuang's eyes were burning with fire, she exerted some strength unknowingly, and the letter-sending green bird Gu was chirping in response. Fairy Bai Qing quickly saved this letter Gu. Huang this is something mother wants to talk to you about. Undoubtedly, Fang Yuan has exceeded our expectations once again, he is no longer like before. If you spar with him now you will only lose, there is no way to win. What? Feng Jinhuang stared with her eyes wide open, looking at Fairy Bai Qing in shock. Fairy Bai Qing told her about the details of Fang Yuan becoming an immortal zombie, and that he had a mysterious force behind him that managed to force Immortal Crane sect to retreat after attacking Hu Immortal Blessed Land. Immortal zombie, he actually became an immortal zombie. Feng Jinhuang muttered to herself, if it was not her mother saying this, she would not believe it herself. How long has it been? He actually became an immortal already. We are about the same age, how can he have such firm foundations to charge towards Gu Immortal Realm? Feng Jinhuang was very perplexed. Fairy Bai Qing replied her, regarding his suddenly transformation into an immortal zombie, our 10 great ancient sects have some guesses. Although raising one's foundation is hard, it is not impossible. There is an example right in front of us, that is Dream Realms. Other than that, we have guessed that the mysterious force behind him might have some sort of special immortal ascension method, to allow a GU master to become an immortal zombie. But becoming an immortal zombie means your cultivation level will stagnate, it can no longer progress. Feng Jinhuang frowned. That is the cast. But think about it, a rank 5 mortal GU master compared to a rank 6 immortal zombie, the latter is obviously much stronger. Fairy Bai Qing said. Feng Jinhuang showed some disdain on her face. I don't care if he was greedy towards short-term profits, or that he was forced to do so, he will definitely not be my match in the future. He is rushing to challenge me now, it is obvious that he knows he can only continue to bully me during this period of time, in the future, it will be my turn. This coward is timid like a rat, he is a shameless and unscrupulous person. Huang do not be blinded by your own hatred and anger. Fairy Bai Qing's expression was very solemn. This Fang Yuan is not simple, this letter that he sent was right before Immortal Crane sect attacked, his real intention was to build a relationship with us, Spirit Affinity House, it was a tactic to bring in a third party. He has Danghun Mountain right now, and is making transactions with our 10 great ancient sects. His name has spread far and wide in Central Continent, almost every GU Immortal knows of his existence now. Mother, I was wrong, I was too agitated. Feng Jinhuang gritted her teeth, trying to regain her calm. How will you respond to this letter? Ignore it, or reply to it, I will let you decide. Fairy Bai Qing purposely tested her. Feng Jinhuang said immediately, of course we will reply. Since this challenge was set by me, and he has already responded. If I avoid battle because he is an immortal zombie, then I would be showing weakness. But, her eyes turned as she said, the enemy is strong while I am weak, only a fool will go head to head with him. HMPH, soon, the Central Continent Refinement Path Convention is going to begin. I will use Refinement Path and defeat him in public. This will soothe some of my anger. Mother, what do you think of this? Fairy Bai Qing nodded in satisfaction, this is a good idea. Feng Jinhuang gritted her teeth, her eyes shined with bright light. In the following days, I am going to find Refinement Path GU Master Dreams, and rapidly build up my foundation in Refinement Path. Using him as an opponent, it will urge me and promote the growth of my cultivation level. Fairy Bai Qing laughed, patting Feng Jinhuang's head, this is my good daughter. Feng Jinhuang squinted, as she replied, she chuckled coldly, you want to pretend to be cultured and drink Qingpu tea, sure, I will give you 50 or 60 jars of it. But if you want to compete, we cannot do so without a bet. I will make you lose in both reputation as well as substance. Chapter 731 4 to you, 6 to me. Chapter 731, 4 to you, 6 to me. Northern Plains, Langya Blessed Land. Land Spirit, I brought you a live desolate beast, come and check it out. Fang Yuan said as he opened his immortal aperture, activating a dozen GU worms as he took out a lion and placed it on the ground. This lion was large like a giant elephant. It was brown-yellow in color, and thick fur covered more than half of its body. It was sleeping now, making a snoring sound. It was the yellow jade lion. It was originally injured heavily, on the brink of death. But as long as it was still alive, with Fang Yuan's current abilities and assets, he could heal it back to full health. Langya Land Spirit stroked his beard, walking around the yellow jade lion as he observed. He could move freely now, the chi path seals on his body were all released. Good lion, even if you are sleeping, you look so fierce. Not bad. Saying so, Langya Land Spirit stretched out his arm and opened the yellow jade lion's mouth, seeing the tightly clenched teeth. Good teeth, Langya Land Spirit praised. He continued to touch the lion along its body, until he reached the area between its hind legs. Throughout the process, Langya Land Spirit had been activating GU worms silently. After inspecting it, he was pleased. Not bad, it has vigor and vitality, it can reproduce as well. It is a pity that my blessed land is a refinement path blessed land, it is not great for raising these fierce beasts. Langya Land Spirit had 12 desolate beasts, he was very experienced with them and had become quite an expert, he was not unfamiliar with desolate beasts at all. But Langya Blessed Land was a refinement path blessed land, refining GU here would have higher chances of succeeding. But there was no assistance or help for raising beasts. Meanwhile, Hu Immortal Blessed Land was an enslavement path blessed land, it was good for raising fox groups. The fox groups inside Hu Immortal Blessed Land would have greater chances of producing a desolate fox. Blessed lands and grotto heavens were all very different, each of them had their own specialties. This was because blessed lands and grotto heavens were the immortal apertures of GU immortals. When GU immortals undergo immortal ascension, they would take in heaven and earth chi, and according to their understanding towards heaven and earth, their immortal aperture world would be created relating to the path of the GU worm that they toss into it. Langya land spirit was very pleased with this yellow jade lion. He quickly gave Fang Yuan 88 immortal essence stones. At the same time, he gave the details of the killer move unfamiliar face. Fang Yuan looked through the details of it in front of Langya land spirit. This killer move had an extraordinary origin. It came from Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable. As expected of Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable, he had an innovative idea and went on a creative path. Fang Yuan praised. There are only 300 GU worms used here, but they involve transformation path, strength path, wisdom path, and others, for a total of 6 paths. Some of the GU worms are rare. It seems that it will take a while to recreate this killer move, after I collect all of these GU worms. Langya, do you have these GU worms? Langya land spirit shook his head, chuckling, what would I keep these GU for? I cannot use this killer move. Unfamiliar face, vaguely familiar face, and familiar face, these 3 killer moves are a series. What you obtained is merely the mortal killer move, able to transform into someone people do not know. If they know the person, you will be exposed. The latter 2 are immortal killer moves. Even if you transform into a familiar person, you would not be exposed. Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable seemed to have left behind an inheritance of this. If you have the opportunity, you might obtain the other 2 killer moves in your lifetime, who knows? Fang Yuan laughed bitterly. How could I have such luck, to coincidentally find the other 2 immortal killer moves? The inheritances of these 2 might have been taken by others already. Although he said that, he was moved in his heart. He thought about the time in Northern Plains, when he obtained the inheritance that involved Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable's Luopo Valley inheritance. He had already refined the key to enter the inheritance, open door GU and close door GU. But he had not acted yet. GU master inheritances were not easy to obtain. Especially demonic path inheritances, they were usually much harder than righteous path inheritances, and much more dangerous. Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable's inheritance was definitely an extremely dangerous place. With the situation being unclear, and Myriad Self being unusable, Fang Yuan would rather wait a while longer than take the risk unnecessarily. Fang Yuan did not place much expectation on this, because he had guessed long ago, the inheritance clue that I obtained was obviously not the only one out there. Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable did not want his inheritance to remain undiscovered, thus he spread the clues far and wide to increase the chances. This inheritance had been created such a long time ago, someone might have gone there already. Not speaking of anyone else, just look at Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, he seemed to have used Danghun Mountain and Luopo Valley to cultivate Soul Path. Since Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable's inheritance involves Luopo Valley, I'm afraid Spectral Soul Demon Venerable has already been involved in it. In fact, he might have taken Luopo Valley away already. Clearing up his mind, Fang Yuan took out 3 completed Immortal GU recipes and handed them to Langya Land Spirit. This is the current transaction. Langya Land Spirit received the Immortal GU recipes and checked them. Seeing that there were no problems, he praised Fang Yuan's talent again. Rascal, I rarely admire people, but your talent in deducing immortal GU recipes has truly made me look at you in a different light. Land Spirit, I was about to talk to you about this. Fang Yuan said. Regarding the transaction of the immortal GU recipes, I would like to change the details of our transactions. Oh, all of your immortal GU recipes that have a high completion rate have been deduced by me already. The remaining ones have 60 to 70% completion rate, or even under 50%. I want to deduce these immortal GU recipes, but it would take a long time if I want to complete them. If I have to spend a month or 2 on them, I would not be able to do anything else. I suggest that we change the details of our transaction. Before Fang Yuan finished, Langya Land Spirit shook his head. Not changing, why must we change? I've spent so many immortal essence stones, wasn't it because you could deduce immortal GU recipes? You are a wisdom path GU immortal, and you are so skilled at deducing immortal GU recipes, why do you not want to continue? At most, I can increase the price and pay you a bit more compensation. Langya Land Spirit, don't reject me yet, listen to me, I know you will be interested. Fang Yuan laughed confidently. My suggestion is this, from now on, you will take charge of deducing the immortal GU recipes. Whenever you encounter a problem and cannot continue, I will help you deduce the next step and get over that hurdle. Each time, I will only charge 2 immortal essence stones. What? So it is such a deal? Langya Land Spirit fell into deep thought. Fang Yuan's suggestion had indeed moved him. After all, he was long-hair ancestors' land spirit, his refinement path attainment was quasi-great-grand master, he had skills in deducing immortal GU recipes. The reason he did not finish deducing these immortal GU remnant recipes was because he had met with a tough problem in each of them and could not continue until he resolved it. If he passed this obstacle, he might be able to advance through the immortal GU recipe easily and successfully complete it. Thus, Langya land spirit would only need to pay Fang Yuan 2 immortal essence stones, it would be much cheaper than their former price. Of course, if the immortal GU remnant recipe was very difficult, Fang Yuan might earn even more immortal essence stones than before. But Langya land spirit was confident, with his refinement path attainment, the first situation would be more likely. This way, Fang Yuan, your income will be much lower. Ah, I almost forgot, you are selling guts GU now, your business is booming, is that why you do not want this work anymore? Langya land spirit jumped to realization. Fang Yuan laughed. Land spirit, this transaction benefits you too. After getting so many immortal GU recipes, and having regained your freedom, you can refine immortal GU again. When refining immortal GU, the vast majority of attempts fails, the success rate is simply too low, and you would expend an incredible amount of resources. I am helping you to save immortal essence stones, shouldn't you be thanking me? HMPH, I knew you would say that. Langya land spirit rolled his eyes, saying, I can agree with this, but I have a condition. What condition? It is a long story, do you know about Qinbai Sheng's auction? Langya land spirit could not leave the blessed land, but he knew clearly about the things happening in northern plains. Of course I know. Fang Yuan nodded. Langya land spirit continued. You are aware that some time ago, a mysterious force attacked my Langya blessed land. They all failed, and during this process I captured some GU immortals. I intend to sell them all, or rather, I want to sell their blessed lands. Selling blessed lands? Fang Yuan looked at Langya land spirit with some shock, this was a very big move. Is this business practical? Fang Yuan's expression was solemn, it would be 1,000 times more popular than my guts GU business. After GU immortals buy these blessed lands, they can swallow them and raise their cultivation level, they can also skip heavenly tribulations and earthly calamities, why did you not keep them for yourselves? Langya land spirit shook his head. To swallow a rank 6 blessed land, one needs master level attainment in that realm. To swallow a rank 7 blessed land, one needs grand master level. To swallow a rank 8 grotto heaven, one will need great grand master attainment. Although my refinement path attainment is high, I am not involved in many other paths. And the most important reason is, I do not want to devour them. My Langya blessed land has already reached the limits of a blessed land, any progress would elevate it to a grotto heaven. A grotto heaven's tribulations are far more dangerous. Back then, I purposely weakened Langya grotto heaven until it became a blessed land, why would I raise it up again? Fang Yuan understood. That is true. Wait, your condition is to ask me to sell these blessed lands at the auction in your place. Langya land spirit raised his thumb, saying with a tone of flattery, you are a smart lad. Fang Yuan stared with wide-opened eyes, do you want to kill me? No, this is definitely impossible. Once I sell these blessed lands, I will become the biggest target of everyone. It earns too much attention, how could have the ability to capture all these GU immortals? If I appear like this, that mysterious force would know and associate me with Langya blessed land. Next time when they attack you, they might even attack my blessed land. Isn't the Inkman King Mo Tansang your good friend? Ask him to go. Sigh, he is an Inkman immortal, his origin is not good and has always been ostracized by humans. Furthermore, he has his family and Inkman City to take care of. He is not appropriate. Langya land spirit shook his head. Oh, you do not want him to go die, so you want to send me to die. Don't make it sound so terrible, don't you have the killer move unfamiliar face? With this killer move, other GU immortals cannot identify your true form. Langya land spirit said in a low tone. Fang Yuan gave an assessing look at the land spirit. I was wondering why you were so generous, giving this precious killer move to me, so you had a plan from the start. Langya land spirit could not take it anymore, he stared with furious eyes as he shouted, rascal, do you think I'm unfamiliar with you? You have ridiculous guts, since when have you been scared? You even destroyed Imperial Court blessed land and toppled 88 Truyong building, as long as the benefits are high enough, you are a desperado. Afraid of this matter? Just tell me, how much do you want? Fang Yuan snorted coldly. We will split the profits from selling the blessed lands, at the least, it has to be a 4-to-6 ratio. 4-to-6 ratio? You are too greedy, you are asking for 40%. Lang Ya land spirit screamed. A cold light flashed in Fang Yuan's eyes, his face was grim. You are wrong, land spirit, my intention is, I will take 60%, you will take 40. Lang Ya land spirit was stunned, even though he had lived for so long, he was shocked by Fang Yuan's shamelessness and greed. He breathed in deeply, staring at Fang Yuan's face. Such words, you have the face to say it. Why wouldn't I? Fang Yuan's face was thick as a city wall. I am going to take a huge risk involving my life, without enough profits to motivate me, I will not do it. This price is already the lowest, I am considering this based on the fact that we are old friends, this is a friendly price. Friendly price, I think you are trying to con a friend. So no deal, consider it more, this is the price I want, there is still some time until the auction, I am leaving first. Fang Yuan opened a stargate. Get lost. Chapter 732 Top-tier mortal killer move. Chapter 732, Top-tier mortal killer move. Hu Immortal blessed land, Dang Hun Palace. Fang Yuan was sitting cross-legged on a cushion, looking at a pair of bat wings in front of him with full concentration. A pair of large bat wings was hovering in front of him, thin and small scales of an eerie blue color with each having the size of a pinky finger grew on the wings. As light refracted from the scales, it seemed to be giving off starlight. After Fang Yuan returned from Lang Ya blessed land, he started repairing the star demon bat's wings. After 9 days and 9 nights of effort, it had reached the current crucial moment. Whether I can fix these bat wings or not depends on this. Fang Yuan willed and summoned a mortal GU from his aperture. He flicked his finger and threw this crucial mortal GU in. The mortal GU turned into a drop of jade green liquid which created a layer of green light when it shot into the bat wings. The radiance flowed like water, the green light spread and soon covered the entire pair of bat wings. In the blink of an eye, the green light dispersed and was replaced by fine hair that covered the whole of the star demon bat wings. Fang Yuan meticulously observed and probed with his 10 fingers in turn. Following his movement, the green-haired bat wings also made constant turns in the air, letting Fang Yuan observe it from all angles. Fang Yuan spread open his fingers, the shrunken star demon bat wings also unfolded. When he saw fine hair growing inside the bat wings, he nodded in satisfaction. When Shilei attacked and killed this star demon bat, he attacked with no restraint, causing the wings to be greatly damaged when I obtained it. Now I have invested my full effort into restoring it, but whether I can restore it or not, even I don't have much confidence. Fang Yuan heaved a sigh and stood up. He casually waved his hand, hundreds of GU worms flew and circled around the green-haired bat wings, tightly securing it inside. Fang Yuan then passed by the bat wings and walked out of this secret room. He closed the door of the secret room, darkness enshrouded the green-haired bat wings inside the secret room. Fang Yuan stood outside the door and lightly stamped his foot, calling, "Land Spirit." "Master, Master, you called for me." Little Hu Immortal immediately appeared beside Fang Yuan, her eyes shining and her face carrying a joyful expression of being able to see her master. "I asked you to pay attention to the business in Treasure Yellow Heaven, how is it going?" Fang Yuan walked as he asked. Little Hu Immortal closely followed behind, replying, "Master had put the desolate beast corpses in Treasure Yellow Heaven for sale, but only one desolate beast corpse was sold over these days." Immortal Monkey King Shilei had already discovered Fang Yuan, thus, Fang Yuan might as well put these desolate beast corpses up for sale openly in Treasure Yellow Heaven. He had discussed matters with He Lu Lan, the two took what they needed first. Fang Yuan took the yellow jade lion and star demon bat wings while He Lu Lan took the flying bear corpse. Fang Yuan was put in charge of selling these beast corpses. No matter what the result was, he would have to give 40% of the earnings to He Lu Lan. He Lu Lan was also not afraid he would renege on his words, after all there was the Snowy Mountain Alliance. Under normal circumstances, these desolate beast corpses would be popular goods that were quite rare. When they were put in Treasure Yellow Heaven, they would be sold within 4 to 6 hours and it was very easy to earn Immortal Essence Stones. However, Fang Yuan did not want Immortal Essence Stones this time. He arranged a will to express to other GU Immortals. To buy these beast corpses, they would have to exchange with specific goods. First of all was a method for immortal zombies to turn back to human, or any information and clues. Second was the GU recipe for White Lotus Giant Silkworm GU, the GU worm itself, or corresponding information and clues. Third was the wings of bat desolate beasts. Fourth was top-tier mortal killer moves, the more outstanding they were, the better. Fifth was bone path GU worms like battle bone wheel that could be arranged to form the killer move, white bone chariot. Last was wisdom path inheritances or information and clues about them. These 6 conditions were arranged in descending order according to Fang Yuan's needs. The ones listed first would be cheaper for the buyers when they purchase the beast corpses. Fang Yuan's Guts GU business was extremely thriving right now. He did not lack immortal essence stones for the moment, thus he wanted to exchange them with goods. Because of this, the desolate beast corpses, which were popular goods and easy to sell, had become this hard to sell. 12 days had already passed in Immortal blessed land, but they only managed to sell 1 desolate beast corpse. Oh, what did that beast corpse exchange for? Fang Yuan asked excitedly. 1 whole chestnut yak was exchanged for a pair of bat desolate beast wings and an investigative killer move called 100 Li. Little Who Immortal replied. Mortal killer moves normally would not exceed 6 immortal essence stones in Treasure Yellow Heaven. There were also detailed classifications between them. Mortal killer moves that sold for half an immortal essence stone were classified as bottom-tier goods, but they were better than nothing. Mortal killer moves that were worth 1 to 2 immortal essence stones were mediocre. They could provide some help to GU immortals if used properly. For instance, the killer move Fang Yuan looked at before but did not buy, Spiral Drill Star Spear, was valued at 1 immortal essence stone. Star Lord Wan Zhang's Spring Star Rain was sold at 1.5 immortal essence stone. The Poison Breath killer move which Fairy Li Shan gave Fang Yuan could be sold for 2 immortal essence stones. Fang Yuan's previous defensive killer move Hair Armor was worth 2 immortal essence stones and was at the peak level of common mortal killer moves. Tai Bai Yunsheng's defensive killer move 9 Cloud Ring could absorb enemies' attacks to a certain degree before counter-attacking. It was valued at 2.5 immortal essence stones. Mortal killer moves worth 3 immortal essence stones were middle tier, they were reliable methods. For instance, Western Desert GU Immortal Plump Lady's killer move, Burial Dragon Sand Coffin, was valued at 3 immortal essence stones. Mortal killer moves worth 4 to 5 immortal essence stones had outstanding might and could not be looked down upon. They were considered as powerful methods that could often change the situation to a certain extent when they were used. Fang Yuan's Icy Drill Stardust had mixed in Do Min Jun's inheritance which raised its value to 4 immortal essence stones. The Lion Fur Armor which was an improved form of hair armor was valued at 4.5 immortal essence stones. And mortal killer moves that were worth 6 immortal essence stones were classified as top tier, few could be bought in the market. Fang Yuan's reinvented movement killer move, True Solid Bat Wings, would have the effect of this tier if 3 pairs of bat wings were used. Killer moves were one of the 4 main factors that influenced a GU Immortal's battle strength. When Fang Yuan possessed Icy Drill Stardust, Hair Armor and Light Illusion Bat Wings, his battle strength had already reached the upper tier of rank 6 GU Immortals. In his previous life, before Fang Yuan self-detonated, he possessed more than a dozen mortal killer moves, most of them were top-tier level killer moves worth 6 immortal essence stones. His battle strength had been at the peak of rank 6. However, when one reached rank 7, it was a different scene. The immortal killer moves that consumed green grape immortal essence became common methods. And those immortal killer moves that consumed red date immortal essence became uncommonly used, hidden trump cards. Most GU Immortals did not have Immortal GU, this was referring to rank 6 GU Immortals. GU Immortals that could cultivate to rank 7 were even fewer in numbers, they were the elites of elites, experts among experts of rank 6 who would have experienced innumerable tribulations and calamities, had excellent aptitude, temperament and accumulation. There was no way to justify them not having Immortal GU. With Immortal GU, there would be Immortal Killer Moves. Immortal Killer Moves were evolved from using Mortal Killer Moves as a foundation. Like He Lu Lan who was trying to modify her Strength Path Killer move to an Immortal Killer move. Often one Immortal GU can form different Immortal Killer moves according to the differences in Mortal GU. Thus, many GU Immortals would have offensive killer moves even if they did not have offensive Immortal GU. For instance, Fang Yuan's Myriad Self was an offensive killer move, but its core was Cleanse Soul Immortal GU which was a support Immortal GU that helped GU Immortals in Soul Path cultivation. 100 Li I. After hearing Little Who Immortal's reply, Fang Yuan nodded and commented, this mortal killer move is valued at 6 Immortal Essence Stones, it allows the GU Immortal to observe the scenery within 100 Li as clearly as the lines on one's palm. Good, I was lacking this kind of investigative killer move. But of course, the greatest satisfaction in this transaction is that I obtained another pair of Desolate Beast Bat Wings. He then asked, did any important things happen in the Blessed Land these recent days? Little Who Immortal shook her head and reported that everything was normal. Such tranquil days were very rare to Fang Yuan after his rebirth. However, Fang Yuan did not dare to slack even a little. Ever since he saw the external manifestation of a dream realm in his trip to Starry Sky Grotto Heaven, he felt a sense of urgency and could vaguely tell that the waves of the new era were coming. Over the next few days, Fang Yuan began to handle the newly obtained pair of bat wings. At the same time, he also arranged the old hairy men in the Blessed Land to refine GU. The air sac GU which could store guts GU were naturally the main focus of the hairy men. Besides this, Fang Yuan divided the refinement procedures of group strength GU and small family Qi GU. He then separately taught the old hairy men and let them go through similar practice. These two GU recipes could not be compared to others, they were ancient GU recipes, their materials were rare and not easy to find in the present age. Thus, Fang Yuan first used other similar materials and GU worms to raise the hairy men's proficiency. When their proficiency reached the level Fang Yuan was satisfied with, only then would he truly let them refine these two GU. Fang Yuan's doctrine was to not raise idlers. Since he had already purchased the hairy men, he would try to squeeze every last bit of their worth. After 3 days in Immortal Blessed Land, there was still no activity in Treasure Yellow Heaven. Fang Yuan had taken care of a small part of the newly obtained bat wings. But the wings of the star demon bat was still being incubated. Fang Yuan opened the door of the secret room and entered, standing in front of the green-haired bat wings. Right now, the green hair on the bat wings had already grown to be extremely thick and lush. Success or failure shall be determined at this moment. Fang Yuan used Mortal GU and with a snapping sound, a spark immediately was sent flying out. The spark flew to the green-haired bat wings, a soft sound echoed, the spark set the green hair aflame, forming a green fire. The fire appeared quickly and disappeared just as quickly. In a blink of an eye, the green hair on the bat wings floating in the air was already burned off, revealing a pair of black bat wings. There were no small blue scales on the bat wings, instead they were replaced by a layer of thick ash. Fang Yuan showed a trace of disappointment, failure. He softly let out a breath of cloudy air, the weak breath touched the bat wings, this pair of bat wings fell down on the ground like charcoal and broke into pieces. The bat wings were filled with heavy injuries. Shilei had destroyed the star demon bat's wings first to kill it. The wings had thus suffered serious damage, the star demon bat could no longer display its advantage in flying, and was finally killed by Shilei. Fortunately, I have another pair of bat wings. Fang Yuan quickly got over the disappointment, and soon he was busy in the refining process. Chapter 733 Recognizing One's Own Ordinariness. Chapter 733 Recognizing One's Own Ordinariness. With the previous refinement experience, this second attempt was much easier for Fang Yuan when refining the desolate beast bat wings. After over half a month in Immortal Blessed Land, he transplanted this pair of desolate beast bat wings onto his back. In accordance with his usual practice, Fang Yuan still chose to retain the sense of pain in the bat wings. On this day, Fang Yuan was testing his killer moves on the top of Danghun Mountain. 100 Li I. He activated the killer move, his bright red pupils suddenly enlarged. He could see the grassland or debris within 100 li of his surroundings with extreme clarity, like they were in front of him. Outside of 100 li, his sight became blurry but was still much clearer than seeing with the naked eye. After 400 li, his line of sight reached the limit. It was all blurry and he could only distinguish some color and shadows. 100 li I is the base for 1000 li I, the latter is an immortal killer move and requires corresponding immortal GU to be used. Fang Yuan nodded in satisfaction, this killer move was valued 6 immortal essence stones and it indeed had outstanding effect. It was just that the vision could not see through stealth or bypass obstacles, if any obstacles blocked the sight, the thing behind the obstacle could not be seen. This was the downside of 100 li I. Fang Yuan remembered both the merits and demerits, as he lightly flapped the wings on his back and flew to the sky. He continued to maintain 100 li I while flying, looking at the sky and ground with clear vision. Lion fur armor. He willed and activated the defensive killer move. Soon, his body was covered in a layer of bronze armor with a helmet resembling a lion's head. Even his wings were covered with a layer of thick plate, greatly raising its defense. But the speed, however, became slower. Lion fur armor and true solid bat wings cannot perfectly complement each other. Once I activate lion fur armor, true solid bat wings will have its speed reduced. If I don't use it, my speed might be fast but my defense will be lacking. Fang Yuan frowned. This problem surpassed the range of his capabilities. To create a movement killer move like lion fur armor, he had to balance the Tao marks of 3 paths and it was the limit of his master attainment realm in transformation path. Adding true solid bat wings on top of that was too difficult for Fang Yuan. If he had Grand Master attainment in transformation path, there was a possibility. But reaching Grand Master realm required large amounts of time and accumulation. This time was not only tens of years but could be 100 years or even several hundreds of years. Fang Yuan's highest attainment realms currently were Blood Path and Strength Path. Blood Path Grand Master realm was achieved by Fang Yuan in his previous life after 200 to 300 years of deep accumulation. It could be seen how difficult it was to raise one's realm and accumulate their foundation. His Strength Path attainment was also at Grand Master realm, and besides a small part of the accumulation being from his previous life, most was from obtaining Reckless Savage Demon Venerable's true meaning infusion. Otherwise, he would have required 200 or 300 years of accumulation to reach Grand Master realm. At the GU Immortal level, one had the strength to search and obtain lifespan GU or other methods to prolong lifespan. Ordinary mortals had lifespans of 100 years. But as long as a GU Immortal put some effort, they could live several hundreds of years or even 1,000 years. The long lifespans and time involved made the significance of accumulation even more heavy. Why were Fang Yuan and He Lulan not able to beat Immortal Monkey King Shi Lei? It was because after Shi Lei became a GU Immortal, he relied on Combat Immortal sect and had accumulated all sorts of experiences and insights for close to 300 years. Fang Yuan and He Lulan had only recently advanced to GU Immortal. How could they compare to Shi Lei's 300 years of accumulation? It was normal for them to not be able to defeat him. If so, why did Fang Yuan and He Lulan have battle strength at the upper tier of rank 6 GU Immortals when they advanced only recently? Fang Yuan relied on the gains found in 88 Truyong building, while He Lulan relied on her mother's inheritance as well as the help of her aunt, Fairy Li Shan. In other words, they had borrowed help from the accumulation of their predecessors. If I want my battle strength to improve drastically, just relying on myself to advance step by step would no doubt be a very long and inefficient process. In my previous life, when I walked on the blood path, I spent over 200 years before I was able to comprehend a dozen or so mortal killer moves and create hundreds of new blood path GU. I naturally need to learn from this lesson. In this world, heroes emerge in large numbers and geniuses are everywhere. Stars and peaks have been shining constantly in the long history of time. If someone wants to stick out and move forward bravely, they can only take advantage of their predecessors' inheritances and accumulations, absorbing their essences. All rivers flow into the sea. By being able to gather the different specialties together, only then can one rise above the group and become a ruler of people, achieving supreme feats. Fang Yuan's gaze flickered as he flew around, sighing deeply in his heart. People often believed they were extraordinary when they were young, feeling they were the main characters of the stage. After they undergo some experiences, they would then realize and accept, many other people had talent not inferior to themselves. The saying goes, no matter how excellent you are, there is always someone more excellent than you. A person's lifespan was limited in the end, like a lone boat. Meanwhile, the mysteries and profound meanings of heaven and earth were equivalent to a vast, limitless body of water. Since ancient times, those who were in some sense able to reach the peak of heaven and earth numbered no more than 10. But even they could not reach the peak of all fields. Thus, even Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable had to request for the help of Long Hair Ancestor in the GU refinement aspect. There was a record in less than the legends of Ren Zhu greater than. Ren Zhu started walking on the road of life, the surroundings were pure darkness and under his feet was dirty mud. Ren Zhu asked Self Gu, where is this? Self Gu replied, this is the ordinary marsh in the lowest level of ordinary abyss. Ren Zhu knew of ordinary abyss, his eldest son Verdant Great Son had once been trapped inside. Ren Zhu could not help but become excited. Since this is the bottom of ordinary abyss, does that mean I have already left the door of life and death and returned to the living world? Does that mean I am now reborn? In a way, that is true. Self Gu said, but how is this possible? I have not passed Luokou Valley and have not charged through the reverse flow river. Ren Zhu said in an incredulous tone. Self Gu said, oh human, you should know that you are talking about the path fate Gu traveled. And this path you have walked on is a completely new path, a path created by you. Where this path goes is all decided by your own intentions. Like I said before, as long as you want to walk, there will be a road for you to step on. Ren Zhu suddenly came to a realization, so it was like this. He then felt doubtful, then how did I walk to this place? Self Gu, humans are born ordinary. Although they are the spirit of all living beings, they do not have the claws of a tiger nor the ability to absorb nutrients from the earth like plants, and also cannot transform like clouds and rain. You came to the ordinary marsh, what's strange about it? It is not only you, look at the mud under your feet carefully, you will see traces of many other footprints. Ren Zhu lowered his head close to the ground before he was able to see clearly. Like Self-Gu said, ordinary marsh was filled with all kinds of marks. Claws prints of wild beasts, root imprints of vegetation, traces of water flowing and also traces of stones rolling past. How can there be so many marks? Ren Zhu asked curiously. Self-Gu replied. This is ordinary abyss, all living beings will enter here due to various reasons. All living beings are ordinary. But the absolute majority of them will be trapped in ordinary abyss for all their lives. Only a small portion can leave ordinary abyss through their own efforts. I do not want to be trapped here for my entire life. There is nothing here, it is completely dark and the air stinks, I want to leave this place. Ren Zhu frowned. Self-Gu laughed loudly. If you think that being ordinary is an abyss, then it is an abyss. But if you think that being ordinary is heaven, then it shall be heaven. Since you do not want to stay here, then leave, use your 2 legs to walk out of the ordinary marsh step by step and become extraordinary. Ren Zhu took the first step. Suddenly, his body bent, his front leg was deeply embedded into the marsh. It was not easy to walk in the marsh, one step was deep, another was shallow. The path which looked almost uniform had some parts that were rather solid, while some were very loose. Ren Zhu walked several steps when his eyes suddenly brightened as he thought of a trick. He purposely chose to walk on the spots which had the claw marks, since these spots could hold the marks, its soil texture was also much more solid. Thus, Ren Zhu was able to walk very smoothly almost like he was running when compared to his previous speed. He said with a burst of emotion, so it turns out that in ordinary marsh, walking in the footsteps of predecessors is much faster than finding the way on your own. After testing true solid bat wings and lion fur armor, Fang Yuan descended onto a slope. Unfamiliar face. Fang Yuan activated this newly obtained mortal killer move. Almost all the GU worms required for this killer move were essentially purchased from Treasure Yellow Heaven by Hu Immortal Land Spirit, while the last remaining portions were refined by the hairy men. Under the effect of the killer move, Fang Yuan's bat wings retracted, his 8 rough and thick arms also changed to 2. His sharp teeth were greatly shortened while his scarlet red eyes also turned lighter. Finally, Fang Yuan's 6-meter-tall body shrunk back to a normal person's height with great changes to his appearance. It was only that his immortal zombie body was still an immortal zombie body, it could not be hidden. Despite this, Fang Yuan could not help but praise, wonderful. This is only a mortal killer move but it is able to change my immortal body to this extent. Indeed worthy of being an invention of thieving heaven demon Venerable. Fang Yuan could imagine that if he was still immortal, he could completely transform to any appearance, even changing to a woman perfectly. He now had an immortal body, his body was filled with strength path Dao marks. And as a mortal killer move, it was definitely not easy to alter his appearance to this extent. The main thing was that this transformation was not an illusion but a real transformation of his physical body, even involving subtle transformation of his aura. In short, even if Fang Yuan stood in front of Tai Bai Yunsheng right now, the latter would not be able to recognize this immortal zombie was his own junior brother within a short period of time. Master, your appearance became much better looking. Ah, this letter just came in. Right at this time, the land spirit, Little Hu Immortal, appeared while holding a letter GU which she handed to Fang Yuan. Letter sending Green Bird GU Spirit Affinity House finally responded. Fang Yuan's gaze flashed as he took the letter GU and sent in his consciousness. In a short while, he retracted his consciousness, a pondering expression flashed across his face. Feng Jin Huang actually wants me to participate in the Refinement Path convention to compete in Refinement Path. I remember she had no interest in Refinement Path in her early years and her accumulation in this field could be said to be like a blank sheet of paper right now. So why does she have so much confidence to compete with me in GU Refinement? Could it be that she had already discovered the true use of Dream Wings Immortal GU? Fang Yuan's heart sank. Dream Wings, Dream Path, Fang Yuan's eyes turned cloudy as he recalled the details of his previous life. In his previous life, why did he gang up with a group of demonic path GU immortals to think of all sorts of ways to attack Hu Immortal Blessed Land? It was to kill Feng Jin Huang and seize Dream Wings Immortal GU. Chapter 734 Two Great Events. Chapter 734, Two Great Events. To think that more than 400 years before the end of my previous life, Dream Realms had already shown up. Fang Yuan held the letter-sending Green Bird GU in his hand as he sighed in his heart. At once, he lost the mood to test his killer moves. In Fang Yuan's previous life, Central Continent was the first to trigger the war, suppressing the other 4 regions single-handedly and expanding rapidly. After that, the four regions collaborated, resisting Central Continent's invasion with much difficulty. The entire war had gone into a stalemate, and when the four regions joined hands and attempted to attack Central Continent in return, dream realms appeared in all five regions. In this world, ever since Ren Zhu produced the first batch of humans, humans began to dream. Every time they dreamed, they would expand the dream realms, providing strength to them. After countless days, a vast amount of time and changes, many heroes and geniuses rose up among humans, constantly expanding the dream realms. The dream realms got bigger and bigger, finally attaining a qualitative change and surfacing to the outside world. The people soon discovered that even though the environment of a dream realm was extreme and complex, dangerous and strange, it had great benefits. In dream realms, people could obtain the foundations of ancient people, allowing their cultivation realms to surge and improve rapidly. The rise of their attainment could be in terms of decades, a century, or even centuries of hard work. Because of dream realms, the attainments of GU masters rose rapidly. This led to an increase in their strength, and produced many amazing experts. Previously, resources were held in the hands of clans and sects, attainment levels were hard to raise, and unless one was an incredible genius, they would not be able to rise up. After dream realms appeared, their attainment levels rose, like they were standing on the shoulders of former geniuses. GU masters could recreate many GU worms and killer moves, and on this basis, they could develop new GU recipes, and new killer moves that were tailored to their abilities. That was the flourishing of a super-level great era. Many small forces lacking in prominence rose up, countless lone cultivators emerged. The appearance of dream realms devastated the rigid system and structures. Social order was in upheaval, the immense benefits made the people go wild. Originally, the four regions were collaborating to resist Central Continent, but before they even began, the plan was halted. All the different forces, countless GU immortals and GU masters, they all placed their attentions on dream realms. In order to compete for all of the surface dream realms, the five regions fought against each other, resulting in a thoroughly chaotic war. In order to explore the dream realm more efficiently, many knowledgeable people, talents and geniuses, produced the necessary GU worms. Soon, the newly discovered dream path was rapidly formed and developed. The legendary rank 8 wisdom path GU Immortal Yi Yan's prophecy of three venerables was brought up once again. He predicted that many years later, after 3 great eras, 3 venerables would appear, 2 men and 1 woman. The first was Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, second was Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable and third was Great Dream Immortal Venerable. As for the problem regarding the Space Escape GU, it would be solved by Great Dream Immortal Venerable. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable and Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable had already shown up. This made everyone believe in the prophecy more deeply. The two were linked together, forming a common theory. The dream realm was the opportunity to become Great Dream Immortal Venerable. Whoever can control the entire dream realm would be able to use the accumulations of past individuals to become a historical figure that transcends sages, a king among immortal kings, a venerable above venerables, Great Dream Immortal Venerable. In my previous life, the reason why I could rise up and become the lord of an area was not only because of my fortuitous encounter involving Blood Path, but also because of the 5 regions' chaotic war. All of the super forces had much lower control over the situation at that time, and because they were focused on exploring dream realms, they could not pay attention to the real-world situation, and that gave me the time and freedom to develop and grow. Unfortunately, by the time I had control in the real world, this new area known as dream realms had already been split up by all the huge forces. Even though I could enter dream realms and explore using Mortal Dream Path GU, I was lagging behind everyone as a beginner. Unless I had a Dream Path Immortal GU, that would be the only way to catch up. Precisely because of this, Fang Yuan gathered Song Zhong and other demonic path GU immortals to attack Hu Immortal Blessed Land, killing Feng Jin Huang. Unfortunately, he did not get her Dream Wings Immortal GU. Lacking an Immortal GU and only having Dream Path Mortal GU, this caused Fang Yuan's exploration of dream realms to be without any important discoveries, while he was constantly chased away and suppressed by the large forces. Fang Yuan had obtained a blood path inheritance in his previous life. He was constantly chased after and had an arrest warrant on him. After building the Blood Wing Demon sect, he had spent a lot of effort managing his sect. It took away a lot of his time and effort. All in all, he missed the golden era of exploring dream realms. After rebirth, he had been reflecting upon this. This was a mistake, although mostly due to external pressure forcing him. A small part of it was due to his poor judgment. Thus, in this life, he remembered this lesson, and even though he had a foundation in Blood Path, he did not dare to cultivate blood path rashly before taking that crucial blood path inheritance. Blood path GU masters were hunted down like rats. Not only did the righteous path issue warrants to arrest them, even demonic path members were wary of them. Only during the 5 regions chaotic war, when law and order broke down, could blood path emerge and prosper at a time when nobody could afford to care about them. It turns out that dream realms surfaced more than 400 years earlier than the end of my previous life. All of the superforces had interactions with them long ago. Thus, in about 300 years, when dream realms surfaced extensively, these forces could enter and expand their influence. They were prepared since long ago. It was not my inability that I lost to them. At this point of time, Fang Yuan was still immortal during his previous life, desperately living at the bottom level of GU masters, restrained by his memories and experiences on Earth. Only after a long time did he break free of the limitations and shackles of such a mentality. Sometimes, the advantage of being a transmigrator can also be a disadvantage. This caused his information to deviate from what was happening in reality. For example, like Starry Sky Grotto Heaven. Star Constellation Immortal Zombie was 7-star Child Immortal Zombie. What Fang Yuan knew in his previous life was that this Star Constellation Immortal Zombie was a lucky person who had gained the most benefits inside the fragment worlds of Starry Sky Grotto Heaven. But the truth was, he was the owner of Starry Sky Grotto Heaven. The reason why he called himself Star Constellation Immortal Zombie was most likely because of Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's dream realm surfacing inside his Grotto Heaven. This resulted in 7-star Child obtaining some of Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's accumulation. This matter regarding 7-star Child is what originally happened. But Feng Jinhuang understanding the true usage of Dreamwing's Immortal GU was much earlier than in my previous life. Was this the effect of me snatching Hu Immortal Blessed Land from her? Fang Yuan thought. After Feng Jinhuang learned about the true effect of Dreamwing's Immortal GU, Spirit Affinity House was sure to be alerted. And this in turn would affect the other 9 great ancient sects as well. And from the other 9 sects, the entirety of Central Continent would be affected. There is no wall in this world that can block all winds. In this way, the speed at which the people in this world learn about dream realms would be greatly pushed forward by me. Thinking of this, Fang Yuan felt a strong sense of urgency. Dream realms were an entirely new field. They were dangerous and complex. Even though there was only one type of resource in them, they were extremely profitable. Fang Yuan would not commit the same mistake from his previous life twice. However, in the current situation, dream realms would not surface on a large scale. Dream realms that have surfaced can be explored using Dream Path Mortal GU. Those dream realms that have not surfaced can only be explored by using Dream Path Immortal GU. Fang Yuan was extremely aware of the value of Dream Path Immortal GU. But currently, with Fairy Bai Qing and Feng Zhe around, even though Dreamwing's Immortal GU was in the hands of Feng Jinhuang, Immortal, nobody dared to target her. Dream Travel was in the hands of the Northern Plains GU Immortal, Lady Poison Scorpion. She lay dormant in Zidu Blessed Land, and was the first GU Immortal who used Dream Travel to explore dream realms. In the future, she used the identity of a lone cultivator to become the 3rd overlord of dream realms. Lady Poison Scorpion was a rank 7 GU Immortal. Her battle strength was even greater than He Chang, and the defense of her blessed land was like an iron fortress. It was not easy to target her either. As for the other Dream Path Immortal GU, they were either not created yet or had not appeared yet. Their origins were unknown. Fang Yuan thought about it for a while. He used his primeval essence and wiped away the details on the letter-sending green bird GU, using his thoughts to fill it with words of his own. He agreed to Feng Jinhuang's challenge, to have a competition during the Refinement Path Convention. Feng Jinhuang has Dreamwing's Immortal GU, she has confidence in herself. But my Refinement Path attainment has advanced from Master level to Quasi-Grand Master level. Why would I be afraid of this junior? Fang Yuan snorted in his heart. Deducing Immortal GU recipes for Langya Land Spirit was an opportunity. It allowed his Refinement Path realm to reach a breakthrough recently. Refinement Path Convention, it concerns the infallible inheritance, such a grand event. Even if Feng Jinhuang did not challenge me, I would have gone there to get a share of the rewards. However, joining the Refinement Path Convention will need me to prepare my own GU refinement materials. If I want to have any gains, I will need to start collecting materials now. Fang Yuan had the experience of participating in the Refinement Path Convention from his previous life. To get a good ranking, he would need to prepare a huge amount of materials, worth at least 500 Immortal Essence Stones. A clever wife cannot cook without rice. Even the best GU recipe could not proceed without the relevant materials. Other than this, I have to attend the huge auction that Qin Bai Sheng is organizing with Fairy Li Shan as well. According to the newest information, this auction would have a segment for exchanging immortal GU. Immortal GU could not be bought, commonly speaking, they could only be exchanged. When GU immortals obtain immortal GU, they might not suit their own path. At this time, they would undergo exchange with other GU immortals, to get an immortal GU that was suited for themselves, to display greater effect when used. Just like Fang Yuan's worldly wave trace immortal GU, this was a water path immortal GU, the effect was much weaker when Fang Yuan used it as compared to a water path GU immortal. This was because worldly wave trace immortal GU had the law of water path. Meanwhile, Fang Yuan was a strength path GU immortal, his body was filled with strength path Dao marks, strength path and water path interfered with each other, reducing the normal capability of this immortal GU. During the 5 regions chaotic war in Fang Yuan's previous life, because battles were common, these GU exchange sessions became much more frequent as well. But now was still a long time away from the war. This grand auction in Northern Plains would probably be the only large-scale immortal GU exchanging opportunity for the next 200 years. Fang Yuan naturally had to make use of it. Other than that, he was also very interested in the luck path inheritance. Auction and refinement path convention, both of them need huge amounts of immortal essence stones. I have only 200 immortal essence stones on me now, I can barely join in either of the grand events. It seems I can only rely on Langya Land Spirit's idea of selling blessed lands of GU immortals. Chapter 735 Finally obtaining a wisdom path inheritance. Chapter 735 Finally obtaining a wisdom path inheritance. Even with the sale of Guts GU, it had been too short of a time period, Fang Yuan had not accumulated enough immortal essence stones yet. Furthermore, he had been refining GU and tempering his bat wings, all these expenses caused his accumulation of wealth to be very slow. The auction and refinement path convention were 2 huge events, they would be held one after another. The former was already right around the corner. The only way to obtain a huge amount of immortal essence stones now would be through the GU Immortal's blessed lands in Langya Land Spirit's possession. It is a pity that my immortal aperture is dead, I cannot swallow other blessed lands. Otherwise, the first person to buy the blessed lands would be me. Fang Yuan sighed in his mind. The immortal apertures were small worlds, they could swallow each other, but there were requirements. Firstly, dead apertures could not swallow apertures, they could only break down constantly until they vanish completely. Secondly, a smaller immortal aperture could not swallow a bigger one. Lastly, to swallow a rank 6 blessed land, one needed master attainment realm, to fuse the 2 different worlds together without problems. To devour a rank 7 blessed land, Grand Master attainment realm is needed. To swallow a rank 8 grotto heaven, Great Grand Master realm is needed. That is to say, if Fang Yuan wanted to swallow immortal apertures, he would first need to become alive again, making his blessed land regain life force. Secondly, he could only devour strength path, refinement path, enslavement path, and transformation path blessed lands. Although strength path and blood path were at Grand Master attainment realm, he was only rank 6 and could only devour rank 6 blessed lands. But even with such limitations, GU immortals were never hesitant towards blessed lands they could swallow. The immortal aperture was the base and foundation of a GU immortal's cultivation. Swallowing blessed lands was like taking someone else's foundation, it caused one's own cultivation level to surge extremely quickly. As long as one was a GU immortal, they would know the value of the blessed land. Regarding the auction of blessed lands, it was sure to whip up a huge storm during the auction. In the following days, Fang Yuan refined group strength GU and small family Qi GU, while using the light of wisdom to try and improve the transformation path killer move Unfamiliar Face. At the same time, he was still continuing to sell desolate beast corpses in Treasure Yellow Heaven. Half a month had passed in Hu Immortal Blessed Land, the sole rank 7 corpse in Fang Yuan's possession, Astral Wind Flying Heavenly Boar, was successfully sold. Fang Yuan obtained a wisdom path inheritance that he had been wanting since a long time ago. Malicious Thought GU. A few days later, Fang Yuan held a rank 5 mortal GU in his hands with a complex expression. This malicious thought GU was refined by him using the GU recipe in the wisdom path inheritance. It had a huge body, around the size of a washing basin, it was like a spider but the 8 legs were like needles, the tips were extremely sharp. On the body of the spider, there was tough and long prickly hairs. If not for Fang Yuan's immortal zombie body, ordinary flesh and blood would bleed upon touching this GU. Fang Yuan injected primeval essence, and malicious thoughts appeared in his mind one after another. These malicious thoughts were like bubbles with sharp spikes on the surface. Fang Yuan tried to use these malicious thoughts, as they started to collide into each other instantly. The scene of their collision was very peculiar. The bubbles had spikes, they hooked up to one another, before getting destroyed or fusing into even bigger thoughts after that. Soon, these malicious thoughts were consumed. Fang Yuan opened his eyes, showing some joy in his gaze. Even for Wisdom Path GU Immortals, their main method for deduction is to use thoughts. When using malicious thoughts to scheme or plot against others, the effect would be much greater. In that case, one malicious thought could be equivalent to tens of joyful thoughts, star thoughts, or empty thoughts. Fang Yuan had used Delight in Water and Mountain Immortal GU to create a huge amount of joyful will in the past to assist his thinking. That was a wrong move. Although wills were made of thoughts, their real use was not for thinking, but to act independently after splitting from the main body. GU Immortals create many different wills, sending them into Treasure Yellow Heaven to sell items. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's will was left behind to defend 88 Truyong Building. This was the real use of wills. To make a comparison, thoughts were like cleavers, while wills were like sabers. When thinking about how to cut vegetables, one would obviously use a cleaver, which chef would choose to use a saber for that. Different professions are like separate worlds. Wisdom Path was the most mysterious path. Fang Yuan did not know this in the past, thus he used joyful will to think. The effect seemed reasonable, but he had, in fact, resulted in much expenditure. He was better off using joyful thoughts. I now have the GU recipes of malicious thought GU and malicious will GU. I can mass produce these two mortal GU. As an immortal, I have unlimited primeval essence. Activating a huge number of malicious thoughts would be the best value for me. Expending green grape immortal essence to activating Delight in Water and Mountain Immortal GU is simply too expensive. In the past, Fang Yuan only had a small number of Wisdom Path mortal GU in his possession. Most of them were bought in Treasure Yellow Heaven. The thoughts produced when using these mortal GU were simply too few, and they varied in types. They could not sustain the expenditure when deducing immortal GU recipes. Thus, he had to use Delight in Water and Mountain Immortal GU. But now that Fang Yuan had the GU recipes for Wisdom Path Mortal GU, his first plan was to mass-produce these Mortal GU. The thoughts produced by one Mortal GU were few, but with enough quantity, the numbers of the thoughts would be very significant. Activating Delight in Water and Mountain Immortal GU was not only expensive, it was a waste of a precious resource. It is a pity that this Wisdom Path inheritance appeared a little late. I have already entered the next stage in my transaction with Langya Land Spirit. If this appeared earlier, I would have been able to save a huge amount of green grape immortal essence. After saving green grape immortal essence, my costs would fall, the profits from each deal would increase, and it would definitely not be 26 immortal essence stones like before. Fang Yuan thought of this and felt a little regret. He could not help it. Life is like this. Not everything would happen at the exact time you needed it to. Life did not go so smoothly. It was bound to include imperfection, dissatisfaction, and untimely events. Like the Wisdom Path inheritance that Fang Yuan obtained, it was not complete, it was quite lacking. All in all, it was already a very fortunate thing that Fang Yuan could obtain the mortal GU recipes of malicious thought GU and malicious will GU. Other than these two GU recipes, he also obtained a Wisdom Path killer move, called Harboring Malicious Heart. The GU immortal who sold the GU recipe seemed to have a great need for the astral wind flying heavenly boar's corpse, and it seemed that he was a bit tight on finances as well. If not for that, even if an ancient desolate beast's corpse was worth several hundred immortal essence stones, he would not have sold the Wisdom Path inheritance. Even if this Wisdom Path inheritance was not complete, it was still very rare in the market. Thus, in the following days, Fang Yuan stayed in Hu Immortal Blessed Land peacefully and refined malicious thought GU non-stop. Even though malicious thought GU is not a consumable GU, it is still immortal GU, it has limits. Even though my primeval essence is unlimited, if I activate it too many times, after a while, these malicious thought GU would be damaged. With that in mind, Fang Yuan knew that his need for malicious thought GU would be kept at a certain level in the future. But the refinement of GU would always take a long time. The higher the rank of the GU worm, the longer the time it would take. GU immortals often spend decades, a century, or even centuries to refine one immortal GU. Thinking of this, Fang Yuan decided to put in a large investment and purchase hairy men. During this time, he had sold more batches of Guts GU, each batch earned him 48 immortal essence stones of profit. He only kept 50 immortal essence stones, he spent the rest to purchase hairy men without restraint. This caused the price of hairy men in Treasure Yellow Heaven to surge for a brief period of time. Fang Yuan wanted the hairy men inside Langya Blessed Land the most. These hairy men were not only well trained, they were also much better in quality than those in Treasure Yellow Heaven, but after he asked Langya Land Spirit, he was sternly rejected. Not only that, Langya Land Spirit scolded him fiercely and said that Fang Yuan was not being a good friend. Although Fang Yuan was scolded, he was happy. Langya Land Spirit saying he was not being a good friend meant that Langya Land Spirit acknowledged him as a friend already, even though their friendship could not compare with Langya Land Spirit and Inkman King Mo Tansang's relationship. However, Mo Tansang and Langya Land Spirit's friendship had not started in this generation, it began with a former city lord long ago in Inkman City. After countless generations, Inkman City had been maintaining this relationship with Langya Land Spirit secretly. This friendship had accumulated to an immense amount through time. Langya Land Spirit has just been released, and has obtained so many completed Immortal GU recipes. According to his temperament, he is definitely going to refine Immortal GU. But refining Immortal GU requires a vast amount of resources, even the affluent and rich Langya Blessed Land cannot sustain such costs. GU Immortals cannot enter Treasure Yellow Heaven physically. After this auction, he would have no chance to sell them. If he wants to sell the GU Immortals' blessed lands, then to him, it is an urgent matter as well. Fang Yuan knew that Langya Land Spirit was already anxious deep down. When he loses his cool, he would find Fang Yuan personally. Langya Land Spirit's connections were too shallow, he only had Mo Tansang. But Mo Tansang had Inkman City to take care of, and he was a variant human, he had lots of restraints, how could he appear personally to sell these GU Immortals' blessed lands? The status of variant humans was lower than normal humans. The same applied to variant human GU Immortals. Seeing that the variant human GU Immortal was selling human GU Immortals, it would ignite the animosity of the human GU Immortals against a common enemy. That is to say, other than finding Fang Yuan, Langya Land Spirit had no other candidates. This was really not his fault. After all, a land spirit could not leave the blessed land. Furthermore, Langya Blessed Land was a land of treasures, it was filled with wealth and would draw out people's greed. Since blessed lands could be swallowed, it was Langya Land Spirit's method of self-preservation to have minimal contact with GU Immortals. Langya Land Spirit was internally anxious, this made Fang Yuan much less anxious about it. For the next 2 months, Fang Yuan stayed in Hu Immortal Blessed Land, building another Fang Yuan stone nest, and also filling up all of the rooms in the stone nests with hairy men. These hairy men were quite skilled in refining GU, they were the higher quality goods in Treasure Yellow Heaven. High-grade hairy man slaves, even though Fang Yuan could buy them, they were low in numbers. When Fang Yuan bought this group of hairy men, he not only needed to care about the quality but also have sufficient quantity. With the second stone nest, the production of air sac GU would increase, which meant that the production and sales of guts GU would also increase. Each time Fang Yuan made a transaction, he would earn more immortal essence stones. But Fang Yuan did not order all of the hairy men to refine air sac GU for now. The second stone nest was meant to refine malicious thought GU. Chapter 736 What a huge transaction. Chapter 736 What a huge transaction. If malicious thought GU were used to replace delight in water and mountain immortal GU, the quantity of the former would definitely have to be enormous. Fang Yuan needed a lot of malicious thought GU and not just several hundreds of them. He made an initial estimation that he required at least 2,000, by simultaneously activating them, the amount of malicious thoughts they produced could barely be sufficient for use under the light of wisdom. Most importantly, these 2,000 malicious thought GU must be rank 5. Fang Yuan had the recipes of rank 1 to rank 5 malicious thought GU. Rank 1 to rank 5 malicious thought GU had similar effects in producing malicious thoughts. The only differences were the amount of thoughts they could produce in one activation and the vast difference in the quantity of primeval essence they consumed. GU refinement is not easy, the higher the rank, the more difficult it is to refine. Especially rank 5 malicious thought GU, which cannot be obtained immediately but requires the refinement to be one step at a time, from rank 1 to rank 2 to rank 3 and so on. This means, in addition to a low success rate, the amount of resources consumed will be extremely large. Fang Yuan's initial plan was to first refine 2,000 malicious thought GU. As for malicious will GU, he did not need it at the moment, as he still had a lot of joyful will left in his mind. Refining 2,000 rank 5 malicious thought GU was no doubt an enormously time-consuming project. If Fang Yuan had not purchased hairy men and built the second stone nest, the hairy men in the first stone nest could only take on this project when there was spare time from refining Arsak Gu. This meant they would at least need 10 years of time to reach the target of 2000 rank 5 malicious thought Gu. Now, Fang Yuan had the second stone nest and large numbers of hairy men. This time period was greatly shortened to about 16 months. If I can improve the Gu recipe within this time and think of a completely new rank 5 Gu recipe that can directly refine rank 5 malicious thought Gu, then the 16 months will be further reduced greatly. Fang Yuan thought inwardly. His refinement path realm had already advanced to quasi-grandmaster, but he had almost no foundation in wisdom path. However, he still had confidence. The source of this confidence was none other than wisdom Gu. Relying on the light of wisdom, he could get endless inspiration. Even if his attainment level was lacking, it was not of much concern and he could forcibly make deductions. The might of rank 9 Immortal Gu is indeed extremely terrifying. Fang Yuan was becoming increasingly aware of the power of rank 9 Wisdom Gu. Using the light of wisdom, he could deduce Immortal Gu recipes. And these Immortal Gu recipes had perplexed even the quasi-great Grandmaster Lang Yalan spirit, unable to make progress. Fang Yuan could also use the light of wisdom to deduce Immortal Killer moves. Vicious Lightning Fiend comprehended the Immortal Killer move Lightning Deity from a remnant recipe of Blood Deity, after using up several years of time in closed cultivation. If it were Fang Yuan and he possessed the corresponding Lightning Path attainment, using the Wisdom Gu, he would require at most a month to accomplish this. He Lu Lan was currently trying her best to advance her Mortal Killer move, Self-Strength Phantom, to an Immortal Killer move. Unfortunately, even if she had the foundation of a Mortal Killer move and the Strength Path attainment level, she would require at least years of time to reach her target. Were it Fang Yuan, he could probably accomplish this in half a month. In actual fact, Fang Yuan have been intermittently deducing Immortal Killer moves. The Immortal Killer move he was deducing was none other than Myriad Self. Myriad Self's core was Cleanse Soul Immortal Gu, but because it was starving, it could not be used. Fang Yuan's main goal in deducing Myriad Self was to replace Cleanse Soul Immortal Gu with other Gu worms. Unfortunately, once this Soul Immortal Gu was gone, the power of the killer move greatly fell. Even if he used a lot more Mortal Gu, it could not reach the original might. In the long history of Gu masters, since ancient times till now, there was only one Mortal Killer move that had the offensive power of an Immortal Gu. That was White Bone Chariot. This killer move came from Proud Bone Demon Lord Shen Jiao. It was a peerless creation standing high above in both ancient and present times. Thus, Fang Yuan had listed as one of the exchange conditions for buying a Desolate Beast Corpse in Treasure Yellow Heaven, to use a Desolate Beast Corpse to exchange for rank 5 Bone Path Mortal Gu like Battle Bone Wheel. Battle Bone Wheel was one of the Mortal Gu required to form the White Bone Chariot killer move. Fang Yuan only had one of it, which he obtained from the battlefield werewolf King Chong Shan Yin had hidden himself in northern plains. Fang Yuan's talent could not match Shen Jiao. If he got rid of Cleanse Soul Immortal Gu, Myriad Self would simply not have enough power. Over the next half of a month, Fang Yuan tried hard to improve Malicious Thought Gu's recipe, and besides this, he also did not give up in improving his Immortal Killer move Myriad Self. In this time period, he sold another 2 Desolate Beast Corpses in Treasure Yellow Heaven. He exchanged them for the second pair of Bat Desolate Beast Wings as well as dozens of Immortal Essence Stones. Fang Yuan had not wanted to use Desolate Beast Corpses to exchange for Immortal Essence Stones. But he only had 50 Immortal Essence Stones remaining on him, as most of his wealth had been used to purchase hairy men. Now, he was refining rank 5 Malicious Thought Gu on a large scale, which required extremely great resources. Thus, he had no choice but to exchange for Immortal Essence Stones in order to barely be able to cope with his expenses. With this, Fang Yuan only had 3 Desolate Beast Corpses remaining on sale in Treasure Yellow Heaven. The Immortal Essence Stones on him also reached a number of just over 20. And since he was constantly making deductions, his Green Grape Immortal Essence also fell down to 36 beads. Fortunately, Fang Yuan's plan of improving Malicious Thought Gu's recipe succeeded. It was a completely new Malicious Thought Gu recipe. Although it did not reach his previous expectations, it already was reduced by a number of steps. Previously, the rank 5 Malicious Thought Gu could only be refined step by step from rank 1 to rank 2 and so on. Now, the rank 5 Malicious Thought Gu only required 2 steps. The first step refined a half-finished Malicious Thought Gu while the second step completed the refinement. Although the success rate did not improve, the procedure had shortened, the materials required decreased by a lot and time was also saved. According to this speed, the estimated 16 months has been directly reduced by half. I will have 2000 rank 5 malicious thought GU in just 8 months. However, I am already tight on immortal essence stones. At this rate, even with the support from the transaction of guts GU, I won't be able to make my ends meet. Do I have to slow down for the moment and let the second stone nest refine airsac GU, raising the production of guts GU to earn immortal essence stones? Just as Fang Yuan was having this thought, the good news he had been waiting a long time for had finally arrived. Brat, you win, I agree to your condition. We will split in a 4-to-6 ratio. Lang Yalan's spirit said furiously, his emotions in a mess. Fang Yuan lacked money to refine mortal GU on a large scale, while Lang Yalan's spirit was refining immortal GU. The resources he had to expend amounted to more than 100 times what Fang Yuan required, so he lacked money even more so. Just like Fang Yuan expected, Lang Yalan's spirit did not have other channels and only had Fang Yuan to accomplish this task. Thus, he had no choice but to accept, even though he knew this was an extremely large loss. Fang Yuan also did not want to push his luck, such a sharing of profits was already the limit of the land spirit. If he did not accept this and angered Lang Yalan's spirit, there would not only be no transaction, even the relationship he had built with much difficulty would collapse. Northern Plains, Baizu Grotto Heaven. The hall was lit with bright lights, beautiful women were dancing without rest, fine wine and delicacies were presented at the table in a row. Eat this, I personally like this dish very much, it is made of the rank 5 GU, flying Vajra centipedes, which are roasted over a charcoal fire, making its flesh delicious and tender. Heavenly Lord Baizu said with light laughter from the main seat, inviting the 2 GU immortals in the hall. The 2 GU immortals were none other than Qin Bai Sheng and Fairy Li Shan. Although the dishes were made by others, the 2 immortals had no misgivings. Qin Bai Sheng picked up a long piece of meat and threw it in his mouth. He chewed it loudly, his lips shone with oily luster. He raised his thumb in praise, indeed a delicacy. Not bad, not bad. Heavenly Lord Baizu laughed loudly before looking at Fairy Li Shan. I wonder how Fairy finds it. Fairy Li Shan's eating manner was much more elegant than Qin Bai Sheng. She took a few bites then appreciated the taste before smiling. It is delicious, not only is there the smell of coal, there is also a nice chewy taste with a creamy and refreshing texture. It truly is a masterpiece. Heavenly Lord Baizu laughed heartily with extreme satisfaction. I won't conceal it from you too, I thought painstakingly and tested for 8 days and 8 nights to create this dish. This is one of my most satisfying works during this year. Heavenly Lord Baizu was a rank 8 GU immortal and a lone cultivator. He had a hobby which was famous throughout the world of Northern Plains GU immortals. He liked to cook gourmet food and create new fine dishes. In this visit, we not only succeeded in inviting Heavenly Lord to participate in the auction, but also tasted such a delicacy. It is truly our honor. Qin Bai Sheng spoke at an appropriate time. I shall engrave Heavenly Lord's hospitality in my heart. Now, we have already signed an alliance treaty, please forgive Li Shan for not being able to stay longer. Fairy Li Shan said. He. Heavenly Lord Baizu nodded while all smiles, good. There are only a few rank 8 seniors in Northern Plains. You two have already invited me, as well as Yao Huang, 5 Elements Grandmaster and old ancestor Shui Hu. If only Prince Feng Xian is left out, it won't be good. Heavenly Lord has penetrating insight, we were going to invite Prince Feng Xian. Go, organize this auction properly, this old man has great expectations. Qin Bai Sheng and Fairy Li Shan left Baizu Grotto Heaven, then hurried towards the southeast direction. Midway, Fairy Li Shan's expression suddenly changed. In her immortal aperture, Fang Yuan's message had arrived through moving perspective cup GU. Fairy Li Shan slowly came to a halt. Qin Bai Sheng asked curiously, Fairy, why are you stopping? Fairy Li Shan gave a light smile. There is a person I want to introduce to you. Qin Bai Sheng's interest rose. At this moment, Fang Yuan came out of Fairy Li Shan's immortal aperture. He quickly scanned his surroundings before looking at Qin Bai Sheng. Lord Qin, your mighty name has long since resounded in my ears. Qin Bai Sheng was a rank 7 GU immortal with outstanding battle strength at the level of Shilei. Right now, as he saw Fang Yuan was only an immortal zombie with the lowest cultivation of rank 6, his interest that had been roused just before rapidly disappeared. However, remembering Fang Yuan had directly come out of Fairy Li Shan's immortal aperture, it could be seen that Fang Yuan's relationship with Fairy Li Shan was not shallow. Qin Bai Sheng did not become arrogant, and only nodded and smiled lightly. You flatter me, you are. My name is Sha Huang, I have a large transaction that I want to discuss with Lord Qin. Fang Yuan smiled. What large transaction? When Fang Yuan spoke of the matter of selling Gu Immortal's blessed lands, Qin Baisheng and Fairy Li Shan both turned pale. In the letter from the moving perspective Cup Gu, Fang Yuan had not explained things clearly and only said he wanted to participate in the auction. Fairy Li Shan was endlessly shocked. Sha Huang, you really have blessed lands of Gu Immortals to sell? Haha, they are not mine, I am only running an errand. Fang Yuan smiled. He and Fairy Li Shan were under the Snowy Mountain Alliance, so he must speak the truth. However, this indeed was the truth, just that he had only said part of it. He naturally would not say that he, this errand boy, had more of a share of the profits than the owner. Qin Baisheng's mood calmed down only then, as he deduced that Fang Yuan was a subordinate of some great person. In the open, Northern Plains had 5 rank 8 Gu Immortals, but it was rumored there were some old monsters who were apparently still alive. Immediately, Qin Baisheng re-evaluated Fang Yuan. He was still smiling, but his tone had a slight change now. It is indeed a huge transaction. Brother, since you think highly of me and have confidence in this auction, then how could I refuse? Many thanks to Lord Qin for making an exception. Fang Yuan's smile turned even bigger. What exception? Honestly speaking, I am just glad it was not too late. Gu Immortal's blessed lands, tisk tisk, this will definitely heighten the climax of the auction. Haha, this auction I am holding will definitely be one of the few grand auctions over several hundred years in Northern Plains. Qin Baisheng laughed loudly and passionately patted this small rank 6 immortal zombie, Fang Yuan's shoulder. Honestly, I am a boorish person. Lord Qin is a strange way to address me, brother. If you think I am worthy, then even if I am older by some years, how about calling me brother? Qin Baisheng was already over 700 years old, he was indeed older than Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan directly cupped his fists with a smile. Brother Qin. Haha, Brother Sha. Qin Baisheng returned the greeting. Chapter 737 Joining Zombie Alliance. Chapter 737, Joining Zombie Alliance. Qin Baisheng was quite the character. His battle strength was on par with Immortal Monkey King Shilei, but he did not have any arrogant attitude. Not only that, when he conversed with Fang Yuan, he kept a cool demeanor and was very amicable. Not only did he laugh grandly, he even gave people a feeling that he was very open-minded. This time, Fang Yuan had obviously appeared under the disguise of the mortal killer move unfamiliar face. He had to conceal himself. Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun were in the hands of Qin Baisheng. If they had revealed the details or had their souls searched, Qin Baisheng would have known about Fang Yuan's 8-arm heavenly zombie form already. Be it He Lu Lan, Tai Bai Yunsheng or Fang Yuan's 8-arm heavenly zombie figure, they could not appear openly in Northern Plains. Because the 3 of them were key surviving members of the 88 Truyong building incident. Right now was a sensitive time. Ever since Northern Plains No. 1 Wisdom Path Gu Immortal, Dong Fang Chong Fan, deduced before his death that the culprit was not a person from Northern Plains and was an outsider, Northern Plains had formed an attitude of resisting a common enemy. Countless forces and experts wanted to take revenge. Especially the 10 or so super forces in Northern Plains, their benefits were heavily affected. They wanted to slaughter the culprit, to chop them into pieces and slice their skin and bones, to torture them for endless years to appease their hatred. Once Fang Yuan and the others showed up, even if their crimes were not exposed, it would sure to stir great attention and Northern Plains Gu Immortals would immediately make their moves, wanting to use Fang Yuan and the others as the key to obtaining more inside information. Thus, Fang Yuan came here using the fake name of Sha Huang. At the same time, his 8 monstrous arms turned into ordinary zombie shoulders, his terrifying 6-meter-tall body had turned into that of a normal person's build, or even shorter. The fangs in his mouth were also completely retracted, he no longer looked ruthless but instead gave off a weak and powerless feeling. Of course, Fang Yuan had informed Fairy Li Shan already regarding his disguise in his letter. When they established the Snowy Mountain Alliance earlier, they had considered such a situation. Thus, this was Fairy Li Shan and Fang Yuan collaborating to deceive outsiders. He did not go against their agreement at all. But even if Fang Yuan was so insignificant, an immortal zombie with stale cultivation and a grim future, Qin Baisheng did not look down on him at all. He talked with Fang Yuan on equal terms. In fact, when they conversed, he spoke with an affectionate tone. Qin Baisheng's attitude made Fang Yuan praise him inwardly. This person is really quite a character. No wonder he could turn this around and forcefully change this situation of being attacked by Northern Plains Gu Immortals to one that benefits him greatly. Qin Baisheng was also thinking. This small rank 6 immortal zombie has an ordinary appearance, but even after I probed him for so long, he has not slipped and exposed anything. Even now, I do not know his origin and background, while he can still talk to me, Qin Bai Sheng, calmly and normally, he is not simple, not simple. Fairy Li Shan was at the side, squinting as she smiled, watching Fang Yuan and Qin Bai Sheng talk. Fairy Li Shan saw that they were talking with more enthusiasm as she laughed lightly. The way you two are talking, it is a shame that you have only met now, you actually left me in a corner, you look like long-lost brothers who had just met each other. I am ashamed, Fang Yuan quickly said. Qin Bai Sheng heard this and his eyes brightened up. Fairy said it well, that was fabulous. Brother Sha and I feel like old friends, we really hit it off, why don't we become sworn brothers? With Fairy's mountain pledge Gu, from now on, as long as I have meat to eat, I will not let little brother starve. Fairy Li Shan was shocked. She did not expect Qin Bai Sheng to be serious. After the shock, she flustered. Is Qin Bai Sheng's discernment superior to mine? He has already seen through Fang Yuan's disguise. Fang Yuan gasped, immediately showing an expression like that of a youngster with poorly concealed temptation. I am not worthy, I am not worthy. Oh, what is brother saying? There is no such thing as worthiness. This is fate, unless even though brother is showing this on the surface, you actually look down on me, a person without a force. Qin Bai Sheng's eyes shined brightly, he looked at Fang Yuan tightly, showing a half-smiling expression. Oh no, my unfamiliar face is only a mortal killer move, Qin Bai Sheng has felt something amiss already. It boils down to the excessive strength that I displayed. I actually had Gu Immortal prisoners and was going to sell Gu Immortal's blessed lands. Although Qin Bai Sheng is a lone cultivator, he is skilled at gathering allied forces and is organizing an auction, thus he wants to use me to latch onto the force behind me. Of course, there is a possibility that he suspects that I am the culprit who toppled 88 Truyong building. No matter which one it is, I can see the troublesome and powerful methods of this person. These thoughts flashed by in Fang Yuan's head quickly, as he gave a bitter smile. To speak the truth, I really hit it off with Brother Qin, but I am a small character, I cannot decide this, I am not like Brother Qin and Fairy Li Shan who are free. The matter of becoming sworn brothers, it is not that I do not want to, but I cannot. Of course they could not, once they did, making an oath before the mountain pledge Gu, Fang Yuan would be at his mercy. The most simple way was for Qin Bai Sheng to suggest that brothers cannot lie to each other. What can Fang Yuan do then? How could he reject him? So that is the case. Brother has his difficulties, I understand. Not only do I understand, I can even help you, brother. Qin Bai Sheng patted his chest. While speaking, he still continued to try probing Fang Yuan's background. Fang Yuan cupped his fists to thank him, before turning around and looking at Fairy Li Shan. Fairy, I came here this time with another task, that is to borrow and make use of your mountain pledge Gu. This, Fairy Li Shan looked at Qin Bai Sheng, hesitatingly saying, Sha Huang, you might not know, but we are going to find Prince Feng Xian to invite him to attend the auction. Our time is tight, I am not sure if Prince Feng Xian will be angry. After all, he is the last person we are visiting. Qin Bai Sheng said instead. Prince Feng Xian is a model of the righteous path, how can he be so small-minded? Anyway, we are going to take some time in flying there, it is not a problem to lend it to Brother Sha Huang. It's fine, I am not in a rush. Fang Yuan cupped his fist. In that case, Fairy and Brother Qin should go first, we will split up here. Why doesn't Brother Sha Huang come with us? It is a rare opportunity to be able to meet Prince Feng Xian. Qin Bai Sheng invited. How could Fang Yuan dare to go to a rank 8 Gu Immortal? Especially when this Prince Feng Xian had an investigative immortal Gu that was at least rank 7. Even though unfamiliar face came from Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable, it was just a mortal killer move, in front of an investigative immortal Gu, it was insufficient. Fang Yuan rejected Qin Bai Sheng's invitation and watched them fly away. As their figures vanished into the sky, his expression turned cold. He had finally learned how troublesome Qin Bai Sheng was to deal with. Compared to the brutish Shilei, this person had an exquisite mind, who knew how many thoughts were in his head, while he could appear on the surface to be grand and full of passion, as if it came from the bottom of his heart. Just this acting ability alone was on par with Fang Yuan. If not for Fang Yuan being a reborn old monster, he might not be able to see Qin Bai Sheng's true colors. This person is a lone cultivator, yet he was able to make a network of alliances and influence the entire world of Northern Plains Gu Immortals. His methods were truly incredible, he has some real skill. Unfortunately, his luck in my previous life was bad, just when Blood Hunter came out of seclusion, he unfortunately met with an engaged in fierce battle, succumbing to that monster's methods. Fang Yuan recalled as he turned around, flying towards another direction. Not long later, he met with a group of azure ostriches. This bird had a swollen back, like that of a camel, it had azure feathers and its body was as strong as a grown man. Often gathering in groups, they were the overlords of the sky. This group of azure ostriches were not few in numbers, they were a myriad beast group. Fang Yuan did not care about them, he continued to fly forwards. The azure ostriches found the prey, Fang Yuan, and were very excited. They first screeched before getting close to him, but the moment they got close to him and sensed his immortal zombie aura, they ran away in fear. All living beings had survival instincts in them to avoid danger, even beasts and birds had this insight and would not send themselves to death. If this had been Fang Yuan when he stepped into Northern Plains for the first time in his previous life, if he met the azure ostrich group, he would need to dig a hole and bury himself to avoid them. But now, even without doing anything, he had chased this group of azure ostriches away. Even though I became an immortal zombie, compared to my previous life's achievements, my cultivation level has greatly exceeded what I had been during this time. In my previous life, at this point, Qingmao Mountain had been destroyed by Bai Ningbing's self-detonation, because clans are united by bloodline, they spurn outsiders. Before I became a lone demonic cultivator, I joined a caravan and was often at the front lines, trying to earn a living like this. In his previous life, Fang Yuan had moved around southern border, western desert, eastern sea for over 300 years before becoming a rank 5 GU master in central continent. But now, only decades had passed and Fang Yuan was already an immortal. Even though he was an immortal zombie, his battle strength was already upper tier among rank 6 GU immortals. Firstly, the rebirth advantage he had was huge. Secondly, Fang Yuan took part in many dangerous situations, the higher the risks, the greater his rewards. But as time passes, the influence of my rebirth would become bigger and bigger. This auction had never happened in my previous life. Hopefully, when I join Northern Plains Zombie Alliance this time, there will be fewer accidents and my plans would go smoothly. Having unfamiliar face, Fang Yuan decided to try joining Zombie Alliance. Plans could not keep up with changes. His original plan was to first take Dark Limit Immortal GU. But Shui Songzi and He Cheng's incident had inadvertently served as an alert. Afterwards, Fairy Zhongyu had disappeared mysteriously, even Fairy Li Shan could not find her. He also had another plan, to kill Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun. But now that they were captured by Qin Bai Sheng, they were watched by almost all of the GU immortals in Northern Plains, how could Fang Yuan kill them now? After these two plans succeeded, his third plan was to join Zombie Alliance. But with the current situation, Fang Yuan had insufficient control of the circumstances, he had to take a risk and join Zombie Alliance, even if it was dangerous. As he flew, Fang Yuan considered the plan for joining Zombie Alliance again. Along the way, he met many bird groups, but they were all repelled by Fang Yuan's immortal zombie aura. Only once, he met a desolate beast flying snake. Fang Yuan did not want to waste time and avoided it. Although Northern Plains was huge, having 5 billion square kilometers of surface area, 10 times that of Earth, but Fang Yuan's current location was not far from his destination. After half a day, he saw a mountain on the horizon. It was Kumu Mountain. Chapter 738 Old Earth Wood, Immortal Zombie GUE. Chapter 738. Old Earth Wood, Immortal Zombie GUE. Kumu Mountain, rather than a mountain, it looked more like a giant dead wooden tree that extended into the clouds. The name of the wood was Old Earth. Old Earth Wood had a long lifespan, this particular pillar of Old Earth Wood had more than 1,000,000 years of history. From Reckless Savage Demon Venerable's era, to Red Lotus Demon Venerable, Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable, Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, and then to Spectral Soul Demon Venerable and Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable. Even after Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable died, it was still alive. When it had lush leaves, the greenery covered the entire sky, and it produced countless fresh fruits. On its strong branches, unique tree farms could be created. During its golden years, it was usually owned by the strongest GU immortals or the most powerful forces in Northern Plains. But as the river of time continued to flow, the lush green leaves wilted, its strong trunk decayed, its glorious days were over, and it became a gloomy and silent structure. Long ago, countless forces had fought over it, fighting with their lives or even dying due to the Old Earth Wood, but eventually, its late years were lonely. The barren tree branches could only create a shade over a small area, attempting to pitifully recreate its former glory. Right now, the old earth wood tree's main trunk was mostly dead, only a small portion still had a little bit of life left. From a mystical treasure that everyone was after, to a monument that nobody visits, it was like an aged giant, bending its back and sitting on the ground calmly, awaiting the end of its life. Fang Yuan did not come here to admire the old earth wood tree, he was here for the immortal zombie who was living on top of the old earth wood. This immortal zombie was a woodpath Gu immortal during his life, his name was Gu Yi. If Fang Yuan wanted to join Northern Plains Zombie Alliance, he would need an immortal zombie's recommendation. Fang Yuan had already gotten the details of Northern Plains Zombie Alliance from Fairy Li Shan. The reason why he chose Ji Yi was not because this person was special, but because he was the closest. As he got close to the old earth wood tree, Fang Yuan slowed his speed, but he did not see Ji Yi appearing. He frowned slightly, this Ji Yi's alertness was simply too terrible. Finally, when he arrived at the old earth wood tree, Fang Yuan shouted, "Is Old Earth City Lord around? My name is Sha Huang and I am here to visit." His voice echoed through the old earth wood tree, causing the wilted leaves to scatter onto the ground. From a deep part of the old earth wood, a figure came out. "Why are there more people? Do you really think I, Ji Yi, am easy to bully?" His tone was filled with anger and helplessness. Ji Yi appeared before Fang Yuan. He was yellowish in color, tall and skinny, resembling the old earth wood. There were wooden markings on his skin, it was an immortal zombie body that resembled dead wood. Seeing Fang Yuan, Ji Yi was stunned, the anger vanished on his face as he said hesitantly, "Sir is. I am Sha Huang, I have turned into an immortal zombie recently without much choice. I wanted to join Northern Plains Zombie Alliance, I wonder if Old Earth City Lord may give me a recommendation." Fang Yuan cupped his fists as he expressed his intention directly. "Oh, you are a newcomer who wants to join Zombie Alliance. A pleasure to meet you." Ji Yi's expression changed, he quickly greeted back while smiling. "I thought it was forget it, let's not talk about it. We are all in the same boat, please come in." Fang Yuan slowly flew up, under Ji Yi's lead, they traveled past many rotten leaves and branches, arriving at a deep part of the branches of the old earth wood tree. This was a city, it was completely built on the old earth wood branches, it resembled a carved wooden city, it was quite unique. Countless wooden houses were lined up, some were tall while some were short, not only were there common squares, there were towers and city walls, all sorts of streets and paths were interconnected like blood vessels, moving along the countless branches. There were also all sorts of vine ladders, either drooping or hanging from one branch to another. It was a pity that this wooden city was half destroyed, large numbers of houses had collapsed. The yellow vine ladders were no longer green, they could not sustain any weight. When the cold winds blew, the vines might break, landing on the branches and causing a loud sound. This is Old Earth City. Although it is like this, the atmosphere still remains. Back in the day, this was a popular area and countless famous characters gathered here. This was once the heart of Northern Plains. Fang Yuan looked around as he sighed casually. The city is dead, there is nothing left. Brother Sha is calling me Old Earth City Lord, but that title is very hollow now. Ji Yi laughed bitterly at the side. To speak the truth, if not for this place still producing a woodpath resource called wilted essence, who would care about it? Fang Yuan nodded, agreeing, that is indeed the case. Ji Yi sighed deeply. Sigh, if I knew that this place was so barren, I would not have accepted this mission from Zombie Alliance. But the duration of my mission is almost over, I can leave this painful place already. Brother, look at my pathetic state and learn from it. When you enter Zombie Alliance, do not choose the mission of guarding Old Earth Wood. Fang Yuan had already guessed that Ji Yi was injured, seeing him say this, he placed his gaze naturally on his face. Ji Yi's face was swollen, it looked like a pink peach was growing on one side of his cheeks. The other side of his face was caved in, filled with many cracks. Looking at him, his entire head was in a strange shape, like a deformed melon. Not only that, there was a long scar on his chest. Although the scar was shallow, the injury was big. There was poisonous gas that were dark purple in color spiraling it. Even if Brother Ji didn't mention it, I was going to ask. Where did you get your injuries from? Fang Yuan asked. Sigh, brother, seeing that you have just turned into an immortal zombie, you still do not know the pain of immortal zombies. Ji Yi sighed pitifully, he was about to start his story when there was a loud sound outside. The entire old earthwood tree shook intensely as wilted leaves flew, even the rotting branches that seemed like tall pillars collapsed, they came crashing down. Ji Yi's expression changed. Next, Fang Yuan heard someone shouting from outside. Ji Yuyi, come out now, this divine lord is here to make a transaction with you. Ji Yuyi's expression became uglier, his eyes were spewing fire as he gritted his teeth. Divine Lord Tiandu again. Bam! Another loud bang. Old earth wood shook again, leaves fell from the branches like a huge rain. The beautiful wooden houses collapsed, causing dust and smoke to rise. Outside, there was another Ji Yu Immortal shouting, Ji Yuyi right. Come out now, I am Shihu, come out, I have a matter to discuss with you. Saying so, there was another loud bang, causing a distressing noise in the old earth wood. Looking at their actions, they were not going to give up until Ji Yuyi showed up. Ji Yuyi's expression was very ugly, he clenched his fists as he took a few deep breaths, smiling forcibly at Fang Yuan. Brother Sha, take a seat first, I will be back shortly. No worry, I will go with you. Fang Yuan said. Ji Yuyi showed a touched expression as he cupped his fists, thanking sincerely, then I will thank brother in advance. The two walked out of the old earth wood tree, seeing the two rank 6 Ji Yu Immortals in the sky. One had a strong muscular body, his skin was bronze in color as lightning coiled around his body, his name was Divine Lord Tiandu. The other had messy hair, he looked like a brute carrying a skull, it was Shihu. Seeing Fang Yuan, Divine Lord Tiandu was stunned before laughing, to think that Ji Yuyi found a helper. But it is a pity, you found an immortal zombie. In his speech, he did not hide the disdain towards immortal zombies. You, Ji Yuyi flew into a rage, about to speak. Divine Lord Tiandu waved his hand, saying impatiently, I will not talk trash with you, I know that you have some wilted essence with you, my friend has an immortal essence stone, he will buy 150 kilograms of wilted essence from you. One immortal essence stone for 150 kilograms of wilted essence, why don't you just rob us instead? Ji Yuyi was stomping his feet in anger, shouting. Robbing is possible too, but seeing that you are Divine Lord's friend, I wanted to do him a favor. Shihu snickered, his attitude was very arrogant, as if Ji Yuyi was helpless against him. You two are shameless, you are basically bandits. Ji Yuyi stared with wide-opened eyes, his lungs were about to explode. He did not attack in the end. He was furious, but also extremely helpless. The other party were two rank 6 GU immortals, but he was only a rank 6 immortal zombie, his blessed land was dead and he only had over a dozen immortal essence stones. Even though he would fight with them, what would he do after that? Ignoring the question of whether he could win, even if he won, he would expend a lot of green grape immortal essence, without the blessed land's replenishment, he could only use immortal essence stones to replenish it. After one battle, he would go bankrupt. Ji Yuyi was full of worries, he looked at Fang Yuan beside him. Actually, Divine Lord Tiandu and Shihu were also looking at Fang Yuan. Divine Lord Tiandu had extorted Ji Yuyi many times already, he knew about Ji Yuyi's background, but he did not know anything about Fang Yuan. Furthermore, it seemed like Fang Yuan was Ji Yuyi's helper. But why would Fang Yuan help Ji Yuyi for no good reason? His gaze flickered, he showed a hesitant expression as he asked Ji Yuyi in a weak tone, Brother Ji Yu, what is going on? Who is the other party? Such absurd demands, why isn't the zombie alliance interfering? Seeing Fang Yuan's hesitation, Ji Yuyi lost all hope, he sighed deeply, the zombie alliance can interfere, but I cannot afford it. It was better when leader was around, but now sigh. Forget it, after you join the zombie alliance, you will learn about it, brother. Is that so? Fang Yuan's face showed a perfect mix of shock, disappointment, and even worry towards the future. Hearing their conversation, Divine Lord Tiandu and Shihu could see the joy in each other's faces. So this newly emerged immortal zombie wants to join the zombie alliance. We are going to successfully extort him again. The two transmitted. As they expected, Ji Yuyi was helpless but to accept their demands. Eventually, he sold 150 kilograms of wilted essence for one immortal essence stone. Ha ha ha, this was a pleasant business deal. Ji Yuyi, when you ask for help next time, at least invite a living person. The two left while laughing loudly. Sigh, this rotten place, I do not want to stay here for even one more second. Ji Yuyi showed disappointment, his head was sinking even lower now. Chapter 739 Dark Flow Giant City. Chapter 739, Dark Flow Giant City. Fang Yuan watched as Divine Lord Tiandu and Shihu disappeared into the horizon, before retracting his gaze, looking at the immortal zombie Ji Yuyi beside him with a slightly flickering gaze. With a trembling and hesitant voice, he said, Brother Ji Yu, may I ask how many times has this happened? Ji Yuyi restrained his grieving expression, and patted Fang Yuan's shoulder, comforting him on the contrary, not too many. It is just that with the nearing of Qin Bai Sheng's auction, some shameless scumbags are trying everything they can to get the capital to participate in this level of grand event. Fang Yuan had not helped him, but Ji Yuyi did not blame him. He did not have any hope, thus his disappointment and grief had no relation to Fang Yuan. With this, even though they had just met each other, Ji Yuyi was even more certain that Fang Yuan's situation was similar to his and even slightly worse, as a fallen Ji Yu immortal who had helplessly turned to becoming an immortal zombie. But this behavior is too ugly. Fang Yuan pretended to be indignant. This expression looked like his true feelings in Ji Yuyi's eyes. At least there is something to cover the humiliation. Ji Yuyi looked at the immortal essence stone on his hand with irony. This immortal essence stone was the price she who and Divine Lord Tiandu had paid for 150 kilograms of wilted essence. He shook the immortal essence stone. Look, Divine Lord Tiandu and she who might be strong, but they still are apprehensive of Zombie Alliance behind us and had to give us face in this way. Could it be that Zombie Alliance's face is only worth one immortal essence stone? Fang Yuan's expression was aghast, as he made an inquiry. Ji Yuyi laughed. His laughter was bitter, mixed with helplessness, sadness and grief. He looked at Fang Yuan, and felt he was looking at himself back when he had just joined Zombie Alliance. He patted Fang Yuan's shoulder again. Brother Sha, you have reached this point and also know the hardships and disadvantages of immortal zombie. Blessed lands of us immortal zombies are already dead and cannot be operated, and cannot produce immortal essence. If I have to say it bluntly, we are on our dying breaths. Thus, we have to rely on external resources even more than those living GU immortals. You also might have already heard about it, Zombie Alliance indeed has many immortal zombies like you. But if you want to rely on these people as support and to help maintain your face, you have to pay the price. Ji Yuyi's words had deep implications. Price? Fang Yuan pretended to not understand. Yes. If you want to request a rank 6 immortal zombie to help you, you need 2 immortal essence stones, and this is only the initial price, the concrete amount will depend on how intense the fight is. If you want to request a rank 7 immortal zombie, you need 20 immortal essence stones. Similarly, this price is only the initial price. If you have sufficient immortal essence stones, you can even request the whole of Zombie Alliance to support you. But if you don't have money or don't want to pay the price, then your face can only be worth this much. When Ji Yuyi said this, he slightly raised that immortal essence stone and intentionally shook it. Blessed lands of immortal zombies were already dead, it was hard to engage in business to generate income and they had to rely on more external resources. This made immortal zombies have to meticulously plan and often choose to endure as opposed to fight. Only like this could they barely maintain their livelihoods. Like with Fang Yuan previously, he could not produce green grape immortal essence by himself and could only use immortal essence stones to substitute. The pressure was too high. In that intense battle with He Chang, his finances almost collapsed and fell into a plight again. Fortunately, Fang Yuan had Hu immortal blessed land, which reduced the significance of his immortal aperture being dead. What was even more fortunate was that he had Wisdom Gu's help. And there were extremely large benefits to using the light of wisdom with an immortal zombie body. First was the immortal GU recipe transactions with Langya land spirit, which allowed Fang Yuan to get out of the mire. Then with the help of the light of wisdom, he was able to innovate Airsac GU and engage in the Guts GU business, making immortal crane sect compromise, and greatly improving his entire living environment. If I didn't have these, my situation might be extremely dismal just like Ji Yuyi's. Fang Yuan sighed inwardly, while on the surface he showed a look of realization and took a step back, bowing and cupping his fists. Brother Ji Yuyi, I have received your teachings. Ji Yuyi shook his head. Even without me speaking of these truths, you would understand it for yourself after some time. No need for thanks. Come, I will bring you to Zombie Alliance. Fang Yuan followed Ji Yuyi to the depths of the old earth wood branches at that exquisite wood city again. Ji Yuyi flew ahead to a large plaza in the center of the wood city. The plaza was in ruins, from the damaged floor tiles to the surrounding destroyed flower beds and dried up fountain, one might be able to only get a glimpse of its past prosperity. Ji Yuyi and Fang Yuan stood in the center of the plaza. Rise. Ji Yuyi mobilized his primeval essence, the plaza's surface instantly brightened. The thick and solid floor became translucent like a giant jade. The green jade light circulated around, shadows of countless GU worms fluttered within the light. At the same time, large numbers of mortal GU flew out of Ji Yuyi's body, mostly being rank 5 space path GU and rank 4 wood path GU. These GU worms flew above Fang Yuan and started to rapidly revolve like a hurricane. In the dusky surroundings, rays of brilliant light gradually appeared. Ji Yuyi continued to mobilize his primeval essence unceasingly. These flowing lights rapidly increased in number and soon created a vast bluish-green patch. Untold numbers of mortal Ji-Yu, under some wondrous rhythm, converged their powers, overlaying on top of one another and mutually amplifying themselves, finally forming a might display. This is a top-tier mortal killer move our Zombie Alliance researched, Green Crystal Hero's Path. It can span across hundreds of thousands of li, directly connecting the old Earthwood and Zombie Alliance's garrison. You know us immortal zombies are Ji-Yu immortals as well, our bodies are filled with Dao marks, thus normal methods are unable to transport us. Ji Yuyi explained at the appropriate moment. Fang Yuan nodded. Immortal zombies might have weaker battle strength causing their status to lower, and their thoughts to slow down, but their accumulations and foundations still remained for the most part. Especially when immortal zombies are in a similar situation, they could cast aside prejudices unlike normal Ji-Yu immortals and cooperate with each other. Thus, being able to research a peak-tier mortal killer move was not strange. Ji Yuyi continued. I looked after the myriad poison date tree and Zombie Alliance for 2 years before I was able to get enough contribution points to exchange for this Green Crystal Hero's Path. Ah, right, you might be confused. Brother Shah, if you choose tasks which needs you to go outside, Zombie Alliance's prerequisite is that you have to grasp the killer move Green Crystal Hero's Path. Only with this can you reach Zombie Alliance at any time. They did not have fixed immortal travel, did not have Stargate and also did not have moving perspective cup Ji-Yu. Normal Ji-Yu immortals could use connecting heaven Ji-Yu and whole earth Ji-Yu, but immortal zombies could not because of their dead apertures. Connecting heaven Ji-Yu and whole earth Ji-Yu were only mortal Ji-Yu. The reason they could connect between blessed lands or grotto heavens was because the two small worlds involved would silently consume heavenly power. And an immortal zombie's blessed land or grotto heaven was already dead, and was unable to expend heavenly power. To set up connecting heaven Ji-Yu and whole earth Ji-Yu required the consent of both sides. Only with this, the immortal apertures could use heavenly power. If they were secretly set up, they would not be able to connect because of the absence of heavenly power. Connecting heaven Ji-Yu and whole earth Ji-Yu also could not be used if they were set up outside in the 5 regions. Ah, so Green Crystal Hero's Path was this important. Hearing Ji Yuyi explain again, Fang Yuan showed an appropriately admiring and envious look. Ji Yuyi caught Fang Yuan's expression and felt refreshed. The grief from the forceful transaction earlier eased up by a lot. Happiness often comes from comparison. Instantly, Ji Yuyi felt Fang Yuan was much more pleasing to the eyes. A thick green light soared to the skies from the dense dried yellow old earth branches and leaves. After a while, in Dark Flow City, over 100,000 li away, on the plaza in the southeast section, a dark green light suddenly fell down. The light engulfed the plaza, dyeing the surroundings green. Wind surged, and the hanging iron lanterns in the plaza constantly shook and squeaked. The light quickly disappeared. In the originally empty plaza appeared Ji Yuyi and Fang Yuan. Let's go, we should not stay here for long. Ji Yuyi composed himself and walked forward, with Fang Yuan closely following behind. This giant city was named Dark Flow. It was pitch black, resembling a giant beast sprawled on the ground. The sun was setting to the west and there was still a source of light. However, every tile and brick of the giant Dark Flow City emitted a dense darkness that dyed the surroundings black. Especially, the closer one got to the center of Dark Flow Giant City, the denser this darkness became. Fang Yuan and Ji Yuyi walked ahead, but saw no humans in their path. The long path had street lamps erected every few hundred steps. But these street lamps let out weak dusky yellow light which only lit some dozens of steps, leaving behind long stretches of darkness in between the gaps of the street lamps, making the darkness of the giant city even more conspicuous. The large Dark Flow City felt like an abandoned city. However, there were still some faint clamoring noises coming from below the giant city. This is the main headquarters of our Zombie Alliance in Northern Plains, and it is almost as large as a mountain. It is divided into 7 floors. The lower 5 floors are the residences of mortal Ji-Yu masters and are very bustling and clamorous. 1 floor above is where immortal zombies and people with some relation to us reside. The highest floor has the conference hall where 3 rank 7 immortal zombies are stationed throughout the year. Ji Yuyi gave an appropriate explanation. Fang Yuan nodded without being surprised. Zombie Alliance was not an organization that was only formed from immortal level members, but also covered mortal Ji-Yu masters. These Ji-Yu masters, for the most part, made use of Dark Path, raising zombies, commanding zombies and even transforming into zombies. The two walked for a while, arriving in front of a large hall without seeing anyone in the way. Tall stone statues stood on either side of the large hall. They were taller and bulkier than even Fang Yuan's 8-arm immortal zombie physique. Fang Yuan carefully observed them. His eyes narrowed slightly as he discovered these stone statues were not as simple as they looked. You find it strange too? This is Yin Lu Gong's immortal killer move stone casket. Inside them are not ordinary zombies but immortal zombies. Ji Yuyi said this, then said in a lower voice, Yin Lu Gong is one of the experts of our zombie alliance. When the city lord left Northern Plains, they assigned 3 deputy city lords. He is one of them and can command immortal zombies to fight for him. Yin Lu Gong. Fang Yuan silently engraved this name to his mind. This name was not in his previous life's memories. But just based on the fact Yin Lu Gong could command immortal zombies to fight, he needed to be attached importance. In my previous life, my rise was a matter that occurred 300 to 400 years later. And in this period of time, it was not that no outstanding characters emerged, but due to all sorts of reasons, they were washed away by the river of time. Fang Yuan was cautious, with no hint of carelessness. Come and push the door. Ji Yuyi suddenly moved to the side. So long as you can open this large door, you will have the qualifications to join Zombie Alliance. Fang Yuan quietly put his 2 arms on the door and softly pushed, opening the door by a sliver. Instantly, over 20 sharp, gloomy or dull gazes followed the crack and shot towards Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan intentionally changed his expression slightly, then he took a deep breath and fiercely pushed open the door completely. Ji Yuyi laughed heartily while patting Fang Yuan's shoulder. Being able to push open this large door means you are a person of Northern Plains. Come, your timing is really exquisite. Our Zombie Alliance's meeting is held today. Chapter 749 Heaven's Fragment. Chapter 740, 9 Heaven's Fragment. Central Continent. White egrets flew in the sky. The weather was pleasant today. 3 rank 7 GU immortals who came from Combat Immortal sect had gathered within this sky. According to Immortal Monkey King's request for help, it should be this place. Qian Zhu Xian looked around as he said. He was dressed in a green robe, he had a slim figure and his eyes were dark like an abyss, as if incapable of being alarmed. Although this place looks ordinary, it is evident that the grotto heaven opening that was stated in the letter has closed up. But to check if it is really this place, we will need Divine Mother's help. Valley Lord Minghe, who was dressed in a white robe, looked over. Beside him was a female GU immortal. Beautiful and elegant, she was dressed in a golden robe and radiated majesty and dignity. She was a Space Path GU immortal, known as Divine Mother Ju Kong. Among these 3, she was the oldest GU immortal, being over 900 years old. Divine Mother Ju Kong closed her eyes. Using her mysterious method, her aura remained calm and there was not even any trace of fluctuation. In a short while, she opened her eyes, letting out a breath of foggy air. It is here indeed. Starry Sky Grotto Heaven is located at this place. The other 2 immortals heard this and their spirits lifted. 7-Star Child did not have much reputation back then, he actually cultivated to this extent without making a sound. In fact, his Grotto Heaven even absorbed a fragment of Blue Heaven. Precisely because of this, Starry Sky Grotto Heaven could still exist now. It is incredible, Qian Zhu Xian sighed. During the immemorial antiquity era, the world of GU masters had 9 heavens in the sky. Red, orange, yellow, green, azure, blue, purple, white, black, they formed the immemorial 9 heavens. But 7 of the 9 heavens were destroyed by Renzo's children. Right now, only black and white heaven were left alternating in the sky. 7-Star Child had a fortuitous encounter in the past. He secretly absorbed a fragment of blue heaven. This allowed his grotto heaven to exist to this day, and not become a dead aperture due to his state. The immemorial 9 heavens were 9 different worlds. The immortal apertures of GU immortals were also worlds. Worlds could swallow one another. The most famous example was Treasure Yellow Heaven. Back then, Treasure Yellow Heaven's owner, rank 8 GU immortal, Taoist countless treasures, unexpectedly obtained a fragment world of Yellow Heaven. Thus, after he fused it into his grotto heaven, it formed Treasure Yellow Heaven. After Treasure Yellow Heaven was formed, it became extraordinary, and continued existing even until today. Once a grotto heaven absorbs a 9 heavens fragment, the benefits are really great. Not only will they gain some unpredictable mystical power, the immortal aperture's heavenly power would become unlimited. Furthermore, calamities and tribulations would weaken greatly, or completely vanish. If I can obtain such a fragment world, I might even wake up laughing in my sleep. Valley Lord Minghe was full of envy. Dream on, Minghe. Get your cultivation level to rank 8 first. Only a grotto heaven of a rank 8 GU immortal can absorb a 9 heavens fragment world. Qian Zhu Xian laughed. Valley Lord Minghe heard this and laughed bitterly. I want to get to rank 8 too, but I have no confidence in surviving the second Grand Tribulation. Thinking about how rank 8 GU immortals have to undergo a Grand Tribulation every 50 years, I shudder at that thought. As for the myriad tribulation that is even more terrifying than Grand Tribulations, I simply cannot imagine them. Maybe, only someone like Shilei has no fear. Blessed lands had fortune, but heaven and earth was balanced, thus, once in a while, calamities and tribulations would befall. Rank 6 GU immortals experience an earthly calamity every 10 years, and a heavenly tribulation every 100 years. Thus, when assessing a GU immortal's cultivation level, they often use the heavenly tribulation as the standard. Fang Yuan was a 2 heavenly tribulations expert in his previous life. After a rank 6 GU immortal goes through 3 heavenly tribulations, their blessed land would expand to another level, and they would become a rank 7 GU immortal. Rank 7 GU immortals face an earthly calamity every 10 years, a heavenly tribulation every 50 years, and a grand tribulation every 100 years. Qian Zhu Xian and Valley Lord Minghe were 1 grand tribulation GU immortals, while Divine Mother Zhukong was a level higher than them, being at 2 grand tribulations cultivation level. As for rank 8 GU immortals, they no longer experienced any earthly calamities, but they faced a heavenly tribulation every 10 years, a grand tribulation every 50 years, and a myriad tribulation every 100 years. Myriad tribulations were far more scary than heavenly tribulations. They were known as hopeless myriad tribulations among GU immortals. The difficulty was extremely high. Thus, 9 heavens fragments were much more precious. Because the immemorial 9 heavens were a part of the large world of GU masters. Calamities and tribulations would only descend upon blessed lands and grotto heavens as they were immortal aperture worlds. This did not happen in the 5 regions or the immemorial 9 heavens. After the grotto heaven devours the 9 heavens fragment, in a way, they become a part of the large world of GU masters. This could greatly reduce the size and power of the calamities and tribulations, and the grotto heaven would not die if the GU immortal dies. For example, Starry Sky Grotto Heaven was still intact despite 7-star child already becoming an immortal zombie. If the 9 heavens fragment that was absorbed was big, calamities and tribulations could vanish for good. For example, Treasure Yellow Heaven had never experienced any calamities or tribulations. It was now the biggest trading area in the GU immortal world. The benefits of absorbing a 9 heavens fragment are huge. But don't forget, this method has a weakness too. Even if you absorb just a bit of the 9 heavens fragment, you will take in the aura of the greater world. Once the grotto heaven is rooted into it, it can never be placed into your body again. Divine Mother Zhukong reminded them. Qian Zhu Xian nodded, agreeing. Simply put, by absorbing the 9 heavens fragment, the GU immortal loses their freedom. They can only stay inside their immortal aperture world and cannot move about in the outside world. This is truly a huge loss. But if a 9 heavens fragment appears before me, I would choose it without hesitation. That's right, Valley Lord Minghe agreed. Calamities and tribulations are too hard to survive. Sometimes, I would want to become an immortal zombie. At least their dead lands would not experience any calamities or tribulations. Alright, handling the task is the most important matter. We purposely wasted so many days. I'm sure that Monkey King has learned his lesson. Divine Mother Zhukong slowly closed her eyes. Valley Lord Minghe fell into silence. Qian Zhu Xian laughed. Hey, after we save Shilei, I want to see if he can still act arrogant again. Divine Mother Zhukong could no longer keep a calm aura. Her golden robe fluttered as the aura of immortal GU burst out from her. Open. Suddenly, she opened her eyes. Her gaze was sharp as it pierced a hole into the void before her. The hole was about the size of a man. Through this hole, the 3 GU immortals could directly see the scenery inside Starry Sky Grotto Heaven. The 3 immortals did not speak. Qian Zhu Xian charged ahead and entered it. Next, Valley Lord Minghe entered, followed by Divine Mother Zhukong. But at the next moment, the 3 GU immortals appeared in the sky again. What is going on? Qian Zhu Xian and Valley Lord Minghe showed some shock on their faces. Divine Mother Zhukong's expression was solemn. Her relaxed appearance was gone as she muttered, in is not in, out is not out, space is interchanging, swapping around. This is the mystical ability Starry Sky Grotto Heaven obtained after absorbing the Blue Heaven fragment. Yes, Shilei mentioned this in his request for help as well. Valley Lord Minghe recalled. It is not strange. Why would it be simple if it could trap this monkey? Qian Zhu Xian said. Divine Mother Zhukong snorted coldly. This is only a minor problem. At the same time, in Northern Plains, Zombie Alliance branch, inside Dark Flow Giant City. This place had densely accumulated darkness, even the clear skies could not shine any sunlight into here. Fang Yuan pushed open the door and was inspected by more than 20 gazes. He purposely showed a scared and hesitant expression as he stepped into the discussion hall. He paid his respects, shouting, "I am Sha Huang, greetings to my fellow brethren." Fellow brethren, you used a good phrase. We members of Zombie Alliance are in the same situation, we should help each other. On the main seat of the discussion hall, there was an immortal zombie smiling as he said. He was a fatty, he was over 6 meters tall, just like Fang Yuan's 8-arm immortal zombie form, but he was at least 3 times fatter than Fang Yuan. His skin was like bronze, his stomach was like a wine vat, big and round. Not just his stomach, his face, arms, fingers, they were all extremely round. Fang Yuan saw him and thought of the information he had. Flesh bronze zombie body, Yin Lu Gong. Before Fang Yuan came to the Zombie Alliance, he had gotten the relevant information from Fairy Li Shan. Immortal zombie Ji Yuyi beside him thought that Fang Yuan was a newbie. He quickly paid respects. Ji Yuyu pays respects to Lord Yin Lu Gong, Lord Dragon Commander Yi Cha, and Lord Huang Quan Wang. Fang Yuan followed after him. I greet Lord Yin Lu Gong, Lord Dragon Commander Yi Cha, and Lord Huang Quan Wang. Saying so, he gave Ji Yuyi a look of gratitude. Ji Yuyi smiled at him. Yin Lu Gong was seated at the center seat. On his left was Dragon Commander Yi Cha. He was sitting up straight with a ruthless expression, his fangs were pale and sharp. On the right was Huang Quan Wang, he looked old and had a hunched back. Even though they had overflowing death energy, their rank 7 aura could not be concealed. These 3 immortal zombies had true rank 7 cultivation level, they were stationed in Dark Flow Giant City. Sha Huang, is this your real name? Dragon Commander Yi Cha asked. His words were like steel. Once he spoke, a strong wave of killing intent burst out, making one feel as if they were in the middle of a terrifying battlefield. This was due to his experiences. Dragon Commander Yi Cha was a lone cultivator. He had joined the Imperial Court contest and had used some of the opportunities inside Imperial Court blessed land to accumulate his foundation and become a GU Immortal. In other words, he had very rich battle experience, nobody dared to look down on him. He opened his mouth, and his tone showed his imposing nature, it made people feel like he was pressuring them heavily. Of course not. Fang Yuan laughed bitterly. Sha Huang was the name I gave myself on the second day after I became an immortal zombie. It signified a new beginning, for me to temporarily forget my past glory. I had once sworn to heaven, only when I regain my real body and get rid of my immortal zombie status would I use my former name again. Once he said that, all of the immortals in the discussion showed varying expressions. There was disdain, sneers, silence, sadness, but mostly, understanding. Fang Yuan's current performance and his mental state was just like theirs in the past. But after so many years, their grand ambitions were gone, their hopes and desires were almost completely burnt out. They were still immortal zombies now, life had not changed for the better. Alright, since Sha Huang opened the door, then he is a Northern Plains GU Immortal. We in Zombie Alliance would be stronger with one more member. He has already proven himself. One has to know, previously, even Yao Huang did not manage to push open this door. Goo, goo goo goo, Huang Quan Wang said as he started coughing, showing his old and weak state.